Tian referred to those who possessed innate abilities from birth, while CII described those with extraordinary talents and the ability to shine. When people followed the path of Tian, various types of remarkable individuals emerged, including exceptional children of others, high achievers in life, and the future elite of society. These exceptional individuals often face discrimination because of their outstanding abilities. However, our main character, Leng Mo, did not discriminate against them, as he was a genius himself. He understood the challenges these gifted individuals faced because he belonged to that exceptional group. Everything was effortless for Leng Mo due to his genius, but it had become rather boring for him. Even though he was only 10 years old, he had already achieved remarkable success, and many considered him to be the greatest. In every situation, Leng Mo was always a perfect gentleman when it came to interacting with girls. However, his success made him the target of jealousy and envy among the boys, leading them to unite against him. The boys couldn't help but feel envious of Leng Mo's intelligence and genius. On the other hand, the girls adored him because of his outstanding grades. This contrast in how he was perceived by boys and girls led to jealousy and mixed feelings among his peers. When Leng Mo played basketball for the first time, he made 28 out of 31 throws, and the first 3 misses were just because he was trying to find his rhythm. To someone with a PhD, the life of a 4th grader seemed painfully dull. There were moments when he felt so bored that he talked to the principal about student management and the future of humanity. However, the principal had noticed that Leng Mo seemed down lately. He asked Leng Mo what was bothering him, and Leng Mo explained that everything felt too simple and uninteresting for him to enjoy. The principal was a very compassionate person. Despite coming from a financially struggling family, he had worked tirelessly, changing jobs 27 times in his life. The principal's motto of hard work led him to collaborate with Leng Mo. Sometimes, working with Leng Mo made the principal emotional because he believed Leng Mo was truly a genius. On one occasion, the principal became overwhelmed, crying out, "Life is unfair!" before fainting and being rushed to the hospital. Nevertheless, Leng Mo faced a new challenge in his life. He found everything too easy to learn. One day, as Leng Mo was strolling along a footpath, he encountered a homeless man. The homeless man recognized Leng Mo's uniqueness, and it left a strong impression on him. The homeless man stood up and revealed 4 martial arts techniques, claiming they were his family's closely guarded secrets. Initially, he had intended to destroy these techniques, but upon seeing Leng Mo, he changed his mind and decided to offer them for sale. Leng Mo was still taken aback, wondering how the homeless man recognized him as someone worthy of these teachings. The homeless man, observing Leng Mo lost in thought, added that he would provide them on a buy one get one free offer. This declaration left Leng Mo both shocked and amazed. Due to the influence of his mother and sister from a young age, Leng Mo had been ingrained with the instinct to seize any bargain or discount, even if he didn't necessarily need it. However, just as Leng Mo was on the verge of making a purchase, a meteor passed through the lunar orbit and was about to enter the Earth's atmosphere in a matter of hours. This wasn't an ordinary meteor. It was in fact a mysterious fragment with an incredible story behind it. On another distant planet, 2 great immortals existed, an angel responsible for life, creation, and hope, and a devil in charge of death, destruction, and despair. During a community event, a poker game escalated into a fight between the angel and the devil, sparking a conflict among the immortals. This battle plunged the world into chaos, triggering a monumental war between the angels and devils. Do you want to know the name of this manga, along with all the manga names of the recaps we did in our channel? How about also the chapter numbers our recaps end? You can simply ask the names in our Discord community for free or become a donor to get them all in one place. You can either be a donor in Patreon or be a member in our YouTube channel. Just scan this QR code or go to the link in the description to become a donor. Moreover, becoming a donor automatically makes you a VIP member of our Discord server with over tens of thousands of members. Time ceased to flow and water reversed its course. The laws of physics crumbled, turning bricks white, making the sun rise from the east, and pushing the world to the brink of collapse. When time and space unravel, the inevitable result is the destruction of the world. The world began to crumble as the broken laws of the universe brought about its destruction. Concepts of life and death lost their meaning, and it marked a point of no return. Everything regressed to a state of nothingness. This chaotic situation persisted for billions of years, leaving the universe neither completely annihilated nor hospitable for new life. There was only everlasting emptiness and unending darkness. The world resembled a black sphere. An immortal known as the Old Man Time, who possessed a collection of all the planets, observed this black sphere and couldn't help but be puzzled by why it had turned completely black. Old Man Time recognized the powerful force contained within the black sphere, realizing that anyone who gained its strength would be formidable. Upon closer examination of the black world, Old Man Time remarked that the immortals had committed a disgraceful act on this planet. As Old Man Time was inspecting, another visitor arrived and introduced himself as Spaceman Mulberry. He invited Old Man Time to join a game of poker, which Old Man Time gladly accepted. With that, Old Man Time dropped the black sphere, and in an instant, the world, imbued with the potent force, shattered into pieces under Old Man Time's influence. one of these fragments slipped into a rift in space and time, disappearing without a trace. Let's return to the present. Leng Mo was reading the martial arts techniques he had obtained from the homeless man. Remarkably, he had memorized both the 9 Suns technique and the 100 Sword technique after just one reading. Leng Mo slipped on his cute panda slippers and gazed at the sun, knowing that today would be another mundane day for him. Suddenly, he realized that it wasn't the sun, but a meteorite hurtling towards him. Without warning, a blast rocked the surroundings, causing him to tumble backward from his chair. Leng Mo, relying on his genius thinking, quickly deduced that it was indeed a meteorite. An overwhelming sense of alarm gripped him as he pondered whether Earth was on the brink of destruction. Then, out of nowhere, an atomic bomb struck the meteorite while it was still in the sky. Another powerful explosion occurred in the heavens. A torrent of debris and an intense pressure ravaged Leng Mo's entire room. After the forceful impact, he struggled to stand up. At first, he marveled at the fact that he was still alive. Then, he found himself awestruck by the stunning sight before him. The sky was adorned with beautiful fiery colors, and Leng Mo couldn't help but be captivated by the spectacle. With his brilliant mind, Leng Mo quietly calculated his fortunate survival. In his own understated genius way, he silently witnessed the reactions of everyone around him, accompanied by the magnificent display of the meteorite and atomic bomb explosion. On an unknown world, different from Earth, a crack suddenly materialized in the sky one day. This fissure in the heavens unleashed a meteor with the swiftness and intensity of lightning, altering the destiny of that world. The meteor itself was Leng Mo, a genius holding 2 professor degrees. He hurtled towards the ground like a meteor, reaching incredible speeds and generating high temperatures. The gravitational force and velocity were comparable to those on Earth, and the surrounding atmosphere heated up to 2,000 degrees Celsius due to the friction. What was truly peculiar, however, was that Leng Mo miraculously remained alive despite the extreme conditions. During his descent, he even crashed into the searing magma of an erupting volcano. Unbelievably, he plowed through the 3,000 degrees Celsius magma and emerged unscathed. Following this astonishing feat, he landed on the ground with the force of 1,000,000 cows, triggering an explosion equivalent to 10 atomic bombs. The impact left a massive crater the size of a town, which could be seen as his unconventional introduction to this new world. After this incredible ordeal, Leng Mo remained unconscious. He slept on the ground for a full day and night, finally awakening at the break of the second day. 5 days passed, and Leng Mo continued to slumber peacefully, resembling a sleeping baby. He slept for an entire week, yet he showed no signs of awakening. The reason behind his resilience against all the impacts he had endured was the meteor that had struck his spiritual barrier. Following these events, Leng Mo began to transcend, manifesting in this world through a peculiar tunnel. To put it simply, Leng Mo wasn't a part of this world, rendering it incapable of causing harm to him, much like how a character becomes invincible when revived in a video game. While the effects of this newfound power would dissipate in a few days, Leng Mo's physical form had already adapted to the laws of space. He stood as the sole individual to have forged a contract with space itself, boasting the highest talent in understanding the laws of space across multiple realms. Leng Mo's future held limitless potential, propelling him to the brink of existence beyond even the immortals themselves. 3 months later, a picturesque village with charming igloo-like homes came into view. Inside one of these homes, Leng Mo woke up in a cozy bed. Beside him, there was a glowing mushroom. The house was crafted amidst living trees, bearing a distinct dwarf-like design. Leng Mo couldn't help but wonder, as he calmly analyzed his surroundings, if he had somehow crossed into another world. It was a rare occurrence for him, but he felt strangely at ease. Leng Mo anticipated a warm welcome from friendly, lovely lady elves. Leng Mo felt a surge of excitement, anticipating a meeting with the elf women. However, his excitement quickly turned to shock as a burly man with a mustache and beard entered the room, shouting loudly. Leng Mo surmised that this man must belong to the dwarf race, judging by his appearance. The man stood at about 1 meter in height, but his muscular build made him imposing. He spoke in a foreign language, leaving Leng Mo bewildered as to why he couldn't understand a word. Leng Mo tried to communicate, informing the man that he couldn't comprehend him, but this only seemed to make the man more aggressive as he continued to yell in his own language. The man began to act out something, and soon, other locals joined in, all speaking in the same unfamiliar language and raising their voices. Watching their energetic display, Leng Mo realized that he might be residing in this forest of muscular individuals for a while. Suddenly, the group of men broke into strange smiles, and one of them pinched Leng Mo. Feeling their hands on him, Leng Mo yelled at them, accusing them of being perverts and warning them not to touch him. In their eyes, Leng Mo appeared to be an unusual person. Language posed no significant challenge for Leng Mo. In just a few hours of basic conversation, he managed to grasp the language of the dwarfs, a testament to his intellectual prowess. Engaging with them, Leng Mo soon discovered that these dwarfs were sincere and exceptionally passionate about their pursuits. However, there was one peculiar aspect about them: their inclination to touch people randomly. Through his conversations, Leng Mo learned that this small town was nestled within a forest near a volcano. The population numbered only a few thousand, and these dwarfs were the last of their kind in this world. After a long history that included a war and constant preparation for unforeseen challenges in their village, the dwarf race had learned to survive with difficulty near the volcano. Interestingly, these dwarf muscle men were not inclined towards conflict. Instead, their sole passion lay in crafting weapons and armor. They had an unparalleled talent for forging. Over the course of hundreds of millions of years, the dwarven race had come to dominate the world of craftsmanship. Their forging skills had reached their zenith. Lying on his bed, Leng Mo realized that he would have to acclimate himself to life in this town of muscular men, as it seemed he would be staying here for quite some time. A little girl's excited voice announced her arrival as she entered the house. Seeing Leng Mo, she displayed her delight that he had slept well, and even brought some food. Leng Mo was taken aback as he observed how incredibly cute this dwarf girl was. The girl introduced herself as Shanna, and shared that she had been looking after him while he was asleep all this time. Curious, she asked for his name, to which Leng Mo confidently replied that he was Leng Mo. Amused by his response, Shanna playfully pinched Leng Mo's cheeks and then touched his body, laughing as she pointed out his lack of muscles. Feeling a sense of embarrassment, Leng Mo was uncomfortable with Shanna's constant touching. She inquired about Leng Mo's origin while continuing to caress his soft face, seemingly enjoying it. Leng Mo, annoyed by the cheek pinches, couldn't contain himself and raised his voice, firmly instructing Shanna to stop touching him. He emphasized the importance of considering his feelings, even if it was their custom. Shanna, undeterred, simply found it fun to pinch Leng Mo. After a while, Leng Mo started to feel more at ease, and expressed his eagerness to work alongside everyone from the following day. However, Shanna remained skeptical, believing that Leng Mo might not be in the right physical condition for labor. Leng Mo, on the other hand, was confident in the state of his body, and believed he could handle some light tasks. Shanna expressed concern, pointing at Leng Mo's arms and remarking that they appeared quite thin. In response, Leng Mo smiled confidently and assured Shanna that she was underestimating him. He went on to boast about his remarkable abilities, claiming to be a genius with perfect intelligence, attack, defense, agility, and an all-around exemplary student. Leng Mo reassured Shanna not to worry about him, emphasizing that he was exceptionally skilled. Shanna was amazed by Leng Mo's self-assuredness and abilities. Leng Mo continued to brag, stating that he was a natural talent who also put in hard work, making him unmatched in his capabilities. Leng Mo went on to explain to Shanna that humans were stronger than beasts, and his superior performance was primarily due to his brain. Although Shanna may not have fully comprehended his words, her excitement and amazement at his confidence were evident. In her eyes, he was simply the best. Outside the mine, the muscle man leader and other dwarfs had gathered, and Leng Mo stood among them. The leader informed everyone that Leng Mo would be joining their workforce, and encouraged everyone to look out for each other. Leng Mo observed the short stature of the dwarfs, noting that they possessed impressive muscular strength at a very young age. Leng Mo was beginning to see that this world wasn't all that bad. His first mission, Mission A, involved transporting blood, steel, and coals, rated at a difficulty level of 2 stars. The enticing reward for completing this task was a hug from the village chief. Observing other villagers picking up coals, Leng Mo approached a lady to inquire if he could join in. She nodded in agreement. However, as Leng Mo attempted to lift one of the coals, he quickly realized that they were incredibly heavy. He struggled to even lift it off the ground. Leng Mo came to the staggering realization that these seemingly small coals weighed at least 120 kilograms each. If merely picking them up was this challenging, he wondered how he would manage to transport them. Out of nowhere, Shanna appeared, and began pinching Leng Mo's cheeks playfully. Leng Mo's grip on the coal slipped because of her, causing him to drop it. However, Shanna effortlessly caught the heavy coal, making it seem like child's play. Leng Mo, feeling somewhat defeated, allowed her to assist him, and together they moved the coal with ease. Leng Mo then attempted Mission B, which involved wielding a hefty 210-kilogram axe to cut down trees, but he failed in that endeavor. He also tried his hand at plucking fruits for the mission, but faced yet another failure. Leng Mo found himself making no progress in completing his missions. The village chief, witnessing Leng Mo's struggles, felt disappointed that he wouldn't receive his hug that day. Tomorrow, it seemed Leng Mo would have to work even harder to earn that coveted embrace. The village chief proceeded to give hugs to other villagers who had successfully completed their tasks, and they seemed to thoroughly enjoy this reward. Leng Mo couldn't help but think that it was a rather lackluster prize in his opinion. As night fell, Leng Mo sat down to eat a bowl of soup, feeling thoroughly exhausted. The villagers encouraged him to eat more, believing it would restore his strength. Leng Mo found himself being comforted by the villagers, a role he had rarely experienced in his previous life. He had been the one offering consolation in the past, but now he was in need of it. Leng Mo lay on his bed, relieved that his first day had passed, but his emotions were a complex mix. He couldn't help but find it pathetic that just yesterday, he had been boasting about being a genius. Troubling thoughts began to invade Leng Mo's mind, and he felt a sense of sadness and mental pressure weighing on him. In his mind, Leng Mo was consumed by the belief that he was the worst, and the weakest in this new place, someone who needed consolation. Suddenly, a surge of emotions drove him to run out of his house and start climbing the nearby stairs. As he ran, Lang Mo pondered how he had become this way in an instant. He attempted to climb a mountain with his bare hands, but ended up hurting himself in the process. Lang Mo couldn't believe what it felt like to be the least capable among everyone. Then, a sudden trembling of the ground shook the village, prompting the villagers to rush out of their houses. The village chief suspected it might be an earthquake stemming from the nearby volcano and ordered everyone to gather in a safe area while they searched for Lang Mo. Shauna informed the chief that she had no idea where Lang Mo had gone. The village chief urgently commanded his men to locate Lang Mo. However, one villager pointed towards a man standing atop a summit. They were perplexed as to why Lang Mo was there, standing on that precarious summit. The villagers below shouted up to him, urging him to come down, emphasizing the danger as the volcano appeared ready to erupt. Lang Mo remained silent, standing on the summit, his hands bleeding, lost in his thoughts. He couldn't shake the belief that he was the weakest among them now, contrasting starkly with his previous life as a genius. It was difficult for him to fathom how, in a matter of moments, he had fallen from being a genius to feeling like a nobody. Lang Mo was uncertain whether this situation was a blessing or a punishment. He gazed at the active volcano and offered a faint smile as he voiced his desire to ask something of the Immortal One. Suddenly, the volcano erupted, and Lang Mo remained standing there, seemingly turning it into a personal challenge. Lang Mo wanted the world to witness who he truly was. The village chief, observing Lang Mo's audacity, thought that with the erupting volcano as a backdrop, Lang Mo was indeed making a remarkable spectacle. Upon arriving in this new world, Lang Mo felt like a complete novice, a level 1 noob with painfully limited talents. However, instead of giving in to despair, he resolved to work even harder. He refused to give up and pushed himself to his physical limits. On the first night in this unfamiliar place, Lang Mo lay motionless on his bed, unable to move due to the intense pain coursing through his body. The discomfort was so severe that it kept him from sleeping. In his sleepless state, Lang Mo decided to spend his time meditating. He recalled the 9-yang technique he had acquired before the Earth's destruction and diligently followed the instructions for its practice. Suddenly, Lang Mo experienced a comforting and soothing sensation, an instant relief from his pain. It was as if every artery and vein within him had opened up, welcoming a warm surge of energy that flowed throughout his entire body. 9 weeks later, the fatigue that had once plagued Lang Mo's body had vanished completely. His newfound strength continued to grow, revitalizing him day by day. Despite having mastered this technique as the sun rose, the feeling was far superior to any he had experienced while sleeping. With this newfound energy, Lang Mo started the next day with vigor, but by the day's end, he found himself utterly exhausted. In the following months, Lang Mo adopted a rigorous routine, playing with his life during the day and dedicating himself to cultivation during the night. He diligently recorded his progress, working tirelessly during the day, and then using cultivation to recover at night. This cycle continued for about a month, until he was able to keep pace with the others. While he wasn't the best, he certainly wasn't the worst anymore. The village chief, impressed by everyone's progress, announced that he, their respected elder, would be teaching them the ancient dwarven axe techniques. Hearing this, Lang Mo realized the importance of taking this instruction seriously. The chief's tone turned serious as he emphasized the antiquity of the technique, demonstrating its power by skillfully swinging the axe and chopping through some logs. Lang Mo couldn't help but find the chief's demonstration rather unimpressive and aesthetically unappealing. However, as he observed the chief's movements, he began to notice a sense of familiarity in the axe techniques being showcased. It became evident that the chief was enthusiastically demonstrating essential life skills. While the other villagers cheered in appreciation, Lang Mo remained disinterested. Noticing Lang Mo's expression, the chief inquired about it. Lang Mo openly expressed his thoughts, stating that he felt the attack route of the axe techniques was unclear, and the movements might require some modifications. He added that this style of attack could be easily countered or blocked. Hearing Lang Mo's critique, the chief was taken aback, never having considered such a possibility. In a dramatic display, the chief assumed an almost immortal-like demeanor, proclaiming that no one had ever managed to block the powerful slash of their dwarven race. However, deep down, he too harbored concerns about what would happen if his attack were to be blocked. Driven by his frustration, the chief swung his axe with intense force towards Lang Mo, challenging him to attempt to block it. Under the immense pressure of the attack, Lang Mo instinctively dropped to the ground. To his relief, the chief halted the axe just before it reached Lang Mo's head. Curious, the chief inquired why Lang Mo hadn't attempted to block the attack at that moment. While Lang Mo watched the axe blade come dangerously close to him, he felt an overwhelming pressure. The chief, with a chuckle, acknowledged Lang Mo's intelligence but cautioned against allowing it to lead him into making mistakes. With an intimidating expression, the chief emphasized that if this had been a real battle, Lang Mo's arrogance could have cost him his life. As night fell, the chief sat at a table, sipping his tea and pondering Lang Mo's situation. He believed that the impact he had delivered to Lang Mo was a necessary part of his growth, and now it was merely a matter of how long it would take for Lang Mo to recover from this setback. The chief was eager to determine whether Leng Mo was a genuine genius capable of adapting swiftly to his environment, or merely a clever but arrogant individual. He couldn't help but worry that Leng Mo's solemn expression after the incident might signify deeper consequences. The chief's concerns seemed to materialize as Leng Mo's physical abilities had noticeably worsened, and he appeared visibly exhausted. Despite a full month passing, Leng Mo's condition showed little improvement, only reaching a point before his situation seemed to deteriorate. This deeply concerned the chief, who began to question whether the impact of his actions had taken a toll on Leng Mo both physically and mentally. Despite these worries, the chief couldn't help but reflect on the fragility of all geniuses. The chief believed that it was time for a heart-to-heart conversation with Leng Mo to help mend his broken spirit. Without delay, he made his way to Leng Mo's residence, but upon entering, he was taken aback by what he saw. Leng Mo was diligently working and practicing, completely absorbed in his efforts. He was counting, and the count had reached a staggering 3,000 before Leng Mo dropped the axe upon noticing the chief's presence. Curious, the chief asked Leng Mo what he was practicing for. With beads of sweat on his forehead, Leng Mo explained that he was practicing the chief's powerful slash technique, aiming to repeat it 3,000 times each day. The chief was not only surprised by Leng Mo's dedication, but also by what he was wearing. Leng Mo suddenly realized his attire and promptly removed the heavy training equipment from his body. He explained that, apart from sleeping, he had been wearing these iron weights all the time, totaling around 40 kilograms. The chief was taken aback and asked if Leng Mo had been wearing this extra weight during his regular work. Leng Mo, looking at the chief with a smile, confirmed that he had indeed been doing so. This revelation left the chief astounded by Leng Mo's sharpness and motivated by his determination. The chief, observing Leng Mo's chiseled physique, found it hard to believe that Leng Mo, a genius, was putting in even more effort than the hardworking villagers. Leng Mo expressed his gratitude for the valuable lessons he had learned from the dwarf grandpa, particularly the remarkable dwarven axe technique. With an unusual, somewhat mischievous smile, Leng Mo asked the chief if he wanted to witness the fruits of his month-long rigorous training. The chief remained in disbelief, unable to comprehend that Leng Mo had practiced the technique 3,000 times each day. Undeterred, Leng Mo wore a confident expression and urged the chief to witness the results of his dedicated efforts without delay. The chief chuckled, finding Leng Mo's confidence amusing, especially when it seemed Leng Mo was unaware of his own limits. With a casual sweep of his hand through his hair, the chief suggested that Leng Mo demonstrate by swinging at the chief's head with full strength. Leng Mo hesitated, unsure about the idea, but eventually agreed to the challenge. The chief, now somewhat irritated, raised his voice, instructing Leng Mo to proceed and assuring him that his head was exceptionally strong. In response, Leng Mo remarked that if the chief believed in his own strength, he should comply with Leng Mo's request. Resolutely, the chief lowered his head, positioning himself for Leng Mo's strike. Leng Mo assured the chief that he understood and was ready to give it his all. Suddenly, a powerful pressure began to build around Leng Mo, and he seemed to transform into a completely different state. Witnessing this transformation, the chief couldn't help but be taken aback. The chief speculated that Leng Mo must have some hidden equipment capable of emitting such intense air pressure. He found it puzzling how Leng Mo could generate such pressure with his current level of strength. Objects around them were being pushed forcefully into the ground, adding to the chief's hesitation. However, he was determined not to appear frightened by this unexpected display of power. In a sudden surge of strength, Leng Mo concentrated all his power into his fist and aimed it directly at the chief's head with overwhelming force. The chief, observing the incoming fist with extreme pressure, felt a moment of uncertainty about whether he could withstand the blow. Nevertheless, he decided to remain still, believing that Leng Mo, a thoughtful individual, wouldn't strike an elderly man like him too forcefully. But suddenly, with a resounding impact, Leng Mo's fist connected with the chief's head. Leng Mo stood beside the chief's bed, consumed by regret for his impulsive action. The chief's head had swelled up like a balloon due to the force of the blow. Leng Mo quickly offered his heartfelt apologies for striking the dwarven chief so forcefully. In the movies Leng Mo had watched in the past, he knew that if he didn't act correctly, the consequences could be dire, such as getting cooked and eaten. Upon awakening, the chief assured Leng Mo that it wasn't his fault and praised him for both his hard work and talent. Tears welled up in the chief's eyes as he continued to express his sentiments. He believed it was time for Leng Mo to seek out a master and delve into the art of forging. The chief then sat up and made a resolute decision. He declared that he would personally take Leng Mo under his wing, emphasizing that he had been the most skilled blacksmith among the dwarven race for the past 300 years. Leng Mo's excitement swelled upon hearing this news. However, the chief's expression turned serious as he issued a stern warning. He told Leng Mo that if he chose to learn from him, he should be prepared to endure extreme hardships. The chief added that if Leng Mo started but lost heart halfway through, he wouldn't care about him anymore. Leng Mo, brimming with excitement, demonstrated his determination to learn from the chief. Half a month later, after the dwarven chief had fully healed, Leng Mo began his training in the art of forging. He utilized magnets to locate iron essence ores, which were essentially pure forms of iron ore embedded within rocks. After completing numerous exercises, Leng Mo successfully reached the first stage of forging. The dwarven chief emphasized that in forging, it wasn't about perfecting the weapon in one attempt. Instead, each strike of the hammer contributed to the weapon's creation. This process resulted in weapons of exceptional durability and sharpness. As Leng Mo observed the chief engaging in the art of forging, he couldn't help but notice the subtle incorporation of the axe techniques he had previously learned. For countless years, the peaceful dwarven race had lived their lives in this manner. Forging was synonymous with fighting, and fighting was a form of forging. This realization filled Leng Mo's heart with a profound sense of determination. With this newfound understanding, Leng Mo embarked on the beginning of his forging journey. To some, half a year may seem swift, while to others it may appear quite sluggish. However, for Leng Mo, this half-year period held immense significance, equivalent to the time he had spent learning elementary and middle school knowledge in his previous life. After half a year of dedicated learning from the dwarven chief, Leng Mo not only experienced a significant increase in his physical strength, but also acquired two valuable items. The first was the very first weapon he had forged, a beginner's axe. Accompanying this was a complete set of forging techniques and knowledge that included the art of refining and identifying materials. Despite the initial weakness of the axe, Leng Mo had ideas on how to enhance its capabilities. The second achievement from his intensive studies was the successful fusion of the dwarven axe techniques and the 100 swords arts, resulting in the creation of a completely new martial skill. This innovative development represented a profound step in his martial training. Leng Mo decided to name his newly created martial skill Seven Deadly Slash. It combined the raw power of the dwarven axe techniques with the agility and finesse of the 100 swords arts. This skill consisted of a total of 7 distinct moves, each with 7 unique styles and a variety of attack types. Leng Mo's dedication to perfecting this martial skill was rewarded with occasional warm hugs from the chief, although he couldn't quite come to terms with the chief's ample chest hairs. One day, while outside in the forest, Leng Mo encountered a cute green slime on the ground. Disappointed, he inquired if this was to be his task. The chief confirmed his suspicions, explaining that his task was to eliminate 100 of these slimes and collect their jelly, which he needed to deliver to Aunt Medea. Leng Mo couldn't bear the thought of harming the adorable green slimes, finding them truly endearing. However, as he approached one of them with care, the slime unexpectedly launched an attack, sending Leng Mo flying several meters away. The pain from the attack fueled Leng Mo's anger, and he now regarded the slime as a troublesome adversary. The slime, on the other hand, looked at Leng Mo with a perplexed expression. Leng Mo's frustration mounted as he tried to convince himself that these slimes were not as cute as he initially thought. He inquired if all slimes behaved this way, to which the chief affirmed. Driven by a desire for revenge and determination, Leng Mo drew his sword, vowing to gather 1,000 slime jellies for Aunt Medea that day. His annoyance grew as he observed the mocking expressions on the slimes' faces. Leng Mo turned to the chief and asked if he could commence the mission immediately. The chief chuckled and commented on how geniuses like Leng Mo were always so eager to jump into action. He also noted that Leng Mo couldn't go very far without his guidance. The chief went on to explain that slimes had a soft and elastic surface, making them resistant to normal attacks. With a mischievous grin, he asked if Leng Mo wanted to know how to deal with them. Leng Mo, nonchalantly stepping on one of the slimes, replied that he would simply do what needed to be done. The chief, looking somewhat concerned, observed Leng Mo's actions. However, Leng Mo suddenly realized that he hadn't been paying full attention to what the chief was explaining. The chief, acknowledging that Leng Mo had taken matters into his own hands, decided to leave him to it, and stepped away. Then the chief began shouting and calling upon a magical beast. This left Leng Mo baffled, wondering why the chief was attempting to summon a beast. Suddenly, the ground cracked open, releasing a potent surge of energy. Leng Mo was utterly astonished by this turn of events, questioning if the chief was truly summoning a beast. With an intense and focused gaze, the chief named his summon Deep Blue and commanded it to appear. In response to the chief's call, a massive creature that resembled a blend of a fat dragon and a unicorn emerged before them. Leng Mo couldn't hide his amazement at the existence of magical beasts in this world. The chief laughed briefly, but then adopted a serious tone, affirming the existence of these creatures without divulging further details. He ordered his summoned Deep Blue to splash water on Leng Mo's face, and then the chief mounted the beast back, riding it away. He advised Leng Mo to focus on dealing with the slimes. Leng Mo decided it was time to prepare for his mission, needing to collect 99 more slime jellies. However, he pondered where he could find such a large number of slimes. As he took a few steps, he suddenly spotted an entire colony of slimes nearby. In the presence of the weird-faced slimes, Leng Mo's irritation reached its peak, and he began banging on various objects, creating loud noises. Back in the village, Leng Mo approached Aunt Medea, informing her that he was right on time to submit his mission. He proudly stated that he had brought 1,000 slimes, ensuring that she had more than enough for her papaya soup. Aunt Medea was utterly shocked by the sight of 1,000 slimes. Word of Leng Mo's venture with 1,000 slimes soon reached the chief, who approached Leng Mo. He jokingly remarked that if he had allowed Leng Mo another month, he might have caused the extinction of slimes in the area. Leng Mo quickly apologized for his earlier behavior, and the chief assigned him a new task, to collect 100 horns from smoked goats. The reward this time would be Uncle Vodad's refined copper ore. Lang Mo was thrilled and found the 1-week time frame for the job to be quite reasonable. He recognized the value of the refined copper ore as an excellent reward. Drawing from his knowledge of smelting, Lang Mo understood that materials with the highest durability were not single ores, but rather combinations of ores. This realization fueled his determination to acquire all these rare ores. Lang Mo came to realize that removing the horns from the goats might harm or even kill them. However, the chief reassured him, explaining that the goats would regrow their horns within half a year. This assurance relieved Lang Mo's concerns. Now, Lang Mo and the chief stood in front of a horned goat, both feeling a bit anxious as they approached it. Lang Mo couldn't help but find the goat's gaze strangely unsettling, and he wondered why such annoying monsters were present in the village. Just as he was voicing his thoughts, the chief mounted Deep Blue and ordered Lang Mo to deal with the goats on his own. Lang Mo couldn't shake the feeling that the chief might still be upset with him for not following his advice. He decided to take out his axe, viewing it as a great opportunity to practice his 7 deadly slash technique. However, the horned goat initially appeared harmless, which made Lang Mo hesitate, thinking it might be innocent. Suddenly, the goat ambushed him with its spinning horn, launching Lang Mo into a battle with the fierce creature. After a challenging struggle and a series of fights, Lang Mo finally managed to collect 100 horns and delivered them to Uncle Vodad. As night fell, Lang Mo had already collected rare ores and managed to refine them to an impressive purity level of 99.99%. He knew that he needed to gather even more ores to fulfill his ultimate goal, merging them into a single formidable material. Forging had become Lang Mo's most potent skill. Standing next to the forge in the blacksmith shop, Lang Mo contemplated the potential of the copper ores he possessed. He believed that the resulting weapons could surpass even iron in durability. He also realized that he shouldn't squander the remains of Uncle Vodad's refined copper, but rather use them wisely to forge a new and powerful weapon. However, Lang Mo knew he needed more experience to craft the ultimate weapon. Unfortunately, there were no missions available for him that week. Apart from his daily tasks, he spent all his free time immersed in forging. Lang Mo found the process incredibly exciting and rewarding. Finally, after just a week, much faster than his previous attempts, he completed his second masterpiece, an upgraded beginner weapon, the 100 Warring Swords ++. As he held the weapon in his hands, Lang Mo could feel a potent aura emanating from it. With this formidable weapon, he believed he was ready to take on higher-level missions. Lang Mo sought out Chief to share his plans. Chief was surprised by Lang Mo's eagerness and assigned him a mining mission to help him progress further. Lang Mo inquired about the availability of hunting missions, but Chief informed him that none were currently available. Instead, Chief assigned Lang Mo a mining mission, instructing him to gather 100 kilograms of vermilion copper ore. The reward for this task would be a 100-year-old silver marrow ore. Lang Mo entered the mine, equipped with all the necessary gear. As he delved deeper into the mine and spent a considerable amount of time mining, he eventually reached a large underground lake. In the middle of this lake, there was a gleaming ore that caught Lang Mo's attention. Despite his weariness, he wondered if this could be the vermilion copper ore he was tasked with collecting. However, since the ore was located in the center of the lake and Lang Mo was already tired, he hesitated to swim out to it. Suddenly, the seemingly inert ore began to stir and slowly rose into the air, dragging a considerable amount of water with it. Lang Mo was taken aback, his fear growing by the second. Then, the water surrounding the ore cascaded down, revealing a colossal bull-like monster, with the ore forming its head. Terrified, Lang Mo couldn't help but feel that the ore had transformed into a menacing entity to intimidate him. The bull monster's massive eyes bore down on Lang Mo, filling him with anxiety and fear. In a shaky voice, Lang Mo nervously inquired whether the bull had eaten yet that day. He explained that he had only come here for some mining and hadn't intended to disturb the creature's rest. The bull stared at Lang Mo with a perplexed expression, seemingly unable to comprehend his words. Lang Mo continued, expressing his belief in the wisdom of all creatures, be they demons or plants. He believed that communication was possible. However, the bull responded with a thunderous and aggressive moo that sent Lang Mo scrambling in fear. Regaining his composure, Lang Mo reasoned with the bull, explaining that as an herbivore, killing him wouldn't provide any benefits. But the bull's anger only intensified, and it emitted another deafening moo that sent shockwaves through the ground. Lang Mo, feeling the overwhelming pressure and fearing for his life, realized that he hadn't come to this place to be killed by a water bull. Lang Mo, gathering his wits, decided that it was best to hide. He believed that vermilion copper ore could be found elsewhere, not just on the bull beast. As he stood up to sneak away, he suddenly heard heavy, thunderous stomps approaching from ahead. Lang Mo's heart sank as he realized that the source of these earth-shaking steps was the massive bull beast charging straight at him. Panicking, Lang Mo yelled out that the bull had no compassion for weak creatures like himself. The bull charged ferociously, smashing everything in its path. Lang Mo sprinted for his life, his heart racing as he marveled at the beast's incredible resilience. Realizing that he couldn't lead the bull to the village without facing the villagers' anger, Lang Mo was overwhelmed with worry. He imagined the harsh words and criticism people would direct at him if he were to bring this water bull into the village. Tears welled up in his eyes as he feared that it would become a dark chapter in his life. But then, in a moment of clarity, Lang Mo abruptly stopped and clutched his crafted sword tightly in his hand. The bull charged toward him with unrelenting fury, yet Lang Mo's gaze held an unwavering determination. He had made up his mind to face this formidable adversary head-on. The bull charged relentlessly at Lang Mo, its fury and force palpable. Just as it was about to strike, Lang Mo executed his 7 deadly slash technique with lightning speed, slashing at the bull's stomach. In an instant, a wave of slashes erupted, striking the bull with incredible force. The bull's eyes went numb, and Lang Mo's sword gleamed brilliantly in the sunlight. Lang Mo maintained a firm grip on his sword, his eyes reflecting determination and rage. The colossal bull crashed to the ground with a resounding thud. As the bull fell, Lang Mo calmly uttered, "Flawless kill." Suddenly, Chief emerged from behind a bush, a look of surprise on Lang Mo's face. Chief, however, appeared genuinely impressed. Lang Mo's flawless and energetic attack had left Chief amazed and proud of his achievement. Chief rewarded Lang Mo's impressive victory with a tight bear hug, although Lang Mo couldn't help but feel slightly suffocated by Chief's chest hair. Nonetheless, he was touched by Chief's gesture, realizing that Chief had secretly followed him to protect him. With the bull defeated, Lang Mo proceeded to mine the ore from its head. He confirmed that it weighed 100 kilograms, and Chief, standing below, declared that it was enough. Chief wore a genuinely happy expression as he admitted that Lang Mo was undeniably a genius. He had no doubt that Lang Mo would become a great warrior in the future, and he even believed that Lang Mo had the potential to become the #1 sword saint of the dwarven race. Lang Mo was left bewildered by this revelation, prompting Chief to explain that warriors were ranked in different levels, with Sword Saint being a prestigious and high-ranking title. He added that due to their inability to use battle energy, dwarves were greatly restricted in their martial abilities. The highest level ever reached among them was that of a great sword master. Over the course of 100 million years, only one great swordmaster had managed to subdue a blazing Tiger King by himself. Lang Mo was truly amazed by this incredible feat. Curious about Chief's own level, Lang Mo inquired about it. Chief responded that he was currently at an advanced warrior level, which was sufficient to defeat a water bull. However, Chief pointed out that Lang Mo had a long way to go because he had relied solely on his intelligence and exploited the water bull's tendency to charge head-on to defeat it. Chief reassured Lang Mo that the ranking was not solely determined by physical strength, and Lang Mo's future was filled with limitless possibilities. He emphasized that despite their inability to use battle energy from birth, the dwarven race had never given up. They possessed a unique ability, the natural affinity to connect with animals. With enthusiasm, Chief declared that when Lang Mo reached the advanced warrior level, he would teach him how to call forth a beast. Chief encouraged Lang Mo to work hard, believing that one day he would become a great figure in the dwarven race. This conversation filled both Lang Mo and Chief with hope and pride. Lang Mo then asked Chief to help him carry the ore as he wasn't planning to return just yet. Chief inquired about his intentions. Lang Mo, with a determined expression, revealed that he wanted to stay until he reached the advanced rank. He added that after achieving that, he would return to learn how to call forth a beast. Chief was delighted and proud of Lang Mo's strong work ethic. Lang Mo raised his hand, expressing his commitment to working hard, even though he wasn't a dwarf and could use his battle energy. Lang Mo discovered the resting place of the water bulls and commenced training with other water bulls to enhance his strength. He had to rely solely on his own power to defeat the water bull. Lang Mo was determined to become the world's strongest. The determination in his eyes was evident. Lang Mo could perform the 100-sword technique using either one or both hands. However, it was significantly more potent when he employed both hands, even though it sacrificed some agility for strength, making it 3 times more powerful. As Lang Mo attacked the bull, it sent him soaring into the sky, reaching a staggering height of 14 meters. After this encounter, Lang Mo realized just how challenging it was to conquer a water bull with strength alone. Lang Mo found himself leaning against a rock, contemplating the challenging situation he faced. He remembered how, in the past, he had encountered similar seemingly unsolvable problems, but he never gave up. Today was no different. Motivated by his unwavering determination to never admit defeat as long as he was alive, Lang Mo got back on his feet. From that day forward, his life revolved around a routine of eating, sleeping, and battling water bulls. He consumed horned oats, fell into deep slumbers, and engaged in fierce battles with the water bulls. The routine continued for several days, and on Lang Mo's 75th attempt, the bull charged at him with immense force. The bull charged like a powerful tsunami, and Lang Mo welcomed it eagerly. As the bull's attack struck Lang Mo's sword, he struggled to hold his ground, but the pressure was overwhelming. Lang Mo had to admit that the bull had the upper hand. The bull dragged Lang Mo across the ground, yet he refused to release his block. After a while of being dragged, Lang Mo somehow managed to halt the bull's advance with his unyielding block. Observing his success, Lang Mo felt a sense of accomplishment that he had been striving for a long time. He decided it was time to call it a day. Now, in the darkness of night, Lang Mo rested on a tree branch, content with the thought of getting a restful night's sleep. He anticipated that tomorrow would mark the beginning of his counterattack against the water bull. Leng Mo casually dismissed the idea that achieving an advanced knight rank was challenging. He considered it easy for himself, even thinking of himself as a genius. He believed that things would become dull quickly, just as they had before. Lost in these thoughts, Leng Mo began to settle down for the night. However, suddenly, he heard a swooshing sound and felt a chilly breeze. Leng Mo swiftly stood up, scanning his surroundings, and soon his gaze fell upon a figure standing amidst the forest, emitting a brilliant, intense light. This figure took the form of a majestic lion-like beast, exuding a formidable, powerful wind aura. Leng Mo couldn't help but be taken aback by the radiant blue glow enveloping the creature's body. It became clear to Leng Mo that this majestic blue lion intended to prey upon the water bull, and the difference in power between the two was blatantly evident. An overwhelming sense of dread washed over Leng Mo, and he could feel a spine-chilling aura permeating the atmosphere. His entire body went numb. The entire forest was bathed in the blue radiance emanating from the lion, leaving the water bull utterly terrified and paralyzed with fear. The blue lion gathered a swirling blue energy ball within its jaws, and then launched it in the form of a beam toward the perplexed water bull. The water bull, bewildered by the unfolding events, and Leng Mo, filled with fear, watched as the beam struck the bull, causing it to freeze in place. The air around them chilled as the blue beast exerted its power. Leng Mo found it difficult to believe that this majestic blue lion had effectively frozen the enormous water bull. The blue lion then moved gracefully, absorbing the essence of the water bull through a mysterious process. Suddenly, the frozen ice encasing the bull began to shatter, and the bull was gradually drawn into the mouth of the blue lion. Leng Mo watched in confusion as the blue lion swiftly absorbed the entire water bull, leaving him stunned by the lion's instantaneous and lethal action. It was a shocking realization that, had he not chosen to rest on a tree after his hunting expedition today, his fate might have mirrored that of the water bull, turned into an ice statue, and devoured. This event shed light on the water bull's place in the world's food chain, and it became evident why the chief had cautioned Leng Mo against venturing too deeply into these territories. The water bull was, indeed, at the bottom of the food chain in this unforgiving world. In comparison to the current Leng Mo, the sheer strength of the blue lion was enough to plunge him into despair. While the blue lion may have been just an ordinary beast, it was a stark reminder that there were countless realms of power beyond his current capabilities. To Leng Mo, it felt like he had a long and arduous journey ahead. Back at the village, the chief was engrossed in a game of poker, while his companions discussed the presence of blue lion footprints near the village. The chief remained skeptical, as Leng Mo was still present, and steadfastly committed to his mission. Standing before a group of water bulls, it appeared that Leng Mo had confronted and engaged them all. Leng Mo believed that he had earned the respect of the water bulls through sheer strength. His original plan had been to progress steadily, but the presence of the formidable blue lion had changed everything. Now, he felt the urgency to become stronger at a faster pace. Leng Mo's ultimate goal was to return after locating hematite, as this rare mineral could be exchanged for the exceptionally scarce Holden Snakestone. According to legend, adding this precious stone during forging granted a weapon wisdom, endowing it with the ability to self-repair. Leng Mo was determined to find this treasure, as it held great significance. It would serve two purposes if he could return with the hematite. Now, Leng Mo found himself in a desert-like terrain where the scorching temperature was taking a toll on him with its intense heat. Leng Mo experienced extreme heat and regretted not returning to the village to better prepare himself. He considered himself a failed genius for not doing so. Despite these thoughts, he decided to press on, thinking that he had already covered a considerable distance, and it would be a waste to give up now. However, as he continued walking, his stamina depleted rapidly. He soon realized that he had less than half of his stamina remaining. Leng Mo fortunately found water nearby and quickly drank from it. While sitting there and contemplating his next move, he suddenly heard a powerful and intense roar coming from behind him. Leng Mo thought it might be the same blue lion again, so he began running and sought refuge behind a large rock. From his hiding spot, he watched the source of the loud roar. To his surprise, he saw a big snake and a wolf locked in a furious face-off. Both creatures were visibly angry and prepared for battle. However, as Leng Mo witnessed this confrontation, he noticed a piece of hematite nearby. Leng Mo faced a dilemma as the hematite he sought lay at a distance between the two mighty beasts locked in battle. He attempted to sneak past them, but his presence was soon detected by the creatures, and they both let out fierce roars. However, the situation took a turn when the snake and wolf beasts started attacking each other, engaged in a furious battle. Taking advantage of the distraction, Leng Mo made a run for it. He sprinted as fast as he could, and eventually reached a rock where he decided to hide. Leng Mo crouched behind the rock, still hearing the ferocious roars of the battling beasts. He wasn't sure what he should do next. Should he wait for the battle to end, or should he make a move for the hematite? After some time had passed while hiding, the roars ceased, and Leng Mo saw that both the snake and wolf beasts were now unconscious. Leng Mo, thinking the snake and wolf were dead, continued to mine the hematite. However, he suddenly noticed a group of wolf pups near the area. These little wolves were incredibly cute, and their presence distracted Leng Mo. Despite their adorable antics, Lang Mo did his best to ignore them and focused on his task. As he mined the hematite, he couldn't help but steal glances at the wolf pups. They were so endearing, and it was difficult not to be charmed by them. However, his attention was abruptly drawn to a slight movement nearby. To his shock, he saw the mother wolf stirring and then roaring in anger as she woke up. The mother wolf was growling and warning Lang Mo to stay away from her precious pups. Lang Mo understood that if the wolf recovered, she might consider him a threat and attack him. To prevent this, he decided to end her suffering and reduce the danger. Lang Mo took out his sword, but instead of harming the mother wolf, he used it to cut the snake's body. He prepared the roasted snake meat and offered it to the wolf, trying to feed her and ease her pain. Lang Mo sat outside his village house, contemplating that a few weeks had gone by. Even though he had gathered a sufficient amount of ores, he chose to remain and care for the silver wolves. During this time, he also pondered that the snake meat he had consumed appeared to have significant nourishing effects. As Lang Mo contemplated, two little pups approached him, joyfully barking. He couldn't help but think that these little pups had grown more active over the past few days, now able to jump around. Sitting with the wolves, he reflected on their mother, realizing that she had made a remarkable recovery after consuming the snake meat. She had been enjoying peaceful days with her pack of silver wolves. As Lang Mo observed the mother wolf's health improving, he made the decision that it was time for him to depart. However, before leaving, the mother wolf halted him, her gaze suggesting she had something crucial to convey. Even though he wasn't quite sure why, he found himself able to grasp her intentions. Under the cover of night, two figures dashed swiftly through the forest, with Lang Mo in pursuit of the mother wolf. To his surprise, the mother wolf matched his fastest pace without showing any signs of exhaustion. He couldn't help but sense that she was no ordinary demon beast. Soon after, the mother wolf led him to a cave deep within the forest, clearly indicating that she wanted him to enter. At this point, he had no reason to decline her wishes. As he stepped into the cave, he suddenly found himself falling down a steep pit. The descent was deep, and during the fall, he realized that the pit was at least several hundred meters deep. As Lang Mo tumbled into the pit with the mother wolf, he spotted a golden pearl resting in the cave. The pearl exuded a delightful aroma, prompting Lang Mo to inquire whether it was edible. After picking up the pearl, he discovered that it was indeed consumable and offered it to the mother wolf, who ate it. Lang Mo, curious and trusting his instincts, also decided to taste the pearl. To his surprise, it turned out to be quite delicious. The fruit's juices were rich, and they flowed down Lang Mo's throat, filling his senses with a potent taste. But soon after savoring the flavor, his stomach began to feel strange and warm. It was as if a volcano erupted within him, creating a burning sensation that consumed his body. The intense heat made him scream in pain, and it felt like his body might collapse. Desperate to find relief, Lang Mo attempted to calm himself in the midst of this scorching torment. He turned to meditation, trying to harness the searing heat and circulate it throughout his entire body, infusing every single cell with its fiery energy. The next day arrived, and the forest had returned to its usual peaceful state, as if nothing had happened the previous night. Lang Mo sat on a large rock, deep in meditation. He took a deep breath and, when he opened his eyes, they gleamed with newfound power and determination. Lang Mo's arm emitted a radiant golden light, and after an unknown duration of time, he finally emerged from his meditation. Unbeknownst to him, a remarkable transformation had taken place within his body. It was as if the entire sun had found its home within him. Lang Mo's body had absorbed all the heat energy, to be precise. 99.99% of it now coursed through his meridians. His entire being was brimming with this newfound energy, and he couldn't help but wonder if it was the wolves' way of repaying his kindness. As he recalled the time he had been left in the cave, the silver wolves had vanished, leaving him with only those hematites. Upon returning to the village, Uncle Valdo warmly greeted Lang Mo, expressing his happiness that he had survived. Lang Mo offered the special hematite with the unique ore to Uncle Valdo, and it was indeed a beautiful and more vibrant specimen compared to the others. Uncle Valdo carefully examined the legendary bloodstone in Lang Mo's possession, recognizing its rarity. Suddenly, Uncle Valdo surprised everyone by striking his own head with a glass bottle, causing it to bleed. The drops of blood fell onto the bloodstone. Lang Mo was left confused, wondering what Uncle Valdo was doing. Valdo seized the bloodstone, and as he did, it began to emit a fiery burn where his blood had touched it. He went on to explain that the bloodstone granted its user immensely powerful fire abilities and boundless stamina. Lang Mo couldn't help but worry about the bleeding wound on Uncle Valdo's head. Surprisingly, Uncle Valdo handed the bloodstone to Lang Mo, telling him it was now his. Lang Mo was taken aback by this sudden act of kindness and inquired if Uncle Valdo still intended to forge a NB weapon. In response, Valdo revealed that he had only needed those hematites initially. Understanding the importance of strengthening himself to forge a potent weapon, Lang Mo resumed his training against the water bulls. His progress became evident as his strength noticeably increased, and he became exceptionally swift. No longer a mere beginner warrior, he was now a formidable force. After consuming the red fruit, Lang Mo experienced a significant surge in strength. One moment that truly showcased his newfound power was when he encountered the blue lion once again in the wilderness. Lang Mo faced the blue lion head-on. The blue lion had effortlessly dispatched a water bull just moments before, displaying incredible speed. It froze Leng Mo in place in the blink of an eye. As Leng Mo stood frozen, he believed his end was near, and the lion would surely destroy him. But in an unexpected turn of events, the ice surrounding Leng Mo melted just as quickly as it had formed, leaving the blue lion baffled. The blue lion conjured another spell, preparing to strike at Leng Mo. Desperately, Leng Mo attempted to evade the attack, but he was caught in the lion's freeze beam once more. This time, however, he remained frozen for only a few seconds. Leng Mo realized that the reason he couldn't be frozen might be due to the intense energy his body was generating. After the lion's unsuccessful attack, it displayed a look of disappointment, turned away, and wandered off without a backward glance. This left Leng Mo feeling somewhat bewildered. Inside Leng Mo's body, there was a powerful surge of heat energy coursing through him. Thankfully, he had been diligently circulating the divine 9 suns within him. Otherwise, he might have succumbed to the scorching heat. His current condition left him with an extraordinary but challenging level of strength. Leng Mo couldn't recall the exact date, but he witnessed a distant meteorite plummeting from the sky. It unmistakably resembled a meteorite rather than the transcendence of another being. When the meteorite struck the ground, the village chief was delighted, knowing that it would provide a substantial amount of meteorite ore. He swiftly gathered all the villagers and instructed them to extract the meteorite from the fallen rock. Eventually, one of the villagers discovered a small meteorite ore within it, but it was clear that there were more to be found, which would need to be shared. The village chief addressed the villagers, explaining that the meteorite was just a small piece of the whole, and he would decide who would receive it. He then turned his gaze towards Leng Mo and declared that it would go to him as a token of gratitude for his significant contributions to the village, particularly in gathering various ores. The villagers unanimously agreed with the chief's decision, and the chief, wearing a determined expression, announced that all the rare ores owned by the villagers were now in Leng Mo's possession. Their plan was to forge a formidable weapon using these rare resources. The villagers erupted into cheers for Leng Mo, and were more than willing to contribute their valuable ores to the cause. Seeing the trust and support of the entire village, Leng Mo felt deeply moved, and tears welled up in his eyes. The village chief handed over the collected ores to Leng Mo, gazing into his eyes and expressing the village's anticipation of the powerful weapon he would create. Touched by their faith in him, Leng Mo now had a wealth of diverse and precious ores at his disposal, ready to begin the forging process for a mighty weapon. Leng Mo found himself in the forging shop, ready to commence the sword-making process. He had a basket filled with tempered stone, and as he began, he spilled his own blood into it. The tempered stone absorbed his blood, increasing the temperature required for melting the remaining minerals. The stone started producing a tremendous amount of heat energy, shining as brilliantly as the sun. Witnessing this incredible display, all the villagers were left in awe. However, the village chief believed that the current temperature still wasn't high enough. Blood spattered around as Leng Mo continued his work, and after nearly 5 minutes, he realized it was becoming dangerous to lose any more blood. Dizziness began to set in as the blood loss took its toll. Observing Leng Mo's condition, the village chief grew deeply concerned. In response, Leng Mo made a risky decision. He cut open another wound to increase the rate at which blood flowed. This action heightened the chief's worries for Leng Mo's well-being. Suddenly, the light emitted by the stones intensified, shining as brightly as a sunbeam, and an overwhelming heat filled the area. Recognizing the potential danger, the village chief suggested that everyone evacuate and wait outside. Though hesitant to leave Leng Mo behind, they ultimately trusted his judgment and actions. The village chief concluded that their presence in the forging shop would only be a hindrance to Leng Mo, and might disrupt his concentration. With unanimous agreement, they decided to wait outside. While waiting, the village chief contemplated that Leng Mo might now be in his first hardening stage, a moment of significant progress. The excited chatter among the other villagers filled the air. As they were talking, Leng Mo emerged from the forging shop and carefully dropped a large red-hot block into the water. The intense heat instantly began to evaporate the water, and it didn't stop there. The heat was so powerful that it eventually evaporated the entire lake. The villagers were left both astonished and perplexed by this incredible sight. The village chief contemplated where they should go to catch a glimpse of Leng Mo, or if he might have been affected by the water vapors. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the vapor cloud created by the heat, leading the chief to believe it was the thunderous sound of Leng Mo's forging, an utterly astonishing sight. An hour passed, and Leng Mo continued to laboriously forge with loud, resonating blows. After a while, the deafening noise ceased, and a serene calmness enveloped the area. But then, a powerful wind started to swirl around them, and an enormous cloud filled with thunder began to form in the sky. Suddenly, the sky split open, and a mighty lightning bolt struck the ground, hitting Leng Mo. The villagers and the chief were overcome with worry, but the chief attempted to reassure everyone. He stated that Leng Mo would be okay, and that he might have successfully forged something extraordinary. He added that it would be one of the mightiest weapons of their time, destined to be etched in the annals of forging history. Amidst the red aesthetic storm, Leng Mo emerged, holding a long, exquisite Immortal Slayer sword, his creation now complete. The newly forged sword, named the Evil Immortal Slayer, possessed an incredible strength capable of splitting open an entire mountain with a single strike. it also held a mysterious power within it, which added to its allure. What astonished Leng Mo most, however, was the fact that while the village head had struggled mightily to carry the 83 KT evil immortal slayer, Leng Mo handled it with ease. He could effortlessly implement his Nine Yang technique with the sword, making it feel like a natural extension of himself. The evil immortal slayer was both exceptionally robust and razor-sharp, earning the approval of the village chief. It was truly worthy of being called a divine weapon. During this forging process, the village head witnessed Leng Mo's advancement to the warrior stage, a significant milestone in his journey. Leng Mo had achieved impressive speed, but struggled a bit with accuracy in his sword-slashing techniques. He recognized that he needed to balance speed, power, and accuracy, believing that the dwarves' expertise lay in these areas. The villagers were elated by Leng Mo's successful advancement to the warrior stage, and they celebrated the occasion all through the night. The following morning, as the sun rose and painted the sky with its beauty, Leng Mo lay beside a tree, mesmerized by the breathtaking sunrise, considering it the most stunning one he had ever witnessed. On the third day, the village head, Grandpa, called upon everyone to gather at the village square, signaling the start of a new development. In a significant and solemn ceremony, the village chief announced to the gathered crowd that they would inscribe the guardian deity of the dwarf race onto Leng Mo's right arm. The tattooing ceremony was straightforward, yet deeply meaningful. The phoenix tattoo symbolized that Leng Mo had earned the acknowledgement of the dwarf race, as the ink used for the tattoo was made from the blood of every dwarf. Surrounded by the villagers, they all hoped for Leng Mo's safety and placed their trust in him. As the ceremony concluded, Leng Mo bore the tattoo symbolizing the unity and trust of the dwarf race. From that day forward, the blood of the dwarf race flowed within him, and he became a source of pride for them. The villagers of the dwarf village gathered around Leng Mo, cheering and showing their support. Leng Mo was overwhelmed by their encouragement and expressed his gratitude to them. 3 days later, village head Gramps, along with 6 elders and some young dwarfs, joined Leng Mo on a boat trip to the Temple of Phoenix, located on a serene lake. The temple was a stunning sight, and they proudly showcased the statue of the guardian deity. Inside the temple, they revealed the Temple of the Phoenix, leaving Leng Mo deeply impressed and awestruck by its beauty. The village chief then found a spot and began chanting, invoking blessings for Leng Mo's strength and powers at this sacred place. The other villagers joined in, encircling Leng Mo and chanting fervently for his power and skills. An extraordinary event unfolded as the eyes of the phoenix statue surrounding Leng Mo began to glow, radiating an intense bright light. A powerful wind swirled around him, and he felt as if a sacred force had entered his body. Suddenly, the temple burst open, and strong beams of light emanated from within. Leng Mo was baffled by the sudden appearance of a knight-like figure. As the light gradually settled, the village chief explained to Leng Mo that he had now been bestowed with the ability to summon his own Yudaman, a blessing from the guardian deity. Upon hearing the villagers' heartfelt support and witnessing the blessings bestowed upon him, Leng Mo was overcome with emotion. He realized how self-centered he had been and felt deeply touched by the kindness and generosity of these people who had helped a complete stranger. Tears welled up in his eyes and rolled down his face. As he cried, Leng Mo expressed his gratitude to the villagers, although they couldn't understand why he was so moved. In that moment, Leng Mo wished they could all remain together, living in harmony forever. However, their newfound peace was shattered when an invader descended upon the dwarf village, unleashing a horrific massacre. They treated the villagers like livestock, and the cruel invaders even took the life of Uncle Volden. Returning from the Temple of Phoenix, Leng Mo was brimming with excitement and happiness, thrilled that he had been recognized by the guardian deity. He couldn't contain his joy and was running back to the village. Seeing Leng Mo's jubilant state, the village chief and the people with him were equally elated for Leng Mo. Leng Mo was ecstatic about becoming a member of the dwarf race and feeling the sense of recognition once more. However, as Leng Mo reached the entrance gate of the dwarf village, his excitement suddenly transformed into confusion. There was a disturbing sight, with a lot of blood spattered at the entrance, leaving him bewildered. Leng Mo was initially perplexed by the sight of blood on the ground and the lifeless bodies of the villagers. He desperately called out to them, urging them to wake up, unaware that they were already dead. The horrifying reality slowly dawned on him, and he remembered that his dear Uncle Vlado and Auntie Malia were among those lost. Leng Mo couldn't fathom who could commit such a brutal act against his peaceful village. As others arrived at the scene, the village chief, witnessing the devastation, swiftly gave orders for everyone to disperse and search for the assassins. Meanwhile, Leng Mo stood in shock. His peaceful life suddenly shattered into pieces, struggling to come to terms with the tragedy that had befallen his village. Leng Mo stood there, still and in shock, as the rain poured down. The village chief returned, urging Leng Mo to leave because the village was no longer safe, having been invaded by human assassins who might return. In a sudden burst of anger and pure rage, Leng Mo turned toward the chief and vehemently demanded that they not let the assassins escape without consequences. He declared that the debts of blood should be repaid with blood, and they needed to take action. The village chief, maintaining a resolute demeanor as a leader, acknowledged his desire for revenge but explained that he couldn't risk losing the last bloodlines of the dwarf race. He emphasized that, as the village chief, he couldn't afford to lose emotional control. Lang Mo embraced the village chief, recognizing the immense burden the chief bore, torn between his personal desires for vengeance and the responsibility to protect their race. While Lang Mo shared the chief's determination for revenge and the desire to make those responsible pay for the pain they had inflicted, he understood the chief's perspective. Suddenly, a potent aura began to emanate from Lang Mo, and his eyes emitted a formidable, smoky aura. He was resolute and unwavering in his commitment to seek revenge for his village. This marked a significant change in Lang Mo's personality, as the negative aspects of his character began to surface. In the years that followed, Lang Mo would become known to mankind as an immortal of malevolence, a symbol of his unrelenting pursuit of vengeance. A few weeks later, Lang Mo and the village chief ventured into the Silver Wolf's territory within the jungle. Lang Mo proudly introduced the chief to the mother wolf and her pups. To Lang Mo's surprise, he discovered that the silver wolf he had saved previously was the king of the forest, holding a position of great authority. It became evident that the silver wolf was among the top 10 most powerful beasts in the region, possessing the unique ability to summon other wolves by howling within a specific radius. This revelation added to the awe-inspiring nature of their encounter. The silver wolf possessed the remarkable ability to command his wolf army with just a single howl. Thanks to the strong connection between Lang Mo and the silver wolf, Lang Mo generously allowed the dwarven race to settle in his territory. This gesture eased his mind, knowing that they had found a new place to call home. Unbeknownst to anyone at that time, the dwarven race, led by 6 elders and 44 pairs of young dwarves, would eventually grow to a population numbering in the millions and billions. This transformation took place in the once insignificant forest, marking the remarkable evolution of their race over millions of years. With heartfelt farewells, Lang Mo bid everyone a safe goodbye and embarked on his path of revenge. He had prepared himself to face all the consequences, and he walked with unwavering determination. Lang Mo's resolve was so strong that he was willing to risk his life for this cause, never giving up. In his memory crystal, Lang Mo held the images of the faces of all the criminals within the Empire of Fragrance, and he was resolute in his mission to find and eliminate each one of them. Lang Mo eventually reached a bustling human city, marked by its towering buildings that reached high into the clouds. The people in this city resembled humans in appearance. When Lang Mo attempted to enter the castle, he was halted by 2 guards who requested an entry pass. Lang Mo was perplexed by this request, which seemed unfamiliar to him. The guards, sensing his confusion, became more alert. Lang Mo decided to try a different approach, and thought that if he acted cute or like a child, perhaps they would allow him entry. However, despite his efforts to act adorable, he found himself confined behind bars. They transported Lang Mo in a carriage, and as he peered outside, he noticed that the people in this city had a somewhat European look. However, he couldn't fathom why they were all giving him strange looks. Lang Mo was escorted to the palace and brought before the king. The king inquired if Lang Mo was the individual who lacked the entry pass, raising suspicions of him being a spy from another country. He further questioned Lang Mo about his place of origin, and Lang Mo truthfully replied that he came from a small village. Upon hearing that Lang Mo hailed from a humble village, the king abruptly ordered his guards to carry out his execution. The guards swiftly seized Lang Mo and dragged him away to face this grim fate. Lang Mo, in a desperate attempt to save himself, began to resist and shout that he was just a child and not a spy. He vehemently protested against the unjust treatment he was facing. The king, with a puzzled expression, explained that the Empire of Sunset had been engaged in a long-standing conflict with the Empire of Fragrance. However, Lang Mo's mind was consumed with thoughts of vengeance after hearing the mention of the Empire of Fragrance. The king questioned Lang Mo, asking if he had any connections with those who sought to harm their nation, but Lang Mo's thoughts were focused on his own plans for revenge. Lang Mo made a humble request to the king, asking that if his fate was to die, he would prefer to meet his end on the battlefield, serving in their military. The king, initially taken aback, was surprised by Lang Mo's courage. Lang Mo assured the king that he was already an advanced warrior and could be of great use to their army. Impressed by Lang Mo's determination, the king rose from his seat and declared that Lang Mo could be placed in the Dare to Die group. In simpler terms, this group consisted of individuals who were at the forefront of battle, initiating the fight. The primary objective of the Dare to Die group was to harness the enemy's main force and use it against them. For those in this group, there was no escape. Whether they charged forward or attempted to flee, death was the likely outcome. What's more, the survival rate in the Dare to Die group was less than 1%. Lang Mo, his face filled with determination, stated that he was fully prepared for these odds. The king, observing Lang Mo's resolute spirit, was deeply impressed and gave the order for his knights to place Lang Mo within the Dare to Die group. As the knights escorted Lang Mo away, the king couldn't help but notice something different in his eyes compared to the other members. Lang Mo hadn't expected to locate the members of the Fragrance so quickly, and he felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that he was now closer to exacting his revenge. The king recognized that Lang Mo's name and attitude were well suited for the military, and he exuded a unique aura. The following morning, guards escorted Leng Mo to the training site. As Leng Mo observed the campsite of the Dare to Die group, he found it to be an eerily quiet place. He caught the faint smell of the streets and noticed numerous other trainees, all appearing quite serious. Leng Mo couldn't help but sense the despair that hung in the air, and he saw the pain and hopelessness reflected in the eyes of those around him. Suddenly, a stern-looking man arrived on the scene, and his demeanor matched the seriousness of the situation. Leng Mo immediately sensed the imposing presence of the man as he approached. There was an undeniable air of danger about him. The man inquired if Leng Mo was the new recruit, asking for his name. Leng Mo introduced himself, and for a moment, a strange silence hung between them as they locked eyes. Suddenly, the man's demeanor shifted, and he broke into a smile. In a cheerful tone, he introduced himself as Lan Qi, and informed Leng Mo that he was now under his command. He encouraged Leng Mo to enjoy his time while he could, as the next battle loomed. Lan Qi explained that there was little discipline in their group, but emphasized the importance of promptly responding to the sound of horns when they needed to gather. Leng Mo understood that failing to follow orders would result in consequences, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of unease after Lan Qi's departure. It was clear that there was no room for mistakes in this environment. Leng Mo made his way to the tent that would be his new home within the camp. As he neared the center of the camp, he noticed a pungent odor that grew stronger, as if something was decaying within. Nevertheless, in comparison to the putrid stench he had encountered upon returning to the dwarf village, this smell seemed relatively mild. As Leng Mo walked through the camp, he accidentally bumped into a soldier who initially adopted a confrontational attitude. However, upon catching a glimpse of Leng Mo's intense and vengeful gaze, the soldier quickly became intimidated and rattled. Leng Mo paid little heed to him and proceeded to the front of his tent, which appeared larger than the others. Upon entering his tent, Leng Mo was surprised to find it already occupied by several individuals. He mused that there was no need to be concerned for his own well-being, given that they were all destined to meet a grim fate. The people inside the tent appeared to be quite diverse, and there were a total of 4 individuals present. Among them was a man with red hair, who had a substantial sword wrapped in red cloth. Among the other occupants of the tent, Leng Mo noticed a young man with green hair who carried a dagger as his weapon. There was also a woman with blue hair and eyes, seemingly emitting an aura of icy cold. The 4th member was a girl who held nothing more than a book. Leng Mo couldn't help but realize that each of them possessed unique and exceptional skills. He wondered why only 4 individuals were accommodated in a tent meant for 30, but he reminded himself not to dwell on it, as his vengeance was his primary focus. Suddenly a horn sounded, and in response, all the squad members leaped into action. Leng Mo and his 4 tent mates swiftly bolted toward their designated positions as they prepared for what lay ahead. As Leng Mo observed his fellow squad members bolting into action, he couldn't help but notice their distinct qualities. The girl with the book moved with the swiftness of the wind, light and agile. The red-haired man was explosive, akin to a piercing bullet. The woman with snowy attributes had a gentle but rapid flow, like an intangible current. The green-haired teenager, on the other hand, possessed a steady and formidable force, reminiscent of the dwarven race. Leng Mo realized that he needed to pick up the pace to avoid being late on his first day. He pushed himself to sprint at full speed, but as he ran, he felt a new power welling up within him. He couldn't be certain if it was the energy he had stored during his training or something entirely different. Regardless, Leng Mo was experiencing significant growth, and he hadn't fully grasped the extent of it. Leng Mo's newfound speed and agility left his 4 tent mates in awe. Their eyes widened as they watched him dart past them, his movements seemingly impossible. The lady among them was particularly astounded by Leng Mo's incredible speed. They couldn't fathom how he could move so swiftly. Leng Mo's remarkable display continued, as he gracefully hopped across tree branches and landed on the water's surface, without creating so much as a ripple. This left all 4 members of their squad completely shocked, wondering who Leng Mo was and where he had come from. As they gathered behind him, the other squad members couldn't help but chatter excitedly about his extraordinary speed and agility. Leng Mo himself found it hard to believe how he had achieved such incredible speed so quickly. The girl with the book seemed intrigued by Leng Mo's abilities, and considered him a hidden talent. The training in the death squad was quite simple, as there wasn't much reason to invest in extensive training since they were all expected to die. Their primary focus was on discipline and obedience to higher-ups' orders. They were trained to listen for commands and promptly execute them, which usually involved sprinting to designated locations. After a day of monotonous training, they all returned to their tents. Leng Mo found the camp to be devoid of any activities or entertainment, and there was nothing in particular that he wanted to do in that place. Leng Mo sat in his tent, clutching the stone in his hand, his thoughts consumed by thoughts of revenge. As he contemplated his plans for vengeance, his tent mates approached him. Leng Mo informed them that he wasn't in a good mood and didn't want to cause any trouble, but they had a different matter to discuss. They explained that they needed to choose a leader for their tent to maintain order and prevent conflicts. It was crucial for them to have someone in charge to avoid chaos. They introduced themselves to Leng Mo. The guy with red hair was called Red, the girl with the book was Code, the teenage boy was Green, and the girl with snowy aura was Blue. They were deciding who would become the leader of their tent. Code suggested Leng Mo as their leader, recognizing his competence and strength. However, Leng Mo humbly declined, stating that he wasn't interested in leadership and that winning a race meant nothing to him. He believed that speed was just one element of combat. Leng Mo proposed a different kind of competition, one where they would compete to see who could eliminate the most enemies. He called on everyone to join this contest. Initially, the others were a bit uncertain, but Leng Mo's motivational words swayed them. He emphasized the importance of sticking together and surviving no matter what. Upon hearing this, Code responded by expressing his doubts. He felt it was easier said than done, considering that they were just advanced warriors. Leng Mo, wearing a determined expression, questioned what the potential outcome would be if they all used their QI simultaneously, as using it individually was proving challenging. Code was perplexed by this idea. Leng Mo proceeded to clarify his proposal, explaining that by uniting their QI powers, they could create protective layers. He emphasized that if they could endure the initial attack, they would effectively penetrate the enemy's territory. This strategy would provide them with a better chance of survival and success. Code expressed her concern, mentioning that a single attack could deplete a significant portion of their QI. Leng Mo responded, assuring them that their adversaries had no QI abilities, making the task less daunting. However, Code worried that once they infiltrated enemy territory, they would be at constant risk of losing their lives. Leng Mo, filled with unwavering determination, declared that when they were inside the enemy's domain, the responsibility would fall squarely on his shoulders. This declaration left Code somewhat anxious, and he inquired if Leng Mo would be able to manage on his own. Leng Mo, with a resolute glint in his eyes, assured Code that he would do everything in his power to survive. Impressed by Leng Mo's unwavering determination, Code sought the opinion of the others. Red, Green, and Blue all concurred with Leng Mo's plan. With a collective decision in place, Code suggested that they should begin practicing their coordination immediately and avoid any further delays. They began their coordination practice with Leng Mo positioned in the middle of the team, unable to use QI. During their practice, they realized that when the QI of 4 different elements combined simultaneously, it caused a powerful explosion. While practicing, an unexpected explosion occurred, startling the locals who thought they were under attack. Lan Chi in his camp also panicked, believing that their base was being assaulted. He saw smoke surrounding Leng Mo's tent and the tents of his 4 comrades, suspecting they were planning an escape. However, as the smoke settled, a bright, intense light emerged, and within that brilliance, Leng Mo appeared with minor injuries. Spectators were baffled by how Leng Mo survived the blast. Leng Mo swiftly unsheathed his immortal Slayer sword and began wielding it with great skill and determination. Onlookers were thoroughly perplexed by Leng Mo's actions. Lan Chi, too, couldn't fathom whether Leng Mo was attempting to harm someone or if he had lost his mind. However, as Lan Chi observed the clarity in Leng Mo's eyes, he realized that Leng Mo was far from insane. Leng Mo remained resolute as his teammates joined him, helping him stand. Code, wearing a confident expression, spoke up, explaining that even though the QI of 4 different elements couldn't coexist for an extended period, it was enough time for them to endure. With a smile, Leng Mo whispered that they must persevere. The group shared a hearty laugh in response to Code's words, reiterating their determination to survive. However, Lan Chi remained bewildered, wondering if they had forgotten that their group had been formed with the sole purpose of their demise. Watching Leng Mo and the others laugh together was an entirely new experience for Lan Chi, who had always been accustomed to a bleak and hopeless existence, marked by the constant specter of death. Having witnessed the loss of his allies one by one, Lan Chi had long given up hope of survival. It was then that Lan Chi made a request to be stationed at this camp of despair, where the odds of survival appeared incredibly slim. Lan Chi had initially desired to spend the rest of his days in the camp of despair, but witnessing Leng Mo's team's newfound determination was breaking his resolve. The flood of emotions overwhelmed him, and he couldn't hold back his tears. Lan Chi, who had always been running from the grim reality more than anyone else, yearned for survival. Filled with a surge of emotions and with tears streaming down his face, Lan Chi shouted that they must survive. He then gave an order to Leng Mo's group, declaring that they no longer needed to attend further training sessions. Leng Mo was left bewildered by this sudden change in direction. Under Lan Chi's orders, everyone else began training vigorously to enhance their stamina, embarking on a challenging 100-kilometer run. Lan Chi departed, feeling that this was the best he could do to support his comrades. Meanwhile, Leng Mo and his team were brimming with happiness and a strong determination to improve themselves. Over the next few days, they tirelessly worked on strengthening their teamwork. With each practice session, their timing became more precise, and as the impending battle drew nearer, their hearts grew stronger and their camaraderie deepened. The time for war had arrived, and both armies were prepared for battle. General Ji, leading the Dare to Die group, gave the order to charge. Leng Mo and his team followed closely behind, all resolute and ready to fight for their survival. Leng Mo had eagerly awaited this moment, craving a genuine battlefield experience, and now he was fully immersed in it. The atmosphere was unlike anything he had read about in the manhwas from his previous world. However, the overwhelming chants of the millions on the opposing side were exerting real pressure on Lang Mo. While he contemplated the impending battle, he sensed a strong aura of murderous intent behind him. It was Green, and his teammates informed Lang Mo that he would enter a frenzied state before every battle, as killing was innate to him. Green's eyes blazed with an unadulterated desire to kill, and he was prepared for the fight. Red noticed that Code appeared a bit nervous. She encouraged him, assuring that she trusted him. Code's concern stemmed from a change in the situation, as both sides were now using short bows, and the distance between them was substantial, beyond the effective range of these bows. This meant that enemy arrows would likely miss Lang Mo's Dare to Die group, allowing them to approach the enemy lines more easily and join forces with their counterparts. They devised a plan to form a human shield to protect Lang Mo, concealing him behind their ranks. When they drew near the enemy lines, Lang Mo would launch his attack, making it easier for him. Code instructed Red to keep a close eye on Green, especially when he went into his battle frenzy. Code was determined that precise timing would significantly boost their chances of survival on this crucial day. Blue delivered an emotionally charged speech about the prospect of facing death together and being honored in doing so. Lang Mo was somewhat taken aback by Blue's ability to craft such a speech in the midst of battle preparations. Blue continued to recite the speech with tears in her eyes, reading from a paper, while the others impatiently awaited its conclusion. Afterward, Lang Mo rallied everyone, encouraging them to muster their spirits and prepare for the signal, which would come with the sounding of the horn. Suddenly, the horn resounded, and the entire group's adrenaline surged to its peak. Lang Mo's team sprinted toward the battlefield with remarkable speed, leaving onlookers, including the enemy, astounded. The foes were unsure whether to start shooting arrows or not, as they were taken aback by the audacity of Lang Mo's charge. In a matter of seconds, Lang Mo's group had swiftly moved beyond the enemy's shooting range, prompting the adversaries to begin firing their arrows. Lang Mo was delighted to see that their plan was indeed working. The enemy commander swiftly gave orders for the heavily armored soldiers to move to the front and defend against Lang Mo's Dare to Die group. Meanwhile, arrows continued to fly over Lang Mo's group, missing them narrowly as they advanced. Now, Lang Mo's team was dangerously close to the enemy territory, causing shock among the adversaries at how rapidly they had approached. Lang Mo, charging towards the enemy, shouted, "Start!" and leaped into their midst, declaring that they should leave the rest to him. Witnessing Lang Mo's decisive action, his group members were filled with excitement, knowing that Lang Mo was about to unleash a devastating blow. As arrows rained down upon Lang Mo's group, they swiftly raised their shields, causing an explosion. Seizing the momentum from this explosion, Lang Mo drew his sword and leaped right into the heart of the enemy lines, sword poised for action. Lang Mo had arrived in this world with nothing, feeling utterly alone. However, the dwarf people had taught him everything he knew, and he couldn't bear the thought of them enduring such a tragedy. Filled with rage, he swung his sword with all his might, while soaring through the air, striking down with a tremendous explosion. Witnessing this, Code, Red, and Green were genuinely astonished. The enemy commander, witnessing Lang Mo's incredible display, grew increasingly concerned. In desperation, he ordered his army to kill all the Dare to Die members and leave no survivors. The enemy leader was baffled by how Lang Mo's group had approached so quickly while skillfully dodging the arrows. General G, observing Lang Mo's movements, was genuinely impressed by their prowess. In the enemy lines, fear spread as they marveled at Lang Mo's speed and strength. Lang Mo, now amidst the enemy ranks, contemplated creating a path through the bloodshed to fight his way out. The enemy lines trembled with fear as they watched Lang Mo charge, unsure of how to face his relentless assault. Lang Mo, fueled by determination and anger, swung his Immortal Slayer sword at the enemy lines with a burning desire for revenge against those who had decimated his people and invaded his village. However, his attack met an unexpected obstacle, a powerful defense that pushed him back with immense pressure. Lang Mo's eyes widened as he saw heavily armored warriors, formidable opponents standing in his way. Their strength and resilience caught him by surprise, as he hadn't anticipated the enemy sending soldiers of such a high caliber to confront them. Code and Red, watching the situation unfold, felt deep concern for Lang Mo. As Lang Mo looked back at his group, he realized that their QI hadn't fully replenished yet. If they couldn't continue fighting, their lives would be in grave danger. Lang Mo stood his ground against these formidable soldiers, his mind racing with a sudden plan. He vanished from the sight of the charging soldiers just as they attacked, using his exceptional speed to circle around them while taunting them with his words. The soldiers were left bewildered and confused by this unexpected tactic. Lang Mo concentrated all his QI into his legs, ensuring that even the advanced warriors couldn't catch up to him. He continued to taunt and mock the soldiers while circling them and launching his attacks from different angles, avoiding a head-on confrontation. Lang Mo employed angled techniques to easily evade the Grade 8 soldiers' strikes, and whenever they had an opportunity to hit him, their view was obstructed by their own comrades. Meanwhile, Lang Mo's group steadily took down the enemy's Dare to Die group, while the Grade 8 soldiers found their mental endurance stretched to its limits. Then, in a momentary lapse, one of the soldiers made a mistake, creating an opening for Lang Mo to attack. Seizing the opportunity, Lang Mo swiftly and decisively struck down the soldier. His fellow group members were left in awe, witnessing Lang Mo's impressive skills. Lang Mo hadn't even used his full strength, yet the enemies were falling before him. However, something extraordinary happened. Leng Mo began to emit a radiant glow as he absorbed the fallen soldier's essence. His sword, the Immortal Slayer, started emanating a brilliant, radiant light, completely absorbing the enemy's essence. Leng Mo felt a surge in his QI, and the energy of his divine weapon grew stronger. He realized that this was the effect of the rare ores he had used in forging the sword. Leng Mo believed that the Immortal Slayer sword carried the spirits of all those who had contributed their rare ores, and now they were blessing him. As he thought of this, the enemy lines watched in astonishment and fear as Leng Mo and the Dare to Die group displayed their newfound power. With their QI fully replenished, Leng Mo gave the order for his group to launch their attack. As the battle raged on, many enemy soldiers fell under the relentless onslaught, and the brutality with which they were killed sent shivers of terror through the enemy lines. Leng Mo was responsible for much of this carnage, appearing as an avenging figure who seemed to crave nothing but revenge and bloodshed. His group began to worry about the transformation they witnessed in him. The enemy, witnessing Leng Mo in this fearsome state, began to view him as an otherworldly being, a demon immortal, making them hesitant to engage him in combat. 2 hours ago, Leng Mo's group had been executing their plan flawlessly, striking fear into the hearts of the enemy forces. People were beginning to recognize Leng Mo as an extraordinary talent on the battlefield. However, as Leng Mo ruthlessly dispatched the Grade 8 soldiers, a sinister desire to kill began to manifest within him. He felt like he was becoming addicted to the act of taking lives. Leng Mo couldn't discern if it was his own nature or the influence of the Immortal Slayer's sword, but one thing was undeniable. It felt incredibly satisfying. As he wielded the sword, it absorbed substantial amounts of energy from each fallen soldier, but the negative emotions surrounding death, such as anger, hatred, and unwillingness, were accumulating within Leng Mo like a flood of oil pouring onto a raging fire. Seeing Leng Mo in his menacing state, the enemy lines were drenched in sweat, gripped by fear. The soldiers were continuously falling before him, and Leng Mo's strength was growing more powerful and malevolent with each kill. Leng Mo returned to his group, and Code inquired about his well-being. Leng Mo, emanating a new aura of darkness and strength, replied that he was feeling better than he ever had before. Suddenly, the enemy Dare to Die group attempted to launch a sneak attack on Leng Mo, but with a sinister smile, he swung his sword. As the sword cut through the air, a wave of fire instantly reduced the attackers to ashes in the blink of an eye. Leng Mo continued his relentless onslaught, feeling an unending surge of energy coursing through him. He fed upon the hatred and anger that seemed to accumulate within him, and his desire to kill became insatiable. His actions were no longer within his control, as the act of killing had become automatic. Suddenly, a moment of hesitation broke through, and Leng Mo awoke from the murderous trance. He found himself surrounded by the lifeless bodies of thousands, with blood staining the battlefield. Code, observing Leng Mo's state, felt a growing sense of concern for his well-being. The enemy soldiers who remained were paralyzed with fear, believing that Leng Mo had transformed into a demon, no longer human. His murderous aura was overpowering, with an overwhelming amount of hatred residing within him. Leng Mo issued a challenge to the remaining soldiers, daring them to step forward if they wished to face him. Suddenly, the enemy commander ordered a withdrawal, putting an end to the battle. Upon hearing this, the remaining Dare to Die members were overcome with joy and excitement, celebrating their survival with cheers, yells of glory, and hearty laughter. Leng Mo overheard their jubilation and gazed at his teammates with a relieved smile. He too was elated that they had made it through the battle. General Zhi Qian, witnessing Leng Mo's extraordinary combat abilities, couldn't help but feel that it would be a significant loss to keep him in the Dare to Die group now. General Zhi Qianhao expressed a strong desire to meet with Leng Mo after their first battle. He wanted to transfer Leng Mo out of the Dare to Die group to serve under his command. Leng Mo was initially willing to go, but he was torn by the fact that his teammates remained in the Dare to Die group. They had committed grave offenses and were forbidden to leave the camp for 30 years. After contemplating the fate of his comrades, Leng Mo ultimately decided to stay with them in the camp. General Ji made several attempts to persuade Leng Mo to change his mind, but Leng Mo remained resolute in his decision. Though disappointed, General Ji respected Leng Mo's unwavering commitment to his teammates. Despite their relatively short time together, Leng Mo had shared life and death experiences with his teammates, forging a deep bond. They had a motto they held close: to survive together through all challenges. Gradually, some changes began to take root within the Dare to Die group, and their practices drew more and more participants. Over the following days, they delved into a review of their first battle experience, making necessary adjustments to their strategies and timing. The battle marked Leng Mo's first time killing a person with the sinister Immortal Slayer sword, and it was also the first instance when he discovered the sword's ability to absorb energy and amplify his desire to kill. Leng Mo embarked on the endeavor of modifying the 7 deadly slash attack, condensing the original 49 styles into just 7. The Immortal Slayer sword had proven invaluable during the battle, and without it, Leng Mo might not have survived. Determined, he committed to daily training to fully integrate these 7 styles into his combat repertoire. Over the course of the next 3 years, there were countless battles, both large and small, each day. They faced constant life and death challenges, either defending their city or evacuating it. After enduring thousands of battles, they emerged considerably stronger. Red, yellow, blue, and green had all ascended to become sword warriors, while Lang Mo, aided by his exceptional blade, had reached the level of a great sword warrior. In addition to their remarkable progress in combat, the people of the Fragrance Empire had bestowed a new nickname upon Lang Mo, the Devil Immortal. The 3 years had passed swiftly, and Lang Mo was in exceptional physical and spiritual condition. One day, Code hurried into their tent with a piece of good news. Lang Mo was summoned to appear before General Zhi Qian in the castle. General Ji informed Lang Mo that due to the outstanding performance of the 5 of them on the battlefield, the situation had stabilized. After multiple requests to the emperor, he had finally approved their release. Upon hearing this news, all the members were overwhelmed with happiness and emotion. Lan Qi couldn't hide his happiness, and tears welled up in his eyes as he witnessed the good news. Lang Mo expressed his gratitude to General Ji, and conveyed that they appreciated the care they had received, but they were not planning to remain there for an extended period. Lang Mo explained that they had grown weary of the constant battles, and wished to pursue their own paths. He assured the general that they would be willing to assist the kingdom in the future, should the need arise. General Xi welcomed their decision, and expressed his hope that they would remember their friend Xi, who would always be there for them. Following their celebration, they all savored the delectable meals thoughtfully prepared by Xi. Their excitement was palpable as they relished the delicious feast, thoroughly enjoying every moment. As the night progressed, the effects of alcohol took hold, and one by one, they drifted into a deep slumber. In the stillness of the night, Lang Mo made a heartfelt decision. He was overcome with emotion, tears welling up in his eyes. He realized that he didn't want to drag his friends into the revenge he needed to exact for his people. Quietly, and with a heavy heart, he decided to part ways from them. Lang Mo cherished the deep bond he had forged with his friends, but believed that it was time for them to seek their own happiness. If destiny willed it, they might cross paths again in the future. Lang Mo departed from the castle and strolled through the city streets, but the experience of living a peaceful and ordinary life felt strange to him. Even though he had left the Dare to Die group, he couldn't completely suppress the lingering presence of his killing intent. As Lang Mo continued on his way, someone called out to him from behind, addressing him by his nickname. Lang Mo was approached by a blue-haired girl who seemed curious about why a renowned figure like him was outside the military camps. Lang Mo regarded the girl with some skepticism and inquired about her intentions. The girl, sensing the anger in Lang Mo's eyes, reassured him that she meant no harm, and advised him to control his intimidating, murderous aura. She explained that she was not an adversary, but rather, she had never encountered the Dare to Die group. Introducing herself as Langer Dorst, she revealed that she was one of the mages who had joined the camp just a month ago. Upon hearing her name, something clicked in Lang Mo's mind. He recalled a group that had an exceptionally formidable commander named Langer Dorst, and he realized that this month's battles had been considerably easier thanks to her leadership. Lang Mo couldn't quite fathom why a renowned mage like Langer Dorst would seek him out. As his murderous intent seemed to intensify, Langer Dorst grew a bit uneasy and implored him to remain calm. Suggesting that Lang Mo invite her for a drink before his departure, Langer Dorst hinted at the possibility of gaining something valuable. Though Lang Mo felt uneasy about the situation, he agreed to proceed with her. Langer Dorst's continuous, intense gaze made Lang Mo feel increasingly uncomfortable. At the bar, they ordered a meal, and Langer Dorst invited Lang Mo to join her for a drink. Lang Mo, perplexed by Langer Dorst's intentions, inquired about what she wanted from him. With a determined expression, Langer Dorst made a surprising request. She asked Lang Mo to become her disciple in the art of magic. Lang Mo was taken aback by the proposition. He explained that he couldn't spare the 2 or 3 years required for magic training, as he had more pressing matters to attend to. In response, Langer Dorst assured Lang Mo that he had the potential to excel and grasp magical concepts swiftly. Curious about what Lang Mo desired more than becoming her disciple, Langer Dorst posed the question to him. Lang Mo's response was clear. He desired a vengeful path soaked in blood. With a sigh, Langer Dorst acknowledged that there was little she could do in that regard. To resolve the matter, she proposed a bet. If Lang Mo won, he would be free to exact his revenge in his chosen manner, but if he lost, he would have to follow her method for revenge. Lang Mo accepted the bet, and he asked for the details. Langer Dorst explained that the rules were simple. Lang Mo only had to attack her while she sat before him. At first, Lang Mo believed this would be a straightforward task. However, Langer Dorst possessed a potent magical defense that he hadn't encountered before. Langer Dorst taunted Lang Mo, urging him to strike. Loading up his attack, Lang Mo rushed towards Langer Dorst with full force. As he attacked, 2 portals unexpectedly opened, redirecting his assault back towards himself. 2 hours later, Lang Mo regained consciousness, finding Langer Dorst seated beside him. Lang Mo slowly regained consciousness, his head throbbing from the self-inflicted blow he had suffered. Langer Dorst's magic had redirected his punch back towards himself, resulting in the injury. With Lang Mo now awake, Langer Dorst proceeded to address the terms of their bet. As Lang Mo had lost, she explained that he would need to exact his revenge in the manner she suggested. Langer Dorst then requested Lang Mo's blade. Lang Mo handed his blade to her, and she immediately noticed its remarkable weight and sensed a formidable power emanating from it. Langer Dorst began channeling her energy into the blade, hoping to infuse it with her own power. However, as she did so, she was taken aback by the sensation of an entire universe contained within the weapon. Her shock was evident as she experienced this unexpected revelation. Langerdorst pointed at Lang Mo and inquired whether he possessed a double-element body. Confused by this term, Lang Mo sought clarification. Langerdorst explained that a double-element body meant having two different elements within one's body, which was quite rare. She noted that Lang Mo had demonstrated a fire element on the battlefield, and now, with the blade, he also seemed to possess a dimension element, a particularly rare combination. Eager to have Lang Mo as her disciple, Langerdorst promised to fetch a recommendation letter from a school for him. She asked him to wait as she prepared the necessary documents. Lang Mo harbored some hesitation, but Langerdorst assured him that the school she was recommending was among the finest on the mainlands. Attending this school, known as adjudicators, would significantly benefit his martial arts and magic abilities. Langerdorst explained that the adjudicators' mission was to capture the most dangerous criminals from various countries to gather vital information. Lang Mo began to see that seeking revenge as an adjudicator would be a much more feasible path. Then, Langerdorst dropped a bombshell. She revealed that Lang Mo's 4 campmates and 2 other murderers had been apprehended by adjudicators. This revelation left Lang Mo utterly shocked. Lang Mo had a terrible dream about his village being attacked by brutal assassins. He saw the horrifying things they did to his village. He woke up with tears in his eyes, feeling really shaken by the dream. Langerdorst, a friend, was sitting beside him and explained that the night before, Lang Mo had drunk too much, so she brought him to her place. Langerdorst told him that he had vomited all over himself, so she had to take off his clothes to help him sleep comfortably. She even had some pajamas ready for him, which he could wear inside her house. Lang Mo's head was throbbing, and he couldn't believe he got so drunk from just a few glasses of alcohol. Back in the camp, he used to drink fruit tea because he was a core member of the Dare to Die group, and no one could force him to drink anything else. Langerdorst gave Lang Mo some tea to help him sober up, and mentioned that he had agreed to the plans she discussed with him the previous night. Lang Mo confirmed that he indeed accepted her arrangements, which included enrolling at Zhongkai Academy. Lang Mo believed that this school was the right place to start his studies and investigate the whereabouts of his enemies, so he could finally get his sweet revenge. Over the next 3 years in the camp, he watched the recording in the necklace every day. However, this only fueled his growing hatred. Lang Mo couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the strength and physical abilities of his enemies. He felt completely powerless against them. Langerdorst noticed that Lang Mo seemed lost in thought, and she asked him what he was daydreaming about. She also reminded him that the entrance exam for Zhongkai Academy would be quite challenging. Langerdorst explained that every year, millions of students from all over the world came to take the exam, but only a few 100,000 managed to pass. Hearing this, Lang Mo was shocked to learn how difficult it was just to pass the exam. He couldn't help but wonder about the intensity of the training that lay ahead. In the end, Langerdorst revealed that the passing percentage for the Academy's entrance exam was as low as 1 in 10,000, meaning that not even 100 people qualified to enter. Hearing this extremely low passing rate, Lang Mo was truly shocked. However, Langerdorst believed that based on what she had observed of Lang Mo during the war, he was more than qualified for Zhongkai Academy. Encouraged by her faith in him, Lang Mo decided to become a disciple of his magical supervisor. Lang Mo began learning the basics of magic, and due to his innate talent, he managed to grasp the knowledge in just a single day. This swift progress seemed to give his magical supervisor a sense of inferiority. To avoid further shocking her, Lang Mo chose not to tell Langerdorst about his experiments with magical element arrangements. He believed that by stabilizing the originally scattered individual elements, he could enhance his magic energy. Despite teacher Langerdorst's insistence on keeping him, Lang Mo made the decision to leave. Before his departure, Langerdorst generously gave him a book on magic dimensions, showing her strong desire to teach him. It's not that Lang Mo didn't want to learn, he just felt the need to gather some information from the Fragrant Wind Empire before his classes began at Zhongkai Academy. Lang Mo was aware that he was considered a demon in the eyes of the Fragrant Wind Empire's army, so he knew it was essential to disguise himself while he was in their territory. Suddenly, 2 individuals rushed past Lang Mo, whispering about needing to report something urgently to their captain. They mentioned the dwarf map news and the potential for wealth if it was accurate. The men also spoke about how mercenaries from both the Luori Empire and the Fragrant Wind Empire had received this information. When Lang Mo overheard them talking about the dwarf race, he couldn't contain himself and shouted, stopping the boys in their tracks. He interrogated them about the situation and what was happening, and he warned them that if they didn't keep quiet, he would take drastic action. Upon seeing the anger in Lang Mo's eyes, both boys became frightened. They quickly shared that the prince of the Fragrant Wind Empire had, after drinking, claimed to have discovered a piece of dwarven craftology that was now nearly impossible to open. They added that as a result, the 4th prince had decided to return to the dwarven village. Continuing their story, they mentioned that the news had spread like wildfire, and mercenaries from the entire Fragrant Wind Empire were setting out to search for the dwarven race. If someone could locate a dwarven weapon, they would become incredibly wealthy. Upon hearing this, Leng Mo wasted no time. He sprinted and hurried toward the dwarven village with great urgency. While Leng Mo was rushing towards the dwarven village, he couldn't help but worry about the safety of the people who remained there. Meanwhile, at the Fragrant Wind Empire's palace, the same assassin leader who had killed the dwarves was present, his sword still dripping with blood. He was none other than the fourth prince of the empire. He questioned his people, asking if they wanted to meet the same fate as the dwarves, who had been killed because they refused to reveal their secrets. The fourth prince intentionally leaked his plan to draw enough people to help him wipe out the dwarves and anyone who knew about their secrets. Even his own followers were growing increasingly concerned upon learning of his sinister plan. In a part of the forest near the dwarven village, 2 mercenaries had been searching for the village for about half a month. One of them was growing frustrated, believing that the news they had heard might be fake, as they couldn't find any trace of the village. As they argued, a glowing light suddenly appeared in front of them. It was a figure wielding a large sword, with eyes that shone brightly. The figure warned them that they were not allowed to pass through that area, and should leave the forest immediately. Seeing this person, one of the mercenaries assumed they were just a weak human, and didn't take the warning seriously. The figure standing before the mercenaries was none other than Leng Mo, and he reiterated his warning, stating that if they didn't comply, they would face severe consequences. However, the mercenaries took it lightly and started laughing. In the blink of an eye, Leng Mo swiftly defeated them, and the mercenaries quickly realized their mistake in underestimating him. Over the past half-month, Leng Mo had been intercepting all the mercenaries in the forest who were searching for the dwarves. He had stopped around 100 of them by now, but the number of mercenaries seeking the dwarven village only seemed to increase. Currently, these mercenaries had randomly appeared in the vicinity of the dwarven village. Leng Mo was deeply concerned about the possibility of a tragedy befalling the dwarven village once again. He had visited the village chief half a month ago, and the village had gone through significant changes since he left 3 years earlier. Back then, before his departure, Leng Mo had led all the dwarves to a cave where they had constructed numerous structures. Leng Mo and the chief had engaged in a long conversation that lasted throughout the night. Leng Mo shared his experiences over the past 3 years, and explained why he had returned and what he intended to do now. Leng Mo urged the chief to remain hidden inside the cave for safety, and the chief agreed to this plan. These days, Leng Mo had been using his persuasive skills to convince the mercenaries to leave the forest. He successfully managed to drive away those mercenaries who were willing to listen and follow his guidance. However, there were some individuals who refused to heed his warnings, leaving Leng Mo with no choice but to deal with them harshly. At night, Leng Mo often found himself lying beneath the beautiful sky next to a campfire, contemplating whether he could enjoy this tranquil environment forever, gazing at the majestic night sky. During one of these peaceful moments, he suddenly heard the solitary and disordered footsteps. As he turned his gaze towards the source of the sound, he saw a thin white figure that didn't resemble a typical mercenary. The guy, upon seeing Leng Mo, immediately went for a hug, filled with excitement and relief that he had found someone. However, Leng Mo kicked him away, questioning why the guy was clinging to him like that. They both settled by the campfire, and the guy began to explain his situation. He had been separated from his group and was terrified of falling victim to some monstrous creature. When he saw Leng Mo's campfire, he found a glimmer of hope for survival. Leng Mo was curious and asked why the guy had been following the mercenaries to such a perilous place, especially since he appeared to be as physically weak as a girl. Upon hearing the boy's emotional response, he revealed that people had always considered him useless, and that he'd been told he looked like a girl since childhood. He also expressed his desire to become a more capable man, especially to assist his father, but he felt he was too weak and lacked any notable skills. To become stronger, he had hired a mercenary team to venture into the forest and start his own journey of self-improvement, but he ended up getting separated from them. Leng Mo, upon hearing the boy's story, bluntly labeled him as an imprudent troublemaker. Leng Mo allowed Sidila to sleep near the campfire that night and inquired about his name, to which he replied, Sidila. Suddenly they heard a noise emanating from the woods, which startled Sidila. In fear, he tried to hug Leng Mo once more, but Leng Mo used his leg to keep him at bay, reassuring him that he would handle the situation. As the sound grew closer, a large, angry werewolf monster emerged. Seeing this, Sidila was overwhelmed with fear, sweating profusely. The werewolf loomed over them with a menacing look. However, it turned out to be Leng Mo's silver wolf pet, which began to affectionately lick Leng Mo. While Leng Mo and the silver wolf shared a heartwarming bond, Sidila remained unconscious due to the intense scare he experienced when he thought the monster was about to attack them. The following day, a new group of mercenaries had entered the forest, and they were starting to feel exhausted after several days of traveling. They were becoming bored as they continued their search. However, their captain urged them to stay alert and maintain their spirits high, emphasizing the importance of being aware of their surroundings, especially since they were now in the territory rumored to be inhabited by demons. The captain also informed the group that he had heard that the fourth prince of the Piaxoyan Empire was personally leading his army to this location. Upon hearing this news, the other members of the group began to grow somewhat anxious. The captain went on to explain that the fourth prince had his sights set on another target known as the Phoenix, and legends told of a protective phoenix residing in the dwarven village. Hearing this, the other mercenaries couldn't help but be tempted by the idea of capturing the phoenix, as its feather was believed to bring great wealth. However, they also acknowledged that the phoenix was known to be incredibly powerful. One member suggested that they follow behind the fourth prince and collect whatever drops or remnants were left behind. But as he was in the midst of making this suggestion, an arrow struck him in the head. As the group got into a defensive formation, another arrow was swiftly launched, followed by a downpour of arrows. All the members were struck by the arrows. However, the lady used her magic to create an immensely powerful blast wave, instantly ending the captain's life. Witnessing the archer's laughter and boasting about his intentions to celebrate with a feast, including frilled roasted pork, Lang Mo lost his appetite. As the archer continued to speak, a small fireball suddenly struck his head, causing it to catch fire. The archer, now in anger, looked around to identify the source of the attack, and found it to be Lang Mo. Lang Mo confessed that he hadn't managed to turn the archer into roasted pork, but it appeared that his fireball had not been strong enough for that. With a menacing and determined look on his face, Lang Mo declared that he would punish the archer, leaving the archer deeply shocked by his audacity. Lang Mo advanced towards them, drawing his sword while walking. With a powerful swing, he unleashed a wave of scorching fire, and in an instant, all of the archer's teammates were reduced to ashes. Overwhelmed and terrified by what he had just witnessed, the archer anxiously inquired whether Lang Mo was a warrior or a mage, unsure of the nature of his abilities. The archer, overcome with fear and desperation, begged and wept, pleading with Lang Mo to spare his life, emphasizing that he still needed to take care of his dear mother. Lang Mo, gripping his sword tightly, responded by stating that if he had come across the dwarven village and they had begged for their lives in the same way, he wouldn't have shown them mercy. With that, Lang Mo launched an attack on the archer. As Lang Mo gazed at the lifeless body of the mercenaries' group captain, he remarked that it would have been wiser for the captain to have stayed home and played poker instead. Just as he was saying this, 2 arrows were fired in his direction, but Lang Mo skillfully deflected them using his sword. As more arrows came raining down, Lang Mo quickly dodged them, seeking cover behind a tree. He realized that he couldn't afford to be reckless, especially since his enemies were still unaware of his presence. The brother of the deceased mercenary arrived on the scene and was overcome with grief and shock upon seeing his brother's charred body. They believed that Lang Mo was responsible for the killing. In their rage, they unleashed a fireball attack towards Lang Mo, but he managed to evade it by swiftly leaping behind another tree. The group was furious, consisting of both a mage and an archer. Lang Mo quickly assessed the situation and realized that the 2 warriors were at an advanced level of skill, and the mage was quite proficient as well. If he attacked head-on, the archer would have a clear shot at him, so he decided to maneuver around them instead. Lang Mo leaped again, aiming to eliminate the archer first. With the archer out of the way, the rest of the group wouldn't be able to chase him effectively. As he ran, Lang Mo calculated the archer's position based on the direction and angle of the arrow, and he swiftly jumped towards the archer, taking him down. Now that the archer was neutralized, Lang Mo turned his attention to the other group members, who hesitated briefly before making a run for it. This left the mage behind, unable to catch up with the rest. With the mage left behind, Lang Mo managed to apprehend and subdue him. Now only 2 of them remained, and Lang Mo chose to reveal himself to them. They were seething with anger over the deaths of their friends and were consumed by thoughts of revenge, while Lang Mo patiently awaited the right moment. In their desperation for revenge, their leader and the remaining warrior launched an attack against Lang Mo, but he skillfully evaded their strikes. Seizing the opportune moment, Lang Mo swiftly maneuvered himself to align with both of them, launching a powerful counterattack that incapacitated them both, courtesy of his mighty immortal Slayer sword. With a single swing of Lang Mo's sword, the 2 defeated foes vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. Afterward, Lang Mo spoke quietly to himself, reflecting on his own experience of losing someone dear to him, a pain he never wanted to endure again. On the other side, Sedilla found himself surrounded by the adorable pups of the Silver Wolf. However, he was terrified of them, and his anxiety caused him to break out in a heavy sweat. Sedilla was truly terrified of the cute wolf cubs, and desperately wished for Lang Mo to return, providing him with an escape from their presence. He couldn't help but think that the hungry cubs might consider him as a potential meal. As Sedilla pondered his situation, a water buffalo fell in front of him, and Lang Mo arrived, apologizing for his tardiness. Sedilla was bewildered by the sight of the massive buffalo. Lang Mo then turned his attention to the silver wolf cubs and offered the water buffalo as a meal for them. Lang Mo then turned to Sedilla and asked if he would like to stay and share the meal with them. Excited by the offer, Sedilla eagerly agreed. As they all savored the delicious water buffalo meat, Sedilla couldn't contain his happiness and expressed his delight at enjoying Lang Mo's cooking. Sedilla was curious and asked Lang Mo how he was able to prepare such a fantastic meal. Lang Mo, with a smile, replied that he wasn't going to reveal his secret. In truth, Lang Mo had learned the art of barbecuing during his summer vacations while working at a BBQ retail store back on Earth. Upon arriving in this new world, Lang Mo quickly noticed that the local cuisine rarely featured seasonings. Instead, the people here often consumed plain dishes, such as papaya porridge or simple boiled meat, merely to satisfy their hunger. Drawing upon his memory and the recollection of some familiar spices, Lang Mo was able to create exceptional BBQ dishes that added a burst of flavor and excitement to his meals in this world. Observing Sedilla enjoying his meal, Lang Mo advised him that after eating, he should depart while it was still daylight. He recommended that Sedilla head directly northeast in order to reach the Fragrant Empire. Upon hearing this, Sedilla began to plead earnestly. He expressed his fears of the forest, citing the presence of dangerous monsters that could easily consume him if he ventured out alone. Sedilla begged like a child, and promised that if Lang Mo helped him escape the forest, he would not be a bother to him again. Lang Mo initially showed no interest in Sedilla's pleas, but when Sedilla offered him 10,000 purple crystal coins, Lang Mo paused to reconsider. The promise of 10,000 purple crystal coins was a substantial amount of money. In the Sunset Empire, Mantu cost only 1 bronze coin, and when Lang Mo and his 5 brothers had departed, the general had given them each only 1 purple crystal coin. Therefore, 10,000 purple crystal coins represented a significant sum, enough to cover Lang Mo's tuition fees at Zhongkai Academy and provide for his living expenses without any worries. Lang Mo turned to Sedilla and sought confirmation that he could indeed provide 10,000 purple crystal coins if Lang Mo assisted him. Sedilla affirmed his ability to offer such a sum, mentioning that 10,000 crystal coins were of little consequence to them. Lang Mo agreed to the deal, promising to help Sedilla leave the forest once he had completed all the tasks he needed to attend to. Sedilla consented to the arrangement, and Lang Mo left him in the company of the silver wolf cubs. Somewhere deep in the forest, 2 mercenaries were on a quest to find the dwarfs, one of them being a mage. Unbeknownst to them, Lang Mo was perched in a tree above, discreetly eavesdropping on their conversation. Lang Mo overheard the mercenaries discussing the discovery of the dwarf's hiding place, which filled him with shock and concern. The mage informed his companion that during their last operation, the 4th prince had managed to locate the phoenix's nest. This revelation shook Lang Mo to the core, and his hand began to tremble. While filled with a sense of relief, Lang Mo also realized that it was now his chance for revenge. Lang Mo wasted no time and made his way to the dwarf cave, where he shared this alarming news with the chief. The chief expressed his worry and inquired about the number of people heading for the phoenix. Lang Mo admitted that he wasn't certain, but anticipated a substantial force would be involved in the pursuit. The chief informed Lang Mo that the phoenix was indeed a legendary creature and considered immortal. He explained that the phoenix underwent reincarnation approximately every 10,000 years, and with each cycle, it grew even more powerful. However, just before the moment of reincarnation, the phoenix's strength would significantly diminish. The chief emphasized that the phoenix was currently in the declining stage, and if it didn't survive this phase, it would fall into an eternal slumber due to its depleted strength. This revelation left Lang Mo deeply concerned, and he inquired whether the phoenix's vulnerability might attract the attention of a significant number of individuals. Lang Mo insisted that the chief and the other dwarfs should remain safely within the cave, and he would venture out alone to protect the fire phoenix. He declared his unwavering commitment to the dwarves and their well-being, vowing to defend the fire phoenix even if it meant risking his own life. Lang Mo's plan was to infiltrate the attackers' group and disrupt their formation from within. The chief agreed and led the way towards the phoenix's location. However, Lang Mo was quick to caution the chief that he needed to return to the cave as he could easily be spotted by the mercenaries. With a secret escape tunnel at his disposal, Lang Mo guided the chief out of the cave to ensure his safety. Outside the cave, Lang Mo and the chief could hear voices growing closer, signaling the arrival of mercenaries. However, these mercenaries were already bickering among themselves over a prize they hadn't even obtained yet. Lang Mo observed that additional forces and armies were approaching the mountain, converging on the cave. A chaotic battle erupted as they clashed with magic blasts, swords, and arrows. The mercenaries began killing each other and charging into the fray. In the midst of this turmoil, a massive fire blast erupted, decimating nearly half of the combatants. As a result of the blast's impact, a massive boulder was set in motion, rolling down the hill with significant force. Those mercenaries below desperately attempted to escape, but many were struck by debris and the boulder itself. The rock was moving swiftly, indiscriminately taking the lives of anyone in its path. Among the chaos, the victims couldn't determine who was responsible for this devastation. Suddenly, they witnessed an individual leaping off the boulder, revealing that the one who had initiated this was Lang Mo. Baffled and inquisitive, they approached Lang Mo, asking about his affiliation with a mercenary group, and questioning why he had orchestrated the attack that had resulted in so much destruction. With a resolute look in his eyes, Lang Mo replied that his sole purpose there was to eliminate them all. His words ignited anger among the remaining mercenaries, and they charged at Lang Mo in fury. Yelling that they were all mere weaklings, Lang Mo swung his immortal slayer sword, unleashing a powerful wave of fire. The fiery wave struck the oncoming mercenaries, instantly ending their lives. The surviving mercenaries who witnessed Lang Mo's overwhelming power were left in shock and fear. Lang Mo fixed them with a serious and authoritative gaze, warning that this would be their fate if they dared to obstruct his path. One of the mercenaries shouted out that Lang Mo was alone, suggesting they should band together to make an easy kill. This remark fueled Lang Mo's anger, and he firmly believed that anyone who stood in his way was his enemy, regardless of their numbers. In response, they all charged at Lang Mo with the intent to take him down. Lang Mo's expression shifted to that of a furious, killer-like demeanor. He swung his sword with tremendous force, generating a massive shockwave that struck down and killed the first of those who dared to approach him. He continued to swing his sword, striking down each subsequent attacker without hesitation. As Lang Mo continued to kill his attackers, his intent and hatred grew with each life he took. In the distance, other mercenaries observed the massive explosions occurring nearby. They surmised that a fierce battle was taking place, and that there was a formidable adversary in the vicinity. Amused by this, they laughed and concluded that they should allow these combatants to fight it out, ensuring that no one would be left to oppose them in their quest for treasure. However, while discussing their plan, a powerful presence suddenly streaked past them in an instant, leaving them in shock. The group of mercenaries, now sensing a powerful aura, found themselves in the presence of Lang Mo. His overwhelming strength and the immortal Slayer's sword he wielded radiated immense power. As they looked at Lang Mo, they were filled with both astonishment and fear. In hushed tones, they agreed among themselves that they needed to prevent Lang Mo from passing them. They also recognized that Lang Mo's aura was exceptionally lethal, and it was clear that he was fully determined to engage them in battle. Elsewhere, within the Phoenix's den, the fourth prince and his army were assembled. Their objective was to capture the Phoenix, the guardian of the dwarves. In the absence of any dwarves themselves, the fourth prince directed his warriors and mages from the hilltop, overseeing their efforts to subdue the Phoenix. The mages were locked in a fierce struggle with the Phoenix, using their magic to bind and restrain it. Eventually, they succeeded in immobilizing the Phoenix, rendering it unable to counterattack. With the Phoenix now defenseless, the mages urged the fourth prince to launch his assault. Driven by madness and an intense desire to capture the Phoenix, the fourth prince grasped his sword, and with a look of sheer determination, leaped onto the weakened guardian and stabbed it with his blade. The fourth prince's stab produced a powerful burst of energy that reverberated through the Phoenix's den. The mages, seeing the Phoenix injured and weakened, felt a sense of relief. The fourth prince, while amazed that the Phoenix was still alive after such a massive blow, was also pleased to have obtained its blood. The mages intensified their chain-based powers, and the other attackers increased their attacks to further subdue the Phoenix. Observing the struggle, the fourth prince was filled with excitement and wore an evil grin on his face. The Phoenix fought desperately to break free from its restraints. However, a sudden and unexpected occurrence disrupted the mage's control. One of the mage's chains broke, leaving the other mages and attackers puzzled and concerned. As they looked at the spot where the mage who had been channeling the chain once stood, they found it empty, devoid of any presence. The sudden break in one of the chains applied extra pressure to the remaining chains, causing chaos among the mages. In the midst of this confusion, someone swiftly stabbed another mage. To the surprise of the onlookers, it was Lang Mo, who had infiltrated their ranks and was systematically eliminating the mages controlling the chains. Seeing Lang Mo in action, the soldiers and mages became anxious and terrified, giving orders to eliminate him. However, Lang Mo displayed remarkable agility and speed. His top priority was to neutralize the four mages controlling the chains, as they posed the greatest threat. Lang Mo spotted another mage and rushed toward them, but a soldier swung his sword, striking Lang Mo's leg. Lang Mo realized the importance of avoiding further injury, knowing that a single blow could severely impact his ability to continue fighting. Lang Mo realized that facing the sword-wielding soldier head-on wouldn't be a viable option. The soldier, with a taunting look, questioned Lang Mo if he was done playing tricks. With a swift and powerful swing of his sword, the soldier attacked. However, Lang Mo seized the opportunity, and with remarkable agility, evaded the sword attack, simultaneously taking down a mage behind him. Observing Lang Mo systematically eliminating their comrades, the other mages and soldiers were left in fear, knowing there was little they could do. Only one mage remained, and the soldiers were determined to protect them. Despite his injured leg, Lang Mo sprinted towards the last mage with determination. One of the soldiers noticed Lang Mo's approach and leaped towards him. Lang Mo was resolute in his mission to take down the last mage, even if it meant risking his own life. Lang Mo ran toward the mage, with two soldiers standing in front to block his attack. Behind him, another soldier attacked from the back with a sword, hitting Lang Mo, but he managed to kill the last remaining mage, setting the mighty Phoenix free from its shackles. When the Phoenix was freed, it became super angry, and the Fort King army quickly retreated. The Phoenix's eyes showed strong revenge and anger. It seemed like all its chains were broken, and there was nothing holding it back anymore. Lang Mo couldn't even find the strength to take a breath. He believed that death was imminent. It was hard for him to accept that a genius like himself would meet his end in such a place. With his eyes closed, Lang Mo knew that the fate of the dwarf race now rested on the Phoenix's shoulders. They still needed its protection. As the Phoenix broke free, a soldier urgently shouted for everyone to protect the fourth prince. They couldn't allow the Phoenix to harm their highness. Soldiers formed a protective barrier around the fourth prince and began to slowly retreat. Meanwhile, the phoenix burned with fury and blazed in anger. The phoenix's rage was so intense that it caused the earth to tremble, and the mercenaries above felt a strong earthquake. Suddenly, the ground burst open like a volcano. It was the phoenix's nest, and it seemed like a volcanic eruption due to its fury and power. Other mercenaries and soldiers, seeing this, grew worried and started running. They didn't realize it was the phoenix. They thought it was just a volcanic eruption. However, one of them noticed the phoenix emerging from the fiery chaos, clutching Leng Mo's lifeless body in its powerful claw. Leng Mo was severely injured, bleeding from various wounds, and the phoenix itself was also hurt. Other mercenaries, seeing the injured phoenix, began chasing it, hoping to claim a piece of its power for themselves. Back in the phoenix's nest, the fourth prince was furious that Leng Mo had rescued the phoenix and snatched it from their grasp. He believed the phoenix had suffered a serious blow from him, so he didn't think it could escape too far. The fourth prince ordered his army to pursue the phoenix. Now, with a whole army on their trail, the mercenaries were determined to catch the injured phoenix. They reached the location where the phoenix had landed and planned to attack it. However, as they approached the phoenix, they noticed a powerful beam of light shooting into the sky. One of the mercenaries was aware that the phoenix was entering its rebirth stage, which meant it wouldn't be able to attack them at this moment. On the other side, the fourth prince was furious and determined to reach the phoenix as quickly as possible. He ordered his men to chase after the phoenix and eliminate any mercenaries who got in their way. However, one of the fourth prince's men reported that they couldn't proceed any further. The fourth prince asked why, and the soldier replied that there was a tree in front of them, which indicated the presence of another beast in the area. Hearing the soldier's report, the fourth prince erupted in anger, blaming Leng Mo for ruining his entire plan. Meanwhile, the phoenix was in the midst of its rebirth process, with Leng Mo lying beside it, unconscious. The phoenix, despite its dire situation, managed to express gratitude to the unconscious Leng Mo. It told him that he was now blessed with phoenix blood, assuring him that his wounds would heal rapidly. However, the situation looked grim, as everyone was closing in on the phoenix, and it seemed like escape was no longer an option. As more and more mercenaries closed in on the phoenix egg, the phoenix realized that they were their target. It vowed to do its best to divert their attention, allowing Leng Mo to continue living on. However, a new voice suddenly joined the scene, expressing disbelief that a divine beast, like the phoenix, would speak in such a pessimistic manner. It was the silver wolf, with its eyes brimming with a fierce determination. The silver wolf assured the phoenix that it would take care of the attackers, and urged the phoenix to focus on protecting Leng Mo. The mercenaries charged at the phoenix egg with full force, believing it was the perfect time to snatch it, while the phoenix was in a weakened state. One group of mercenaries managed to reach the egg faster than the others, but something suddenly blocked their path. It was the divine beast, the silver wolf. The mercenaries were startled and frightened to encounter a powerful creature like the silver wolf in this part of the forest. They were left puzzled as to why a divine beast would appear here. The silver wolf's resounding howl sent shivers down their spines, making them sweat profusely. The loud howl also reached the ears of the mercenaries behind, instilling fear in them as well. One of the mercenaries was shocked when he heard the howl. His fellow mercenaries asked him what was wrong, and his eyes widened with fear. He explained that he had heard this howl before, and it came from the Wolf King. The silver wolf was now sprinting through the forest toward them. The terrified mercenaries learned that the most terrifying thing about the silver wolf wasn't just its power, but also its howl. Hearing this, all the other mercenaries grew even more afraid. Suddenly, they felt a heavy presence, and the silver wolf appeared, leaping onto them. With the howl of the Silver Wolf King, other wolves in the area joined the attack, and they swiftly eliminated all the mercenaries. Leng Mo woke up, finding himself resting on the back of the silver wolf. As Leng Mo opened his eyes, he gasped in disbelief. He was struggling to remember the last thing he knew. He recalled being near the entrance of a volcano. He looked around and saw the silver wolf licking him, which made him believe that the wolf had saved him. Leng Mo asked about the phoenix, but the silver wolf could only bark in response. Leng Mo then noticed his leg, fully recovered, even though it had been chopped off when he fell unconscious. He was deeply puzzled by these extraordinary events. Suddenly, a small bird appeared in front of Leng Mo and explained that it had fed him its blood, which was the reason for his miraculous recovery. Leng Mo, curious about this little bird, asked who it was. Leng Mo grabbed the small bird and soon realized that it was indeed the phoenix. He asked the tiny phoenix why it had become so small. The bird explained that the mercenaries had disrupted its rebirth stage, and it had used all its stored energy to fight them off. As a result, the phoenix was in this diminutive form due to the ongoing rebirth process. It told Leng Mo that it would remain in this state for a while until it could accumulate enough energy to advance to the next stage. The phoenix expressed deep gratitude to Leng Mo for saving and rescuing it. In response, Leng Mo confessed that he still felt too weak and believed that if he had been stronger, none of this would have happened. The Phoenix reassured Leng Mo that he had done exceptionally well and had risked his life to save the Phoenix. It explained that it had transferred its remaining energy into Leng Mo's body, transforming his body into a fire elemental body. Leng Mo was initially puzzled by the term fire elemental, but the Phoenix clarified that, due to the energy transfer through his blood, his body's fire energy had increased. The Phoenix suggested that he should release some of his chi and experience the difference. Leng Mo released his chi, and suddenly he was enveloped in flames, experiencing a significant surge in power. Leng Mo realized that the feeling was somewhat akin to becoming a Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball, and he couldn't contain his excitement. He could feel his power increasing dramatically. However, the Phoenix grew a bit concerned, cautioning Leng Mo to calm down, or he might end up setting the entire forest on fire. Leng Mo did his best to calm his newfound power, but he couldn't help but wonder why he could suddenly understand what the Phoenix was saying. In response, the Phoenix explained that Leng Mo had now formed a contract with it, which allowed him to comprehend its speech. When this realization dawned on Leng Mo, he couldn't help but shout in shock. Leng Mo couldn't quite believe why the Phoenix had accepted to be his contract pet, especially when he already had the Silver Wolf as his contract pet. The Phoenix explained that it didn't have much of a choice at the time. It needed to save Leng Mo and ensure a successful transition to its own rebirth stage. The Phoenix clarified that if it had saved Leng Mo back then, it wouldn't have had enough energy left for the rebirth process. It went on to mention that, because Leng Mo's energy was of the fire type, it could make use of his energy to aid in its transition to the rebirth stage after becoming Leng Mo's contract pet. The Phoenix also emphasized that Leng Mo had ingested its energy-infused blood, making him the perfect candidate to form this contract. Therefore, that was why it chose to do so. From that moment on, Leng Mo and the Phoenix's lives were intricately connected, with the Phoenix becoming Leng Mo's contract pet. Even the intelligent Leng Mo needed some time to process the overwhelming information he had received. It was hard for him to fathom that the guardian of the dwarven race was now his pet. On the other hand, the Phoenix was contemplating a different matter. It realized that it could finally take a break from its duty as the guardian, after tens of thousands of years. The Phoenix wished Leng Mo good luck in his future endeavors. Meanwhile, Leng Mo was filled with excitement at the prospect of having the Phoenix as his very own pet.
As Leng Mo returned to the dwarven village with the Phoenix by his side, the villagers were overcome with awe and reverence. Seeing the powerful Phoenix accompanying Leng Mo, they immediately recognized him as their new guardian and lowered before him in respect. Leng Mo, feeling a bit embarrassed by the sudden display of deference, tried to reassure them that he was still the same person, but the villagers hailed him as a hero and celebrated his presence with joyous festivities. The great hall of the dwarven village was filled with cheering, laughter, and merrymaking as everyone celebrated the arrival of their new guardian. Leng Mo was adorned in magnificent new clothes, and even the grandpa chief, who treated him like a grandson, expressed his pride in Leng Mo's newfound responsibilities. Despite the honor bestowed upon him, Leng Mo remained humble and announced his decision to register himself for the Arbitrator Academy. As he prepared to leave the village, bidding farewell to everyone, he encountered the Silver Wolf and her pups. Sidala, who had grown fond of the wolf and her pups, hesitated to leave, but the affectionate gestures of the pups convinced him otherwise. Before departing, Leng Mo expressed his love and gratitude to the Silver Wolf, promising to visit often. To his surprise, the Silver Wolf bit his arm, leaving behind a blue symbol that indicated she had also become his contract pet. Touched by the wolf's gesture of loyalty, Leng Mo realized that he now had a companion for his journey beyond the forest. With his newfound companions by his side, Leng Mo embarked on his next adventure with determination and resolve. As Leng Mo and Sidala rode on the back of the Silver Wolf, they embarked on their journey to explore the world beyond the forest. Despite Leng Mo's initial reluctance to bring such powerful companions into the city, the Silver Wolf insisted on joining them to experience life beyond the confines of the forest. With the wolf's incredible speed, they swiftly exited the forest and reached the borders of the fragrant Wind Empire within a few days. To avoid drawing unnecessary attention, Leng Mo invited the wolf and Phoenix into his space realm for safekeeping as they entered the city. However, their attempt to remain inconspicuous was thwarted when Sidala spotted a wanted banner featuring Leng Mo's likeness. Panic ensued as people recognized Leng Mo as the feared evil lord, and city guards moved to arrest him. Quick to react, Leng Mo grabbed Sidala and fled through the streets, eventually finding refuge in a clothing store where they changed their appearances to avoid detection. With their identities concealed, they continued their journey, eventually reaching Sidala's hometown. After safely delivering Sidala home, Leng Mo received the promised reward of 10,000 purple crystals as gratitude. Leaving the city behind, Leng Mo chose longer routes to avoid major cities on his way to the Arbitrator Academy. Along the way, he heard tales of the legendary 10-year war between the city of Skyway and the fragrant Wind Empire, where only 100 arbitrators successfully defended the city against the Empire's forces. Impressed by the stories and the grandeur of the city of Skyway's architecture, Leng Mo eagerly continued his journey, hoping that he hadn't missed the registration deadline for the academy. As Lengmo arrived at the Skyway City and beheld its towering buildings that seemed to touch the heavens, he felt a sense of awe at the magnificence of the architecture. The city was bustling with activity as students from all over were registering themselves for the prestigious academy. At the registration desk, Lengmo encountered a bored clerk who lamented the declining standards of the students, mostly from wealthy families. However, when the clerk noticed Lengmo's academic performance grade of S in the recommendation letter from Langer Dorst, a master-level mage, his attitude shifted. Recognizing Lengmo's potential, the clerk waived his registration fee and warmly welcomed him into the academy. As Lengmo was leaving, he encountered another student, a blue-haired girl named Bing Yu, who also had an S rank but lacked a recommendation letter. Despite paying her fee and receiving her slip, she faced aggression from another person in line. Lengmo intervened, diffusing the situation with his swift actions, and saved the person from her. The clerk marveled at his speed. After exchanging introductions, Bing Yu expressed herself to Lengmo and bid him farewell as she went on her way. Left to explore the city, Lengmo considered his options with the 10,000 pieces of amethyst from Citala. Despite the exorbitant prices in Skyway City, he managed to purchase a 2-bedroom apartment on the outskirts with half of his funds, deciding it would be his new home in the city. With his registration complete and a place to call home, Lengmo prepared himself for the challenges and adventures that awaited him at the academy and in the bustling metropolis of Skyway City. On the day of the test, a large crowd gathered outside the academy, buzzing with excitement and nervous energy. Students discussed their strategies and abilities as they awaited their turn. The administration team directed them to form orderly lines according to their assigned queue numbers on their ID slips. Inside the halls, the first test began with elemental type analysis. Students placed their hands on crystal balls to assess their strength and elemental affinity. Lengmo scored a perfect 100 with his fire elemental, impressing the instructors. Bing Yu followed suit, achieving full marks with her ice elemental. In the second test, students entered dark rooms where they had to endure for 5 minutes. Points were deducted based on injuries incurred, with disqualification for those who gave up or scored 0. Many struggled with the task, sustaining injuries or becoming speechless upon exiting. Lengmo encountered wind rabbits in his room and sought the assistance of the Silver Wolf, who swiftly dispatched the creatures. Confusion arose among the staff when Lengmo emerged with the rabbits, while Bing Yu passed by, freezing them. During lunch, Bing Yu found herself hungry but forgot to bring her meal. Lengmo offered her barbecue streak from the rabbits he had caught, and despite initial reluctance, Bing Yu accepted gratefully, leading to a friendly conversation between the two. They revealed their aspirations to attend warrior school after the tests. As they prepared for the third selection test, Lengmo and Bing Yu made a wager. If Bing Yu won, Lengmo would grill meat for her for a week, and vice versa. With both excelling in the subsequent tests, they found themselves in a tight competition for the top rank. Lengmo and Bing Yu's photos were presented to the higher authorities regarding the wind rabbits and bell bulls they had encountered. After discussing potential punishments, the authorities decided to dismiss the case, but deducted the losses from their school fees. On the scoreboard, Lengmo and Bing Yu were tied for first place with 400 points each. They agreed to continue their friendly competition the next day. As Lengmo returned home, he was surprised to find Bing Yu following him, admitting that she was also hungry. Lengmo roasted a bull for Bing Yu, who praised his cooking skills and admitted that it was the best meal she had ever tasted. Bing Yu found Lengmo's culinary talent surprising, considering his usually cool demeanor. Lengmo fantasized about training Bing Yu while they enjoyed their meal. After eating, Lengmo playfully asked Bing Yu for a paw shake to solidify their friendship. Initially hesitant, Bing Yu eventually agreed, but warned Lengmo not to divulge their pact under threat of death. They shared a smile and a blush, enjoying each other's company. The next day, the administrators announced a new test. Obtain at least 5 test IDs by the end of the allotted time to pass. Lengmo proposed a competition to see who could collect the most IDs. As the test began, they swiftly gathered IDs from other students, easily dispatching them in wrestling matches or fights. After clearing the first 2 batches, they waited for the third. However, instead of students, a member of the higher authorities emerged from the portal, eager to join in their fun. Both fists were struck by the old man. He offered to play with them, noting that they seemed to be having a lot of fun. He then blasted them away. As Lengmo and Bing Yu stood up, they initially thought he might be another student, but Bing Yu realized he was definitely not. They both recognized him as the Arbitrator Academy principal, the Flaming Sword Saint Warrior. The principal inquired about their intentions with all the cards, reminding them that they only needed 5 for passing. Lengmo retorted that the staff hadn't forbidden them from collecting more than 5, which angered the principal. He began to tally up the losses they had caused, totaling 105,000 pieces. However, the principal's wife, the great magician, intervened to calm him down, explaining that he was only joking. She then revealed that they had been observing Lengmo and Bingyu since their first selection test and offered to take them on as disciples. Both immediately accepted the offer. The principal and his wife were pleased and greeted them warmly. The magician's wife took Bingyu as her disciple due to their shared ice element, while Lengmo became a disciple of the principal because of their shared fire elements. They were informed that school would start the next month, and they would attend extracurricular classes in their free time with the principal and his wife. The principal and his wife were glad and relieved to have one less thing to worry about. They left the stack of cards behind, hoping whoever found them first would benefit. That night, Lengmo grilled meat again, and Bingyu was delighted to eat it once more. They talked and enjoyed each other's company. They made a deal. Lengmo would grill the meat, and Bingyu would let him watch her eat it. They laughed and playfully questioned each other about what was more important, grilled meat or friendship, and thus, their school life began. Lengmo and Bingyu now resided in the Skyway City, with plenty of time to attend school. They sat at home eating meat, and Bingyu expressed concern about her weight. Lengmo joked that he had been feeding her meat all the time, and Bingyu admitted she couldn't resist the delicious food, remarking on the mentality of every overweight person. Lengmo then informed her that they had finished their supply of bell bulls and wouldn't have another chance to eat meat in the future. Bingyu mentioned she had enough savings, and it would only cost them 2 pieces. But Lengmo suggested they might need to start earning money, anticipating potential financial issues with their principal. Lengmo asked Bingyu about her skills besides eating, and she reluctantly admitted to being skilled in assassination, prompting Lengmo to pretend he hadn't asked. He then evaluated his own skills, and decided he could earn money through forging and making weapons. He likened a well-made weapon to driving a sports car on Earth. Bingyu showed him her poorly forged sword, which was both expensive and flawed, leading Lengmo to mock it with his expressions, much to her annoyance. Lengmo bought metal pieces from the market and began forging a new weapon. After some time, he created a sharp and durable sword, though not perfect, and enhanced its appearance with designs. Bingyu was amazed by Lengmo's skills. Once the sword was complete, they went to the city's auction center to sell it. Bingyu hesitated to part with the sword, but Lengmo assured her they could sell it and forge an even better one. The auctioneer was astonished by the sword's quality, claiming he had never seen such a precious weapon before. Lengmo pretended it was a family heirloom and negotiated a better price, agreeing to the auctioneer's 1% commission and receiving 5,000 pieces in advance. Lengmo and Bingyu were thrilled with their earnings and celebrated by buying meat for the night, dreaming of becoming immensely rich with their newfound business venture. Lengmo and Bingyu were at the auction center, stunned to see 20 million pieces of amethyst being offered to them. The auctioneer explained that he had only expected the sword to sell for 1 million, but during the auction, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Initially, everything went according to plan, with marketing targeting rich and famous individuals. However, when the bidding reached 1 million, a man appeared, one of the Sword Saint's disciples known for his bad temper. He wanted to test the power of Lengmo's sword, offering to compare it to his own sword, worth 200k given by his master. He proposed that if his sword broke, he wouldn't hold them responsible, but if Lengmo's sword broke, he would sue them for selling counterfeits. The auction authority reluctantly allowed the test, and when the man struck Lengmo's sword, his own sword shattered, confirming Lengmo's sword as a top-tier weapon. Afterward, bidding for the sword skyrocketed, with the head of the Skyway City Business Association purchasing it for 20 million. The auction house gained fame from the ordeal, and the auctioneer waived his commission fee, also returning their 5,000-piece deposit. Lengmo and Bingyu were astonished by the unexpected success and used the money to buy a bungalow in the heart of Skyway City, furnishing it luxuriously. They enjoyed their newfound wealth by indulging in various activities like eating steaks, swimming in the pool, horseback riding, and living a life of luxury. As they sat together, Lengmo reminisced about his past and expressed missing his parents. Bingyu comforted him, assuring him that they were like brothers now and that he could confide in her. However, Lengmo brushed off his thoughts, and they continued talking into the night. The following day, they arrived at the Arbitrator Academy, deciding to become students there. Their intimidating presence led other students to label them as devils, which they welcomed, hoping to deter future troublemakers. They agreed to maintain a low profile to avoid drawing the ire of their teachers. Meanwhile, Yinchui Seating, the leader of a corrupt group in the academy, took an interest in them and decided to meet them, intending to teach them some manners. Lengmo asked Yinchui Seating who he was, prompting one of his gang members to rudely inform Lengmo that he was speaking to their boss. Bing Yu drew her sword and threatened the gang member, but Yin Chui Siting calmed the situation, despite Bing Yu's ice elemental power. Yin Chui Siting intended to bully them and attack them with his powerful lightning chi, but they managed to defend themselves. However, their conflict was interrupted by the arrival of the principal, surprising Yin Chui Siting. The principal reprimanded Yin Chui Siting and warned him to refrain from causing trouble. Leng Mo and Bing Yu explained their side of the story, but the principal reminded them of their previous involvement in trouble during the selection test. He emphasized the importance of humility and hard work, advising them to keep a low profile until they were strong enough to face their enemies. Leng Mo and Bing Yu understood and observed the principal leaving to meet the head of the business association. Later, they checked the class lists and noticed that students were scared of them, calling them devils. Leng Mo attempted to appear friendly, but his smile was perceived as menacing. They discovered that Bing Yu was assigned to Class A in the Warrior School, while Leng Mo's name was on the Magic School list. Confused, Leng Mo approached the clerk, who showed him Lancelot's letter, indicating that Leng Mo wished to learn magic. Feeling betrayed, Leng Mo realized he had been deceived by the great magician. The principal intervened and explained that he had decided to place Leng Mo in the Magic School to train in both warrior and magician skills, as his wife was a magician, and Bing Yu was in Warrior School. He showed them a gift from the head of the business association, a sword that Leng Mo and Bing Yu had sold at the auction. Despite their lack of interest, they pretended to be amazed by the sword, suspecting that the principal might have been the one who bought it. Leng Mo was listening to a magical lecture about how to use elements to sense people and communicate, but his thoughts were elsewhere, as he was thinking about how he had been in the world for almost 5 years and was now back in the familiar classroom. He was also angry at Ferial, the stupid principal, and that magician, Langer Dorst. The teacher noticed Leng Mo's lack of focus and told him to focus before asking the question from which he had just taught the class. If Leng Mo couldn't respond, he would have to write a complete chapter 1 of the textbook 100 times. Leng Mo got up and told himself not to blame him for being harsh, because the teacher had put him in the worst mood. Then he revealed to the teacher that he didn't understand why he was imparting such knowledge to them, triggered his genius moment, and described how the entire phenomenon of magic elements could go wrong. The teacher had a different belief about the magical elements, which shocked the class and the teacher. The teacher ended class early because he wanted to reflect on a few things, and became depressed as he began to doubt his own life. The intelligence of the red demon, the Leng Mo, astounded the class. Leng Mo and Bing Yu chatted about their experiences in the first class of the day during recess. Leng Mo described his experience, assuming that the teacher would not want to speak with him again. During recess, Bing Yu informed Leng Mo about an inter-school competition that was held every 4 years. Leng Mo was shocked to learn that there would be a selection competition 3 months later, and that only the top 2 would be allowed to compete in the inter-school competition. Both of them wanted to use the competition to see who would be stronger between them and to complete the work they had started during the entrance exam. They had to train hard during these 3 months, as failing to do so would not be able to even stand. Then, Leng Mo informed his principal of their desire to participate in the inter-school competition and asked that he prepare them for it. Leng Mo was instructed to bypass easy mode and enter Asura mode by the principal, who appeared enthusiastic about his resolve. Leng Mo inquired as to its meaning. The principal instructed him to keep an eye on him and gather wind to surround him. The wind stopped as the principal said a few words. Leng Mo continued to attempt to see what he intended to do, but nothing materialized. The principal cautioned him to exercise caution, and voila! Leng Mo moved a bit away from where he was standing. He was unable to withstand the powerful martial force and resisted. The principal inquired as to Leng Mo's opinion of that technique, which was known as blazing martial force. Its purity was far greater than that of flame martial force. When Leng Mo saw that technique, he clarified how the principal had compressed the martial force into a ball and caused it to explode. Doing so would necessitate multiple increases in chi strength. The principal became bloated because he was unable to clarify to Leng Mo, who was already aware of the physics involved. Then Leng Mo informed the master that although his method appeared straightforward, it would be challenging for them to learn. The master concurred with Leng Mo, saying that it would take him a full year to train and maintain just 12.88 seconds, and that it would be a miracle if they didn't give it their all in those 3 months. Leng Mo promised the master to practice more diligently. The principal then gave him the task of practicing compressing martial force going forward. On the Bing Yu side, however, Bilnaz, the principal's wife, had far superior training. Bilnaz and Bing Yu began and concluded their training at a regular pace. As he read aloud the chants and praises, the wind began to gather around him. At last, Leng Mo was successful. Leng Mo managed to hold blazing fire Du Chi for a longer period of time, but he still seemed to need more practice. He hurried to inform the principal master of his advancement with joy. However, the master didn't seem to be interested in that because Leng Mo picked up the technique too quickly. Lengmo was informed by the principal that while he was a genius, and it had taken him less than a month to discover that, he couldn't really rely on his intelligence. Lengmo picked up that technique quickly because he had already mastered 9 Yang techniques, which had been very helpful to him. The combination of his fire attributes and the 9 Yang techniques made it much easier for him to gather fire. Subsequently, the principal brought him to a higher level of instruction to learn the technique that would be most beneficial to him if he and his opponent were fighting at the same level. He clarified to him that no technique could compete with his unmatched strength and speed. That method was dubbed the 3-style broadsword technique by him. He explained to Lengmo that the 3-style tyrant broadsword technique revolved around the concept of tyrant. It would be tyranny to use the blazing fire Du Chi to defeat the enemy. Lengmo saw that Grandpa Chief had also mentioned the same idea, and that the dwarf axe technique applied to the same idea. The principal advised him to keep his distance because that action could be harmful to him. He was guided by the master to complete that technique in a single breath. He needs to first release his fiery Du Chi. The master then used the sword that the master of the Skyway Business Association had given him to perform the first style. After that, he used the second style as Lengmo began to effect, even though he was standing far away thanks to an extremely potent technique. And with the last style, the principal sent a blast so strong that it scattered the surrounding objects as well as the ground. Lengmo was given that technique by the principal, who also asked if he paid close attention. Even though it wasn't very fashionable, he told him, it could have many variations, and no one had ever managed to survive all 3 styles in live combat. Lengmo was taken aback by how disorganized and powerful the Sword Saint's skill was, possessing such immense destructive power. Hearing his technique confused the principal, but when he looked around, he understood that he was too preoccupied with releasing his technique, which was how he unintentionally destroyed the training ground. He told Lengmo to tidy up the mess right away since he needed to demonstrate his method to Lengmo, and if his wife found out, she would punish him, which would be the end of him. Lengmo then trained the 3-style tyrant broadsword technique, blazing technique, and blazing fire Du Chi very hard over the course of the following few days. Day by day, he practiced that with his principal, while his master easily spared him until midnight. And as soon as he arrived home, Lengmo fell asleep. And as a result of the Sword Saint's daily rigorous training, Lengmo's strength increased greatly. Lengmo wasn't at the bungalow when Bing Yu called him for breakfast. Lengmo had been gone for a few days before he returned, and Bing Yu had only been able to eat to settle her meal through deliveries when she noticed a change in him. Since he was not telling her where he was going, she wondered to herself what that could possibly mean. Was there anything more that was forbidden to be mentioned or shared? She recalled that Lengmo had informed her that he would be leaving for a few days to resolve a matter, and returning once he had done so. Lengmo departed from the school, and the principal was also uncertain about his post-school plans. Since that would be inappropriate, she then wondered if he was in love with someone else. She was furious because she wouldn't let Lengmo make out with other girls behind her back, but Bing Yu was curious and would have asked him anything. When Lengmo fell in love and stopped cooking for her, she became extremely enraged, finding it hard to believe that he still cared about his friend. Bing Yu appeared to be more interested in the girl's true appearance. Tomorrow she was going to follow him. She decided to follow him after school the following day. Red Devil Lengmo terrified the people, and they made an effort to avoid him. Lengmo didn't intend to defeat them, so he appeared perplexed. No matter where Bing Yu followed Lengmo, she received the same response. After that, Lengmo entered Now City and assumed he was dating there. However, she witnessed him entering Skyway City's largest smith workshop, the Smith Workshop. She observed the proprietor handing Lengmo the shop key. Bing Yu was curious about what Lengmo could be doing in the workshop, and became even more intrigued when it occurred to her that Lengmo might be having a covert relationship with the Smith's daughter. She suspected that Smith was so vile and clever that he put his daughter's happiness at risk in order to pursue his desire for Lengmo's smithing expertise. But then Bing Yu noticed Lengmo walking away, which baffled her. Once again, she decided to follow him. After that, she went to the auction with Lengmo, following him. She watched as Lengmo conversed with the valuer. Then the superior cryolite crystal gem, which looked to be at least 10,000 years old, was given to him by the auctioneer. Bing Yu had only ever imagined what it would be like to own. It was only the possibility that Lengmo would buy her something that made her happy. She knew, though, that it would not be cheap for him. But Lengmo took that cryolite and went back to the workshop. Dreaming that Lengmo would return and give him that cryolite, Bing Yu's heart was racing. She pictured Lengmo giving that cryolite to someone else, possibly the smith's daughter, who she thought might be his true love. She then fled, crying all the way while wishing them both happiness. After coming back inside the house, Bing Yu was sitting next to the bungalow's fence when she started to feel strange. Then she decided to give Lengmo her congratulations. When Lengmo arrived home, she noticed Bing Yu sitting there and wondered why. And with that, she made the brave decision to congratulate him. She told him she had just finished eating. Lengmo then apologized to her, saying that he hadn't cooked those days due to his negligence. Lengmo, however, later revealed to Bingyu that he had a surprise in store for her. He revealed to her the weapon he had made specifically for her, the Ice Emperor Rainsword. A few days before the academic competition that he wanted to present her with was about to begin, so he asked an auctioneer to assist him in finding a 10,000-year-old cryolite and rented a workshop so he could make that weapon specifically for her. Bingyu broke down in tears because she was so happy and surprised to see Lengmo. She gave Lengmo a hug and expressed her regret to him as his brother for having doubts about him. Lengmo gave her a hard time because her response overwhelmed him, and a brother should always stand by their sibling. Lengmo then gave the sword to herself so she could try it out by putting her Du Qi inside of it. After she did that, the sword started to freeze the room. It had a very strong effect. She once more expressed her gratitude to Lengmo for the sword, which enhanced her ice element. Lengmo was also pleased for Bingyu. After that, they shared a meal of barbecue that they had both prepared. It was a day for competition. Everyone gathered at the academy's main stage area. Subsequently, the host came and declared the 127 students that year's contestants. She informed the academy students that there were more participants this year than there were the previous year, and she also showed them the pairings of the preliminary matches. She went on to say that the first-year competitors were the most unexpected aspect of the competition. Only Bingyu and Lengmo arrived. News about the Red and Blue Devil was seen and spread by the public. While watching the tournament, the principal and his spouse talked about how Lengmo and Bingyu were drawing a lot of attention. His wife was concerned because she didn't want both of them to meet each other before the finals. But the principal gave his wife the assurance that they wouldn't while he pulled some strings. She was appalled that he was still playing foul games, so her wife made fun of him and laughed. The host then explained the tournament brackets and groupings to the viewers and participants. Lengmo saw that Bingyu was at number 28, and that his number was 7. Since they wouldn't have to face each other until the end, they felt relieved. Next, in honor of the inauguration, the host called the principal, who then declared that the tournament had started. Exuberantly, the crowd threw flowers and cheered. The match has now officially started. Lengmo and Bingyu wished one another well. The senior bully brat, Yin Ding, arrived before they went to their stages, and revealed that he would meet them at the third round with number 9. Then he forewarned Lengmo that this time he wouldn't hold back and would beat him pretty hard. Lengmo cautioned him to exercise caution as well, noting that he was not as frail as they had been 3 months prior. After that, Yin Ding left, saying, "Don't be a scaredy cat on stage because I said such big words." The games began. The boy won the first round of fighting, defeating a girl and hailing himself, but his noose was also bleeding and had been beaten pretty badly. Following a few people passing out during the matches, the match between Lengmo and contestant number 5 was revealed. Lengmo walked to the ground and Bingyu warned him to exercise caution. He faced a competitor in their second year, Wu Shu. Before the match, Shu Wu exuded an excessive amount of confidence, calling Lengmo unlucky to have him that early in the contest, because Shu Wu was an advanced level warrior when he enrolled in the school and might get even stronger in his second year. The audience speculated that the Red Devil was in danger. The match was introduced by the host, and Lengmo moved like a lightning bolt. When Shu Wu realized he had disappeared, he became stunned. Then Lengmo kicked Shu Wu at the head while standing on his back. Lengmo's performance astounded the audience because he moved so quickly. Once more, the Lengmo raised his leg and delivered a powerful kick to Shu Wu, instantly knocking him out. The match had already ended before it had even begun, leaving the audience in complete shock. They watched in shock as Lengmo quickly rendered Shu Wu unconscious. When he announced that it would be their turn to lose next, Lengmo's opponents were astounded and dispersed. Bingyu was amazed to see Lengmo and eager to see just how strong the sword that Lengmo had given her would be when her match would come. Yin Ding faced off against another competitor in the following match. Lengmo and Bingyu were taken aback when they saw Yin Ding chanting a few lines at the beginning of the game. The audience was perplexed and wondered if he was employing some kind of ultimate skill when he suddenly fell to the ground and was knocked out with a single blow. Lengmo was taken aback. The host declared that contestant number 11, Lan Tong, had eliminated Yin Ding with just one blow and declared Lan Tong the winner. Lengmo was astounded by Lan Tong's performance and attractive appearance. The audience was astounded by Lengmo's success throughout his ascent and concluded that the first-year competitors were strong that year. Lengmo was told by Bingyu that he had an easy standing. Number 3 was hurt in the match before he faced Lengmo, so Lengmo referred to that as good fortune. Lengmo appears to be looking for somebody. When Bingyu questioned him, he replied that he was looking for the girl they had earlier seen beating up the overly intelligent senior brat. From the throng, he saw that girl. When Lengmo put that girl ahead of Bing Yu at that moment, Bing Yu became envious. Lengmo went to congratulate Lan on his successful fight. He explained to Lan that his opponents were only intermediate-level fighters with no prior combat experience, which was why they tired out too quickly. He did this in an attempt to impress Lan. After giving her his name, he informed her that he was a first-year student. Lengmo was mortified in front of other people there, so the girl ignored him and left. Lengmo then went to Bing Yu, who was giggling uncontrollably at his crude pickup lines despite his attempts to quiet her. Finally, the match between Lengmo and Lantong occurred. Her admirers in the crowd were encouraging her and giving her confidence that she would win. Bing Yu wished Lengmo luck. The host gave Lantong permission to begin the match, and it did. She gives a high five. She made a move that surprised Lengmo. Lengmo was initially able to avoid her attack by sidestepping her. Then Lantong noticed Lengmo, who was still upright, grinning, and invited her to the BBQ following the games. Once more, Lantong charged at him, this time kicking him with her thighs. However, Lengmo was not susceptible to simple kicks. Lengmo bet Lan that if Lengmo won, they would go on a date. Lantong gave him the challenge to win first, after which she would judge. Excited, Lengmo made plans to attack her right away. Finally, Lengmo rushed to attack her. Before launching her into the sky, he apologized to her. To keep Lantong from falling to the ground, though, Lengmo grabbed her. Lantong sobbed at her loose as Lengmo infuriated and upset her lovers. Lengmo was too strong for Lantong, and she didn't even have a chance. A few romantics from the audience emerged to beat Lengmo in retaliation for her loss. However, Bing Yu cried out, threatening to make them all unthinkable if they touched Lengmo. The group was startled by Bing Yu's threat and quickly became desperate. Lengmo then inquired as to whether Lantong would like to go barbecued after school, which Lantong first refused, but she eventually agreed to go on a date with Lengmo only if he won the preliminary matches. Lengmo thought it was awkward to ask her out on a date in that manner. Nevertheless, he decided to go on a date with her after accepting that arrangement. Lengmo was then told to leave the stage by the host because he was interfering with the next match. Lengmo's victory over Bing Yu in the matches was not something Bing Yu desired. They finally made it to the odd bracket final match after 2 days of thrilling matches, and the winner of that will compete against Lengmo in the championship match of the inter-school competition. Jiang Yu and Bing Yu faced off in the final match. Bing Yu was lost in thought as the match began. She was thinking of Lengmo's request for a date from Lantong after he won the finals. That, in her opinion, betrayed her friendship. Bing Yu's facial expressions gave the impression that he was ignoring Jiang Yu, according to the audience. Jiang Yu was serious, though. He tried calling Bing Yu, but she didn't answer. He became enraged, believing Bing Yu was staring down at him, and tried to hit her first, but Bing Yu was preoccupied with Lengmo and couldn't have wanted Lengmo to win. Then, infuriated, she vowed not to allow that to happen, and quickly knocked Jiang Yu out. Such moves left the audience in disbelief. Because only the 2 first-year competitors made it to the final, there was increased interest in that competition. The principal and her spouse placed a wager to see which of their disciples would be the better, and after 10 minutes of rest, they called Bing Yu and Lengmo to the stage for the finals. The match was about to begin because it was the first time in their history that first-year students had qualified to compete in the finals. Lengmo desired victory in order to go on a date, while Bing Yu desired victory in order to exact revenge for the betrayal. Before the match, they both had conversations with one another, which increased the audience's interest in the match. Lengmo displayed the broadsword he had forged in opposition to Bing Yu. When the match began, their blades collided violently. Subsequently, they initiated physical attacks on each other. Lengmo informed Bing Yu that although he had grown stronger than before, he was still not as strong as him. When Bing Yu saw it, she wanted to taste Lengmo, the ice element. She created an ice glacier that was directly aimed at Lengmo, but he used his fire ability to stop it. Lengmo reminded her that he needed to be beaten, but Bing Yu responded that it was only a small scare because she was concealing her actual strength. Lengmo had also completed his warm-up, and they were both prepared for the next attack. Bing Yu and Lengmo were engaged in a ferocious and intense battle. The host remarked that they didn't seem like first-year students because they were under a lot of pressure. Lengmo tried to go all in on Bing Yu, but Bing Yu used standard magic to fall Lengmo off by throwing an ice glacier at his feet. However, Lengmo also used his fire ability to stand up and attack Bing Yu, and their blades collided once more. Once more, the two were trading blows. After 30 minutes, neither Lengmo nor Bing Yu appeared fatigued. As their nickname suggested, they were red and blue devils indeed. As they were about to use their last moves, they suddenly exchanged swords once more. But after a blow, the collision caused both of their swords to blow away. But then, without warning, they both stood up and ran barehanded to each other. Due to their desperation and growing enmity, both of them defeated each other fairly easily, turning the match into an attrition battle. When they had reached their breaking point, they both raised their hands and threw punches in each other's faces, knocking the other out in the process. Bing Yu and Leng Mo both passed out on the ground, exhausted. As the host declared that the winner would be the one who stood up first, the principal stepped up and gave the order for the medics to bring them down. Subsequently, the principal determined that, since the fight had left everyone in awe, he would make the extraordinary choice to declare them both the winners of the competition. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were declared the winners by the host, marking the first occasion in academic history that two winners of a competition have emerged simultaneously. Thus, Leng Mo and Bing Yu emerged victorious from that year's preliminary match. At last, Leng Mo and Bing Yu awoke. When the preliminary session ended, they slept for 2 full days. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were also informed of the outcome by the principal and his spouse. The good wife and principal were pleased with them because they performed well in the championship game. They made the decision to give them both the bracelets, which the principal and his wife had treasured for a while. One was a 10,000-year-old dark blue diamond dust brooch, and the other had one of the top 5 quality fire inscription stones. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were astounded by those presents because they were genuinely valuable accessories. Because of how powerful the bracelet and brooch were, the intensity of the fire and ice elements increased very quickly. They saw that they had burned and frozen the principal's eyebrows while donning treasures, but they still thanked him for his kindness. The principal gave them some spankings as a form of punishment, before instructing them to take charge of their doji. The principal then told them that the format of the inter-school competition had been altered because of their 2 school representatives. They may be at a disadvantage from that competition, because it won't be a 1v1 match, it would be a battle royale instead, and 14 more teams would band together to attack them. The principal didn't want them to represent their institute poorly, so they only had a month to train themselves. Both went home to rest after their day at school. Bing Yu was still not satisfied that they couldn't decide who was the stronger of the two. Leng Mo, however, chose not to consider such things and instead offered Bing Yu a nice gesture by preparing barbecued meat. They roasted grilled meat at night. Bing Yu was eagerly awaiting the grilled meat and was not looking forward to it. Leng Mo continued by expressing his belief that they would triumph in the inter-school competition and subsequently be qualified to work as intern arbitrators. In order to become an arbitrator, Bing Yu also attended the school. She then related to Leng Mo the entire tale of how her entire tribe was destroyed. Although she was aware of her adversary, she was unable to exact revenge for her tribe. But becoming an arbitrator would allow her a chance to revenge in that life. Then, as he was saying something serious, Leng Mo told her to change the subject. Then, Bing Yu stated that while being an arbitrator wasn't her dream, it might be something she truly wanted. She used to live with his grandfather in the village after her parents passed away soon after she was born. She underwent a variety of training after that in order to be able to defend her grandfather. That being said, Bing Yu lost all of her goals after losing his grandfather. She came to learn more about her parents' profession as arbitrators, something she learned from her grandfather, and she was interested in following their early steps. Leng Mo also experienced emotional turmoil and chose to come clean. After claiming to be the well-known criminal evil lord, he revealed to Bing Yu his true sword, which he had been hiding. Bing Yu was taken aback upon seeing broadswords. Then, calling Bing Yu his brother, Leng Mo told her he no longer had to keep my true identity a secret from her. However, Bing Yu became perplexed because she didn't know what an evil lord was. Since her village had never had a criminal bounty ranking, Bing Yu had never heard of him. The Leng Mo asked Bing Yu, who didn't know he was a criminal evil lord, why she was shocked when he told her. She replied that Leng Mo had hidden his sword and was only now telling her about it. Then Leng Mo revealed the name of the sword, Evil Lord Slayer, and displayed his other animals, including an adolescent phoenix and a silver wolf with its young. When Bing Yu saw those creatures and the talking phoenix, he was taken aback. When the children of Silverwolf spotted grilled meat, they ran to get some, but Bing Yu blocked their path and stopped them. Bing Yu simply used the meat to hang herself, while Silverwolf swung her around and consumed it. Leng Mo was relieved to see that he was not the only lone avenger in those moments, and it might not have been a bad thing because the dark path of vengeance seemed less dark. In order for his friendship to endure forever, he made a commitment to himself to work harder. Then the house's doorbell rang, and Leng Mo became ecstatic when Lan Tong arrived. With a swift motion, he hid the animals and the blade and unlocked the door. As soon as Lan Tong saw the bungalow, Bing Yu became envious once more. And from that point on, there was a new person to share the barbecued meat with. The principal was ecstatic to receive grilled meat prepared by Leng Mo. He was unaware of Leng Mo's exceptional culinary skills. Being able to train Leng Mo made him happy. Leng Mo then asked the master if he felt free to ask him a question because he wanted to ask him something. Although the preliminary rounds had ended several days prior, he inquired if the master could teach him a few more advanced techniques. Leng Mo informed the master that he had only learned 3 techniques, the blazing fire duo-chi, and the tyrant broadsword technique. The master responded by asking if he had already thought of him. Master became serious and questioned Lengmo about whether the two techniques he had taught him weren't good enough. Lengmo remained silent and merely lifted his hand to the sky, observing Bing Yu soaring through the air, demonstrating a brand new magic trick she had learned from her mentor, the principal's wife. Every day Bing Yu taught Lengmo new tricks that she learned from her master, so she could tease her. However, the principal handled the matter amicably and helped Lengmo in this way by blasting Bing Yu's icy plane. However, Lengmo advised his principal master that acquiring more techniques would help him become better, because the more techniques he possessed, the better. However, the principal said that he was wrong because their techniques were superior, not in quantity, but in their level of skill. And in order to become more proficient, Lengmo needed to practice more. If he perfects a technique, nobody can stop him from doing so. But then the lady master showed up and revealed the principal, telling him to be honest with Lengmo and letting him know that he was already familiar with just those two techniques. As his wife stood behind him, the principal began to perspire and inquired as to why she was there. The female teacher was curious as to who had just thrown her student from the air. The principal forced Lengmo to acknowledge his error and held him responsible for the accident in order to protect himself. However, the lady wife lectured the principal not to be so harsh on that child because the master was an elder, and he should not bully Lengmo. The principal then pretended to speak on Lengmo's behalf and offered Lengmo forgiveness. But the lady master told Lengmo to understand that his principal was not teaching him other techniques because he only knew those two. Lengmo found it offensive to hear that from the principal's mouth, so he started asking him dirty questions while the principal attempted to sidestep the situation. Lengmo shouted that the principal was a sword saint with only those two techniques. Lengmo sobbed as he said, "There's going to be an inter-school competition soon. If I weren't a saint, how would I win with just two techniques?" Lengmo was told by the female master that a principal of that kind was useless and that she would be happy to have him as a disciple. At that point, the principal persuaded Lengmo to stop feeling bad because he would be giving him a treasure that would aid in his training. Lengmo's absorption of the fire element will be enhanced by the gift of a brooch, one of the most valuable accessories, enabling it to grow considerably faster than usual. The principal just handed it to him. Lengmo felt amazing when he wore that brooch and felt the fire elements flowing through him. As he ate grilled meat, the master asked Lengmo to give him praise. In order to please his master, Lengmo quickly thanked him. The master then instructed him to return and continue cultivating, reminding him to grill another drumstick for him the following day. Then Lengmo left for home. As he was returning home, Bing Yu was complaining to him about his master hitting her and her inability to even flee the attack while she was watching the trolley face of Lengmo as it was about to receive a treasure. Then, because she was seriously hurt, she asked if he could grill him some meat. Lengmo retorted that he was pressed for time and needed to concentrate on cultivating. However, Lantong later visited Lengmo. When she asked Lengmo to make her barbecue, he blushed, apologized, and said he would. That response infuriated Bing Yu once more, and he yelled at Lengmo for not having time for her and for being able to help Lantong. Then, wanting Bing Yu to stop making a scene, Lengmo consented to make her streak as well. Lengmo cooked grilled meat at the bungalow, but she didn't feel well because Lantong was dining with Lengmo. Bing Yu became more avaricious and enraged, wanting to devour all the meat because she wanted to starve to death. She filled each piece of meat to the point where she was no longer able to fill her. Following the meal, Lantong told them that by cooperating, they could both win the inter-school competition. She informed them that Second Prince Caesar of the Fragrant Wind Empire would be present to watch the competition and urged them to give it their all. When Lengmo learned about the second prince, he began to look away more and asked Lantong to elaborate. Lengmo was calmed down and given more information by Lantong. She explained that the Fragrant Wind Empire would host the inter-school competition, and it wouldn't be unusual for Prince to go. The second prince would take his place that time, according to wild rumors that had been spreading, even though the kings had always attended recent inter-school competitions. Hearing that the Fragrant Wind Empire's king was unable to attend the competition personally due to a serious illness, Lantong did some research. While 17 of his princes were forging alliances to succeed to the throne, panic and fighting broke out among them. Of the 17 princes, the second Prince Caesar was one of the 4 princes of the Fragrant Wind Empire, and all the factions either belonged to him or the 4th prince of Fragrant Empire, Prince Brunot, and it would be the second prince who would watch the inter-school match in order to select a formidable competitor to join his league. Concerned by Lengmo's outburst, Lantong started to worry. To finally have his revenge, Lengmo made up his mind to win the inter-school competition. It was finally Lengmo's turn to exact his revenge. Lengmo responded to Lantong's question about what he meant by revenge, and whether he harbored any grudges against the royal family of the Fragrant Wind Empire, by saying that he had an unbreakable resentment because the fourth prince had killed his clan, and that he would always remember it. He approached Lan Tong and expressed his gratitude for the information, making him determined to win the competition. Leng Mo welcomed Lan Tong while being melted away by the sight of Leng Mo. Bing Yu moved them apart because she also wanted to keep her thoughts to herself. Following that, as Leng Mo was now focused on winning first place, she asked if they should begin training. Leng Mo and Bing Yu trained for the competition for the entire week. They never stopped training, even when they weren't eating or sleeping. However, Leng Mo ran into issues because he lacked the strength to exact revenge. He had to get better more quickly since he wasn't developing quickly enough. Phoenix Bird appeared and informed him that he had a technique that would enable Leng Mo to advance rapidly while he was still considering that. He reminded him that the principal master had given him the Hellfire brooch, and that wearing it and going into the Hellfire would hasten his recovery. Leng Mo questioned him about the location of the spot where Phoenix had jolted his dim-witted mind about the volcano at the dwarf village. Leng Mo was told that the only reason he lived there was because of the concentrated and extremely pure fire elements found in that volcano. However, Phoenix cautioned Leng Mo to exercise strong will before going there, as the entire process would be trying, and there would be a possibility of negative reaction. Leng Mo was afraid, but he was also excited. Then he got ready to head out that day to the dwarf village. Leng Mo called upon the Silver Wolf and made his way to the village in 2 days after departing from Skyway City. It had been a while since they had seen him, so the grandfather chief greeted him warmly and with tears. After a while, after gathering with other family members, he sat down with the grandfather and told him about the internal strife within the Fragment Wind Empire. He also explained that he had returned this time to receive training in order to be prepared to act amid the chaos. Grandpa felt bad for him because he didn't know how to train him and had just given him hugs, which Leng Mo refused. Leng Mo only asked for Papa's assistance if it would allow them to send him food and water while he was training in the volcano. He was reassured by his grandfather not to be worried, as he would take care of Leng Mo's meal. Leng Mo took a nap for the day after thanking Grandpa for his kindness. The following day, he said goodbye to his family and descended into the volcano. He was guided by the Phoenix to continue his descent inside the volcano. Then Phoenix stopped him where he could see that the fire element of Leng Mo was extremely hot. Leng Mo, though, desired more heat. In order to achieve the best possible training conditions, Leng Mo had to approach the lava. Leng Mo then approached the lava and felt that the location was about correct. Leng Mo didn't even start to meditate because the place was so intensely hot that he felt like he had been cooked. He could also feel a lot of fire element entering his body. The fire was too hot for him to meditate in after that. Leng Mo was instructed by Phoenix to stop talking, sit down to meditate, and utilize his Du Qi to block the heat while he used his protective abilities on him. The Phoenix then gave Leng Mo the order to begin capturing the fire elements in the area. As Leng Mo had predicted, there were a lot of fire elements. However, Leng Mo eventually became overheated, feeling as though the heat was rising like a wave in the ocean. He was in excruciating pain and couldn't bear to control the fire element. His body felt like a furnace. However, he forced himself to hold on because that was thousands of times faster. He reminded himself that his only chance to exact revenge on the fourth prince was to hang on tight no matter what. Grandpa Dwarf and his companions were able to witness the daily eruptions and changes of the volcano. Because Leng Mo was also inside the volcano, they were concerned when the eruption, which they had not seen since the Phoenix left, resumed. However, the grandfather held on to his faith and patiently waited, knowing that Leng Mo was probably training with a volcano and that they had to trust him. Within the lava-filled volcano, Phoenix never ceased inspiring Leng Mo to fortify his resolve. Leng Mo screamed and stood up as the volcano erupted. The dwarves outside the volcano became alarmed, but Grandpa told them not to worry and to go back into the cave because Leng Mo would. When Phoenix asked Leng Mo if he was okay back in the volcano, he replied that it was close to him because he had just collapsed there. Phoenix urged him to begin meditating immediately and gave him encouragement that he had at least survived. Leng Mo then began to meditate in order to help himself with some of his injuries and to stabilize his energy. It felt so good to Leng Mo. In order to assess Leng Mo's increase in power, Phoenix wanted him to concentrate on his strength. Leng Mo was following Phoenix's instructions exactly, and in a matter of a few short hours, his fighting prowess had doubled, and his spirit had grown to a rather frightening degree. Phoenix just used his training methods to practice Leng Mo. Leng Mo's strength unexpectedly returned, and Silver asked him about what was happening. Subsequently, they emerged from the volcano, released the Silver from the space realm, and gave him an explanation of everything that had occurred. Leng Mo can now use his skills whenever he wants, Silver informed him, adding that he should extend his arm. After learning how to use his ability from Silver, Leng Mo was astounded by what he saw. As his arm swung, he saw a paw emerge from behind his shoulder. After showing him Lengmo's leg, Silver bit them to grant him access to Lengmo's leg abilities as well. That Lengmo could leap and run quickly. He made multiple amusing attempts but at least learned how to use them. Following 2 weeks of training, Lengmo experienced a significant increase in inner strength, to the point where he could control his intake of fire energy without the aid of a phoenix. With the Academy's big competition drawing near, he said goodbye to his parents, who loved him and gave him lots of advice, including to always eat healthily and return home. He was still the same obstinate elderly child that grandfather loved more. After leaving the dwarven village and forest, he made the decision to race himself home. Lengmo quickly ran to Skyway City with the same speed as Silver's. As they traveled, they mused around, laughed, and ran around, enjoying Lengmo's newly discovered silver abilities. Skyway City was reached by Lengmo. The whole city was staring at him. Sensing that something was off, he proceeded to the academy, where he discovered a letter from the principal, written weeks prior, telling him to come as soon as possible to the fragrant wind of Empire in order to acclimate himself to the surroundings. Lengmo began to perspire, because he realized that even geniuses could make mistakes. Lengmo arrived at Empire Fragrance. Lengmo was disciplined by the principal master by having his knees pressed up against the durian spikes, teaching him to never act alone again. Then, since he arrived in time to register for the competition, the lady master persuaded the principal to grant him a pass. Then Lengmo gave thanks to the lady master and the master. The master then instructed them to get ready for the tournament, which would begin tonight. Lengmo and Bing Yu questioned the principal about the tournament's rules, which the principal was unaware of as well, because this time the rules were made by the second prince, and the rules would be announced the tournament day. Lengmo was surprised to learn that the second prince of the Fragrant Wind Empire had arrived to saw the tournament. Then the principal master informed them that the prince had made a special request to alter the tournament rules. The prince had not disclosed the new rules to any of the school leaders, but the principal gave Lengmo and Bing Yu the assurance that the new regulations wouldn't be the result of impulsive teenage pranks, because the second prince most likely had his own motivation for the changes. However, the principal informed them that as long as Lengmo and Bing Yu take first place, he didn't think they should give it much thought. The master lady then advised them to get a good night's sleep for today. The large crowd that gathered at the castle the following day behaved as though it was a festival. Standing high above like a bunch of showcases, Lengmo and Bing Yu were thinking about where their teachers went. Then he noticed that their teachers were seated across from them at the viewing panel. While other participants were taken aback to see Sword Saint disciples in them, they waved hello. Lengmo noticed Caesar, the second prince of the Fragrant Wind Empire, standing next to their teacher. With that piercing gaze, the prince could see Lengmo even without his animosity. Lengmo wanted to make the second prince his greatest weapon against the fourth prince because he thought the latter might be stronger than he was. Lengmo had to come up with a plan for getting the prince's attention during the competition. The 8 greatest academies competed in a grand tournament that took place every 4 years, with the host coming to start things off. The 16 competitors who had won earlier competitions from their inner school were then shown by the host. Subsequently, the second prince was invited by the host to announce the new rules for the tournament. Many attendees and onlookers were shocked to see the second prince for the first time. The second prince claimed to have replaced his father with new policies. He had made a number of adjustments to the new regulations he had put in place. He declared that the contestants for this year would be transported to an island in the middle of nowhere to compete for a month. In that competition, 160 magic seals were hidden throughout the island, and the academy with the most seals at the end of the month would win. The prince also informed them that the majority of the seals would be protected by a variety of animals. Then, in a departure from previous year's tournaments, he declared his most significant rule: murder was permitted. That regulation astounded each and every participant in the group. Subsequently, they revealed to the participants 8 portals that would lead to arbitrary locations across the island. Every academy was free to select any portal that took them to a different place. After completing his explanation of the tournament's rules, he declared the competition to have started. Lengmo waited for a little while to let everyone pass through their chosen portals, while the academy teams passed through them. When he noticed the prince, he gestured to him before passing through their portal. Enraged by Lengmo's lameness, the principal who was in front of the prince resolved to break his legs when he returned. When the second prize saw that Lengmo was the principal's student, he told him that he truly thought Lengmo was very interesting. As Bing Yu teleported to the desert, he questioned Lengmo about the strange gesture he had made to the prince. Lengmo told her he was quite clever to catch the prince's attention, but Bing Yu pointed out that Lengmo's move was a little out of date, which made Lengmo a little embarrassed. After arriving on the island via teleport, they immediately began searching for the seals. Because the island was large, they got lost and were uncertain of where to begin their search. Lengmo and Bing Yu discovered that it was difficult to find seals on the island and to run into other people. But since they all had a full month ahead of them, Lengmo chose not to rush. Lengmo explained to Bing Yu that he probably never intended for them to face one another, because the island was so big. Since most seals would be protected by beasts, the competition was probably not as fierce as it first appeared, because most seals would be hidden in a secure location. Lengmo was certain that the second prince was seeking people with survival skills that would help him in his impending battles within the royal family, rather than attempting to hold a simple feat of strength. That made more sense to Bing Yu as it was perceived. Lengmo then intended to concentrate only on eliminating monsters and gathering seals. If they had the chance, they might also attack the other academies. Lengmo and Bing Yu made the decision to capture the monsters because they were clearly powerful, train with their corpses, and then sell them for additional cash. Then, Lengmo and Bing Yu set out to pursue creatures of magic. One of the spies told the second prince at Fragrance Empire Castle that all of the tasks given to him had been completed. Agents were keeping an eye on every team and would be assigning grades to the players according to Prince's system. The prince became happy and gave him instructions to report more information to him. Since he was especially interested in Lengmo, he also told him to pay closer attention to the disciples of the principal's team. The fourth prince approached the second prince as he was instructing his soldier. While he was putting in a lot of effort for the straightforward competition between elite academies, she told him that she still thought of him as her father's most devoted dog. The second prince confronted her, telling her that he was really working hard on any assignment from his father, and making fun of the fact that not everyone could be as easygoing and carefree as she was. Then, sensing that the fourth prince was up to no good, Caesar asked what she really wanted from him. The fourth prince said she wasn't even offered a seat because she was already at his place. The fourth prince then disclosed her purpose, saying that she was only here to say goodbye to her father after he had granted her permission to command the troops on a raid against the Beastmen. Caesar was astounded that their father would give that idiot the ability to lead his army, and wondered if their father had become ill or had become senile. Caesar was told to stop encroaching on his territory by the fourth prince, who then left to go on her own mission tomorrow morning. The fourth prince was laughing from inside when she noticed Caesar's swollen face because she was unaware of the game he had been playing. No one would dare challenge her to a duel, so she was determined to eliminate them all one by one. Lengmo and Bing Yu saw enormous footprints on the island, indicating the presence of a fairly powerful monster. After noticing its nest, they made the decision to enter and have a look. The poisonous smoke surrounded them as soon as they entered. They were having trouble because they hadn't prepared an antidote, but Silver intervened and offered Lengmo her assistance. Lengmo can assist him in capturing the beast and using its wispy tail to blow out the smoke. Next, Silver captured the spirit beast. After seeing the enormous footprint earlier, Lengmo and Bing Yu were taken aback and inquired as to whose footprints it was. Silver informed them that the animal they had was known as the Crimson Fox. It was a very cunning kind of creature. Although its poison gas was extremely potent, those footprints outside were meant to frighten away potential predators. Since silver wolves were naturally opposed to him, they were immune to the gas. Then Lengmo looked inside the nest to see if any seals were there. He noticed the magical seal and took it. An announcement was made that the Arbitrator Academy team had collected the first seal as Lengmo picked it up. They had a suspicion that they were being spied on. They feared they might be in trouble if they found out, so they quickly put Silver Wolf back into the spatial bag. Lengmo thanked himself for not breaking out in an evil Lord Slash, or else everyone would have known that he was a well-known criminal. Some of the attendees had gathered for the meeting in another area of the forest. Lengmo and Bing Yu, according to one of them, had the highest documented given potential in human history, and since the other 7 academies might as well concede defeat, they had to take action against them. A week before the competition ends, he suggested that they gather a large number of seals as a team and divide them equally. In opposition to Lengmo and Bing Yu, he wished to foster unity. He gave the order for everyone to assemble the last few other academies so they could attack, rob, and kill them because once they were dead, they won't be able to do much harm. And as a result, one of those academies would be the winner. The news that Heavenly Academy had found their first magic seal was recently released. Since it was the 4th announcement of the day, Lengmo noticed that other academies were beginning to pick up speed quickly. At this rate, however, no one will be able to overtake Bing Yu and Lengmo, who have already obtained 14 seals between them. Lengmo informed Bing Yu that since they were likely attempting to organize against them, they couldn't say for sure at the moment. Since there haven't been any announcements from any of the 7 academies in a few days, but on the 3rd day, 6 or 8 announcements were made, and they have continued until today. Lengmo believed that prior to that, they were in the midst of assembling allies. Bing Yu was perplexed as to how they would be able to get in touch with one another. Lengmo assumed that since they had been teleporting there for the previous 2 days, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to establish a communication channel beforehand. To give the impression that the game was fair, they had been dividing the seals equally among the academies. Lengmo then concluded that even with that tactic, they would not be able to prevail because, even if the seals were divided evenly among the 7 academies, only Bing Yu and Lengmo would be able to obtain more than that. Alternatively, since their alliance would be useless otherwise, their ultimate objective would be to use their numbers to destroy Lengmo and Bing Yu and steal all of their seals. Lengmo was informed by Bing Yu that if other academy teams believed they could fool us with small tricks, she would give them a taste if they were interested. Lengmo had some kind of admiration for her because Bing Yu was always so straightforward and easy to solve problems for. Since agents were watching every move Lengmo made, he decided to fight every monster going forward because doing so would make him more noticeable to the second prince as well. Bing Yu objected to Lengmo's plan because she didn't share any of his interests and instead wanted to work as brothers. She told him to divide monsters equally going forward because she wanted to stand by him no matter where Lengmo went. She would have preferred to be picked by the second prince as well. Lengmo became aware of his conceit and felt fortunate to have Bing Yu as a friend. Then a few days later, they battled with the variety of monsters and vanquished them collectively to obtain magical seals. They have so far amassed 31 seals. They could feel someone there as they were counting, because a voice told them they were doing a good job of gathering seals. Although Lengmo and Bing Yu were informed, it was the second prince who approached them. Lengmo and Bing Yu were instructed by the prince to remain silent, as he was only there to speak with them. The second prince informed them that he had been watching the two of them for a while, and that he truly appreciated his abilities. Lengmo was aware that over the previous few days, they had been able to draw attention. Lengmo asked him why he had come to speak with them, even though he had thanked the prince. Then, since there would be no outside interference with their conversation, the second prince invited Lengmo and Bing Yu to his private dimension. Lengmo noticed that second prince's space dimension was significantly larger than his own, and concluded that the prince was a formidable opponent who, at the absolute least, had the potential to become a great swordmaster. Then the second prince motioned for them to take a seat. He wasn't in a rush to discuss the situation, so he asked them to confirm something with them first. He then questioned Lengmo about the possibility that he was the evil lord, a well-known criminal who was being persecuted in his nation. Lengmo was taken aback and was amazed at how he was able to identify him and learn more about him. However, Prince was cordial and assured him not to worry because he was only trying to confirm his suspicions and had no malicious intent. Then he told Lengmo that he had been told by his subordinates that Lengmo was using a silver spiritual beast, which is how he had deduced that Lengmo was the evil lord and the reason he had vanished from view for the previous 6 months. Alternatively, Lengmo could have continued his education at the Arbitrator Academy. The prince went on to inform Lengmo that he was aware that Lengmo had sided with the Sunset Empire in a 3-year battle against them, during which the prince's nation had suffered significant losses. Lengmo had even challenged his fourth brother in the outer forests, causing him to suffer a similar fate. Prince started to grow suspicious and wary of Lengmo as a result. Because he was constantly serving under the Dare to Die group, the prince was unable to comprehend the attack on his fourth brother. The prince informed Lengmo that after flooring him, his fourth brother flew into a dreadful rage, making the second prince happy. Lengmo was then questioned by the second prince Caesar about where he had been exacting revenge, on the fourth brother or the empire. Then, if Lengmo was attempting to test the prince's loyalty, he said so. There was no need to say things in such a roundabout way, so he wanted the prince to give it to him straight. The fourth prince then appeared with his plan, stating that he would take the throne with Lengmo and Bing Yu's assistance if they were prepared to work for him. Lengmo had no choice but to say yes when it came to working for Prince. However, the prince revealed to them that Lengmo was joking, so Bing Yu must be kidding since he won't hurt them and they can still be friends. They had to exercise caution, though, because they would be in serious trouble if his information leaked. Lengmo truly underestimated the second prince, who would have preferred to work with Lengmo, despite knowing that Lengmo was an evil lord. Without a doubt, the prince belonged to the kind of people who burn bridges after they have been crossed. Lengmo didn't want to be mixed up with two of the princes because that would be too dangerous for him, and he knew that the fourth prince was very strong because he was unable to fight the fourth prince. Although he didn't want Bing Yu to get involved, she assured him that she would follow Lengmo if he accepted the prince's offer. Then, Lengmo accepted the deal because he wanted to take a chance at that moment to work with Prince together. The prince was overjoyed that Lengmo had accepted his offer, but he then made 3 demands, which he hoped the second prince could grant. First and foremost, Lengmo insisted that he would only follow the person he dispatched with him and would not tolerate elder meddling. The prince assured him that the wise men supported him. His second wish was to only take part in combat. The prince gave them his word and requested that they only swear loyalty to his will of duty in the event that his life was in jeopardy. The third request was that the 7 neighboring cities, or the heavenly cities, be given to him once he had assisted him in obtaining his throne. The prince informed him that he had never offered such a reward to anyone before, so that would be challenging for him. But there wouldn't be a problem with that reward if Leng Mo demonstrated his strength to the council and persuaded them. Leng Mo inquired as to what action he needed to take to persuade them. The second prince, Caesar, instructed them to gather all of the magic seals from the competition and to formally institute themselves within half a year. Leng Mo promised the prince that he wouldn't let him down and accepted his terms with no issues at all. After that, Leng Mo and Bing Yu broke away from the second prince to resume the contest. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were heading to Fuan on the island, but Bing Yu was concerned about the fact that they would now need to defeat every school in order to gather every seal. Leng Mo appeared at ease as he made his final request, which unnerved him because he would have been worried about it too if Leng Mo had truly desired those cities. Bing Yu didn't understand the point, even though it seemed so obvious to him. Leng Mo told her to relax because they would be the ones to come to them when she inquired about how they would locate the participants of other academic events. The competition competitor who was spying on them learned that the fourth prince's predictions came true, and that the rumors about the second prince pulling strings were accurate as they were leaving for the other land. Not only did the second prince personally come to supervise them, but Leng Mo and Bing Yu also lost strength. Prior to the second prince, the fourth prince visited a rival academic participant, and she assigned him the duty of keeping an eye out for the second person who chooses to be recruited. She also gave that participant the assignment to murder them both whenever he got the chance. Subordinates of the second prince questioned whether he truly trusted the evil lord and his companion to do their jobs, to which he retorted that if Leng Mo were an evil lord, he would actually be useful to them. The second prince's subordinates thought he was absurd since Leng Mo had actually asked for 7 cities from him. However, the second prince reassured his subjects not to worry about it, saying that Leng Mo only needed the justification to feel comfortable, and that the prince shouldn't have any issues because Leng Mo was the one who used the flame sword. However, Price warned and informed his subordinates about the man named Leng Mo and the importance of not taking him lightly. When Leng Mo used the legendary sword, the Empire forces were destroyed. Despite this, Leng Mo was not very powerful during those wars. In fact, there were at least 100 attempts on his life, but all of the assassins were either killed or simply disappeared. The worst aspect of Leng Mo's leadership was how he handled the troops. Casualty rates for regular troops exceeded 50, a sign of his sway over war strategy. Leng Mo was even described by Prince as the master of the flame sword, capable of using beast magic of the silver class, and having a bond with phoenixes. The followers of the second prince were frightened and unsure of what to do in the event that Leng Mo attacked them. The prince assured them not to worry about that either, because he had already observed Leng Mo's lack of desire for power. Additionally, he would have no reason to rebel against them, as long as they treated them politely. The prince gave his subordinates instructions to keep an eye on Leng Mo and Bing Yu with additional men, and to inform him of any changes in their actions. Leng Mo and Bing Yu engaged in combat with the monster in an attempt to remove its seal. Leng Mo felt that the monster was powerful enough to battle with. Leng Mo used his strong QI, which he had developed over the course of half a month, to vanquish the monster. Leng Mo and Bing Yu had a major breakthrough when they obtained 3 seals from the monster, but suddenly they were ambushed by a cunning attack, an electric strike that parted Leng Mo's shoulder flesh. Then, with the speed of light, he dashed past them, grabbed the 3 seals that Leng Mo and Bing had just taken from the monster, and ran away. Leng Mo fell for a ruse. When the attacker attempted to trick Bing Yu, she became enraged. As a result, she pursues him at twice the attacker's speed. The assailant believed that Leng Mo and Bing Yu would confront him directly, but he actually tricked them by using a cunning attack. He was shocked to see Bing Yu behind him, challenging him to a speed battle at that point. Bing Yu sensed that the assailant was staring down at her and was daring to take her seals by himself. Her speed caught his attention, making it harder for him to flee at that point. As the attacker attempted to sneak up on him as well, Leng Mo stood up and chose to give him a taste of his power. However, Bing Yu preferred to take care of that man by herself, leaving Leng Mo to battle the monster on his own some time ago. Seeing that Bing Yu was too strong, the attacker chose to ambush her first in order to gain the upper hand. Leng Mo saw that the attacker wasn't all that bad when the attacker boy charged his QI. Bing Yu then avoided all of the attacker's key slashes that were thrown at her. The boy made his last move and trapped Bing Yu by guiding her straight into his trap as she approached him and inquired about his only option. When the boy used one of his sly maneuvers to trap her, he became happy. However, Bing Yu informed him that she hadn't taken any action yet, so he overestimated her. When Bing Yu used the elements of wind and ice to break the trap, Leng Mo was astounded to see how much stronger Bing Yu had become. The boy was killed as Bing Yu then moved quickly to get close to his heart and used a piercing thrust to freeze him, which became Bing Yu's first wrath-filled first blood. The boy disappeared with his chi, leaving only a shadow or illusion. Leng Mo and Bing Yu's seals were not taken away, allowing the enemy to test their strength. Bing Yu felt incredibly foolish as she battled an illusion and failed to eliminate him. Leng Mo, however, scoffed and ventured that they would not bother them for a while since they could sense her strength. The assailant, on the other hand, was genuinely scared and drenched as he crept through the woods toward them. Leng Mo was aware that not even the 7 academies would be able to find them as a simple target. In order to track them and meet with others to discuss a different approach to confronting them, the attacker at least installed a tracking device on the seal. One of Bing Yu's subordinates delivered information about her head-on attack with Leng Mo to the second prince at the Emperor's palace. He told the prince that Bing Yu was a former professional assassin and that details about him were kept under wraps. The second prince was aware that assassins would stop at nothing to obtain money and eliminate any concern regarding her. The prince gave his subordinate instructions to continue keeping an eye on those two and prevent Brunate's men, the fourth prince, from interfering with the contest. Then another individual approached the second prince, and the prince gave him a warm welcome. Sidila was the one who went to meet his other brother. Sidila told Caesar that after getting better, he had spoken with his father and gone to bed. Caesar complimented Sidila on his strength and appearance of hard work. Sidila informed him that he was undergoing military training and that in order to make better use of Price and his father in the future, he now wished to seek professional instruction from the man he had just mentioned. During their conversation, Sidila questioned Caesar about what he was looking at. The prince informed him that he was keeping an eye on the competition between 8 academies and scouting potential talent. Sidila was taken aback when he saw Leng Mo and recognized him immediately on the scouting globe. Sidila spent a considerable amount of time searching for Leng Mo during his participation in the 8 schools competition. Sidila was ecstatic to have at last located Sidila and was ecstatic. When Sidila asked Caesar if he knew Leng Mo, brought up the expert who had assisted Caesar in getting through the forest. Caesar was astounded that Sidila, his 12th brother, had been spared by the evil lord. Sidila hesitated because he wanted to keep his identity a secret, but Caesar assured him that he and Leng Mo were already acquainted from their previous encounter at an 8 academy competition. They also arranged for Caesar to serve as an arbitrator because Leng Mo needed to obtain all of the amulets in order to compete. Sidila expressed his desire to be trained by Leng Mo after he came back, as he won't mind about his honor. Sidila decided to resign from the Mercenaries Association to get back to Leng Mo. He then went out while being crazy from happiness. Back at the tournament, the boy came with the intel about the strength of Leng Mo and Bing Yu. He told his companions that his illusion was almost immediately broken when he fought one of them. The companions were surprised when they heard about Leng Mo and Bing Yu being so strong, but the boy told them not to be panicked as they prepared someone with becoming monster abilities as conspiracy loomed closer for the fight that would break out at any moment. Leng Mo thought Bing Yu was more suited to be a sorcerer, so her ice magic became even more powerful. They obtained 2 additional seals. Only 20 seals remained to be collected, having been collected by Leng Mo and Bing Yu in total of 24. While others only managed to obtain 66. There were only 15 days left, so it was challenging to locate the seals that remained. However, after questioning Leng Mo and Bing Yu, they had become extremely quiet, so they needed to exercise caution with the other 7 academies. Those infuriated Bing Yu because they were unable to confront her head-on due to their fear of her strength. The enemy mobilized to launch an attack on Bing Yu and Leng Mo. Since Bing Yu's mental strength was higher and she would be difficult to handle, they initially sent someone with monster ability to hit Leng Mo first. When they first placed fog around Leng Mo and Bing Yu, Leng Mo felt something wasn't quite right. He alerted Bing Yu to the situation, but the fog got so tense that they were unable to communicate. Leng Mo felt threatened by the possibility that adversaries were attempting to keep them apart. When the fog finally cleared a short while later, Bing Yu noticed Leng Mo unconscious and lying down. After informing his boss that Leng Mo was taken care of and that they could attack Bing Yu collectively, the monster ability enemy withdrew to hide. Everything happened so that Leng Mo could not breathe in the thickening fog. Leng Mo choked and passed out. Upon awakening, Leng Mo then woke up and found himself reclined on a hospital bed, having returned to Earth. Leng Mo saw a hospital room when he woke up on his bed. It dawned on him that he had returned to Earth. His memory was blanked, so he tried to recall what might have happened to him but was unable to. His memories were fading, and he was experiencing headache pain. He was trying to remember everyone's names when he heard the steel bowl drop to the floor. A woman caught his attention as she stood there, startled to see Leng Mo awakened. Then after grabbing Leng Mo, she sobbed for him to wake up. It was her mother. Leng Mo became emotional and started crying too when she saw her mother. They missed each other. Bing Yu attempted to perform CPR on Leng Mo while he was in a different dimension, but Leng Mo remained unresponsive. She intended to move Leng Mo to a safe place first, but 7 other academies arrived and told her she wouldn't be able to escape this time. They demanded that she give them all the seals for her own protection, failing which they would have to take severe action. Bing Yu became suspicious that Leng Mo might have been the victim of something from 7 Academy. Leng Mo came back to Earth. He was 12 years old. When a massive meteorite sailed toward Earth when he was 10 years old, disaster struck. Leng Mo was sadly struck by one of the meteorite fragments and went into a coma for 2 years until he finally woke up yesterday. The military dropped 10 nuclear bombs on the meteorite before it finally broke. His family was overcome with joy when the hospital hailed his recovery as a miracle. However, Leng Mo knew that during his coma, he experienced strange visions, so he was unable to fully recall it. He had been hearing things for the past 2 or 3 days, and he was experiencing hallucinations. Was that a side effect of the injuries he had from the meteorite? Then, realizing that he might turn his mind into mush, he decided to try answering Olympiad math questions in order to feel better. However, Bing Yu was doing everything she could to wake Leng Mo up because they were surrounded and she didn't know why Leng Mo had suddenly passed out. However, Bing Yu was told by the 7 Academy that he wouldn't be woken up because it would be pointless. Now Bing Yu was up against 10 people who had predicted that no matter how strong Bing Yu got, she would not be able to overcome the 7 greatest schools. Even though Bing Yu realized that it was those guys who had actually caused Leng Mo to faint, she was aware that Leng Mo might be under the control of someone who wasn't part of the group and might be nearby, but well hidden. Because 7 schools would be nothing if Bing Yu found that person, she had to come up with a plan to find them first. Leng Mo completed 20 sets of practice exams and felt rejuvenated. Seeing that Leng Mo was studying late at night, her mother suggested that he take a little nap as he had just woken up from a coma. She prepared dinner for him to eat. Leng Mo was concerned that because he hadn't studied recently, his mind would get dull. Subsequently, Leng Mo's mother instructed him to nourish his body by consuming papaya porridge. Leng Mo grinned and praised her mother for the wonderful arrangement, but Leng Mo's mind again rang with the word papaya porridge. His head hurted much that he couldn't even remember. Her mom asked Leng Mo what's the matter. He assured her mother that nothing was wrong and that all he had seen was her oatmeal, which had brought back a lot of memories. When she told him that she had made him dumpling noodles, her mother looked perplexed. When Leng Mo noticed the porridge, he was surprised. How could it have changed into dumpling noodles so quickly? Leng Mo was curious to find out what was actually going on since he knew it wasn't an illusion. Phoenix was making great attempts to intervene on Leng Mo's behalf in the space realm, but it was difficult for him to do so because the Phoenix was not yet finished, and he found it difficult to project himself into Leng Mo's universe. They couldn't do much, and only rely on Bing Yu for other things. Whereas Bing Yu was attempting to drive 7 schools out of their area. The 7 schools assaulted Bing Yu at the same moment after she created clones, so they weren't alarmed. Since the adversary was endangering their lives, she was unable to get through the magician. Bing Yu attempted to remain composed but overestimated her opponents. Bing Yu needed to come up with a quick plan because whatever she was doing to get past them wasn't working because her opponents weren't providing her an opening. When the adversaries realized Bing Yu couldn't hold out much longer, they intensified their weaponry. However, Bing Yu then employed her ultimate technique, tasting everything in her path, whereas Bing Yu was attempting to drive 7 schools out of their area. Bing Yu summoned up several cyclones and clouds. She unleashed her ultimate move, Ice-style 32 slashes, using everything to make her opponents avoid them. Upon witnessing Bing Yu's abilities, the other team's captain chose to force her to give them up by threatening to kill Leng Mo, which would prevent them from defeating Bing Yu and facing the remaining princes. Leng Mo was left lying down at his friend's side as the opponent commander took advantage of his position. He shot him in the throat with a dagger as he raced to him, threatening to kill Leng Mo if Bing Yu would not put down her sword and turn over all the seals. After chasing after Bing Yu for a while, the adversaries were ready to attack her as soon as she dropped her weapon. However, Bing Yu then grinned and challenged the commander to murder him if he could. She continued by suggesting that he look to his left where his leverage was. When the magician who had been in charge of Leng Mo's mind died, the leader was taken aback and astonished. The commander thought that was inconceivable and inquired as to how Bing Yu had accomplished it. She informed him that she had employed her mental faculties. Then the fire awakened Leng Mo up. After he was eventually awakened from the dream, he grabbed the leader by the shoulder, told him that it was unforgivable to be playing with his mind, and then used his fiery fury to kill him. Leng Mo labeled all of his opponents scum because they were taking advantage of his brother Bing Yu while he was sleeping and messing with his priceless memories. Leng Mo grew weary of those individuals and used his powerful, lethal aura to call forth his magical blade, the Evil Lord Slayer, in order to aid in the death of his adversaries. Then, in a single motion, he sprung, charged at them, and chopped several of them. Because of how quickly everyone moved, it appeared impossible for them to avoid Lengmo's slash. When they witnessed one of their friends leaving his body and his soul being consumed by a sword while he was dying of screams, everyone became frightened. Lengmo was driven by the sword's cursed abilities to eliminate every last student from all 7 schools. Hastily, the 7th school offered Lengmo all of their seals in exchange for their spares. Even though she wanted to kill them all, Bingyu clutched Lengmo's shoulder and let them go because she didn't want to see Lengmo acting that way toward them. The adversary fled without stopping, leaving all of their seals on the ground and vowing they would never see Lengmo and Bingyu again. Following their seal collection, Lengmo expressed his gratitude to Bingyu for saving him, saying that without her, he would not have been slain by 7 schools. Since Bingyu was Lengmo's brother, Bingyu informed him she felt ashamed and should not be praised. Lengmo was taken aback by Bingyu's detour. After that, they strode alongside one another once more while Bingyu toiled diligently, and Lengmo agreed to prepare a magical beast today for her hard work. Upon witnessing all those incidents, the second prince was astounded by Bingyu's and Lengmo's skill as he used his evil lord slayers. He convinced himself that Lengmo was a man worthy of being targeted when he observed how strong Lengmo's sword was, as he had anticipated. He desired to experience that flavor in Brunat, the 4th prince. The 8 academies competition had finally come at last. The guard proceeded to enter through the gate in the palace where the prince stood there to congratulate them. Lengmo and Bingyu paid their respect to the second prince, but the prince told them to be at ease as there was no need for them. Then the prince awarded Lengmo and Bingyu the Winner Trophy Award, as the Arbitrator Academy remained the defending champion in that competition. Lengmo and Bingyu went above the expectations of the second prince. Lengmo reminded the prince of the prince which they made when they met during the competition. The second prince assured Lengmo as he was the man of his word. Now the second prince only wanted them to pass the arbitrator exam to become the greatest ally of the prince's faction only then. Lengmo then prepared his mind to become arbitrator. Lengmo and Bingyu both got out and thanked that the competition finally ended. Master Principal and Lady Master came to receive them. They showed their masters the trophy. Lantong also came with masters and hugged Lengmo. She was so worried for Lengmo and Lengmo calmed her that he was fine. She hugged Lengmo so hard as she told Lengmo he got skinnier after a month of that competition, while Lengmo found it difficult to breathe due to being squeezed. The principal who did cough a little to remind them to thank him too. Lengmo and Bingyu apologized to the principal for not thanking him earlier. Then they went down to the principal's place to talk more. Lengmo told the principal about his agreement during the competition and was going to take the arbitrator exam. Principal said that since that decision was Lengmo and was very important, then he would say them no more. But the principal cautioned them to be careful of the second prince as he wasn't to be underestimated. Lengmo said that he was still used to the second prince so he wouldn't do anything for him right now. Principal too assured Lengmo that the prince won't touch Lengmo while the principal was here for Lengmo. The principal informed Lengmo to start his training and preparation for the arbitrator exam real quick, as that year's test would start in less than a month. He told Lengmo that he would help him to obtain exam qualification so he can focus on training. He guided Lengmo to prepare Lengmo's mind mentally, as the arbitrator exam and the academy competition were completely different. If the academy competition was likened to a children's tussle, then the arbitrator exam would be a battlefield for adults. Even if Lengmo's battle prowess was exceptional, it won't be the winning factor. Arbitrators exist to deal with special as well as troublesome assignments. They had to face an extreme environment, and the ability to adapt was the arbitrator's greatest principle. Their major parts always hold adapting to situations and surroundings, while combat was only a small part of the test. The exam administrators would be active arbitrators, and they would decide what would be in the test. The test would also allow people who were not in the Arbitrator Academy to join as well, and thousands of people from the whole continent would come to take the test. The people attending the exam would be all at least stronger than a low-tier sword warrior, but the passing rate every year was less than 1/1000th. Lengmo and Bingyu stood static while the principal was explaining and laughed when they saw they were already scared. Lengmo got more excited to be in the exam as it all sounded interesting to the principal. Principal Master informed them that he would give Lengmo and Bingyu both a hellish training regimen, so they had to better prepare themselves. After breaking through the beast folk stronghold, the troops of the Fragrant Empire began massacring and slaughtering each and every one of them. Even though the last beast folk had no more fight left in them and was protecting his kins from soldiers, he kept his ground and slaughtered every soldier that dared to attack them. Since the beasts were already lost, the soldiers were demanding his surrender. The 4th prince then rode up on her horse and yelled at her soldiers, calling them garbage for actually being in a real struggle with half-dead beast folk. The soldiers warned the prince not to get any closer, because a couple of their squads had already been slaughtered by the beast folk. The chief commander of the Fragrant Wind Empire, the 4th prince, was seen by the beast folk, who then made the decision to rush him and kill him in order to gain the favor of the Beast Lord. He employed his blood frenzy power. He cursed them all to perish, so that his brethren might be repaid with their blood, scattering the troops along his path to the prince and leaping to a great height in the air. However, the fourth prince thought it was a joke and used sorcerer-level magic to crush and break bones. As the prince mutilated the beast folk all over and tore their limbs, the kin began to scream. A scout stopped by to let Brunate know that the academy competition had ended as they were returning home. Knowing that the second prince had employed 2 strong sun ordinates, the fourth prince referred to Caesar as the lucky bastard. The soldiers inquired as to what should be done with the youngsters as the small beast folk were sobbing all around them. The fourth prince gave the command to wipe them all out and to stop bringing such filth with them. She intended to deal with the second prince as she stormed the beast folk castle. The troops were now executing all the captive beast folk children. While Leng Mo and Bing Yu were pushing the cart, their master was giving them whipping strikes so they could arrive at their destination more quickly without the use of auras. Leng Mo and Bing Yu asked their master if they could take a break, but he kept his word, preferring that they travel by cart. They collapsed, exhausted, having only rolled the cart halfway to their destination. As they approached the halfway point, their master informed them that they appeared to be already useless. 10 minutes of rest were then granted by the master. Leng Mo and Bing Yu fell asleep as the master was telling them that because they both depend too much on their auras, their physical prowess was now only marginally above average. They were wrong to believe that they could pass the arbitrator exam with such a low level of endurance. They would only become more physically capable then. The principal beat the students once more and prepared them to push the cart when he noticed Leng Mo and Bing Yu dozing off while giving them instructions for the following month. Once they arrived, the principal instructed them to begin their second lesson. The rock-filled cart was then unlocked by the principal. The master then picked a rock and instructed them to avoid the rocks by standing 50 meters away and not using their auras. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were taken aback and anxious, knowing that the Sword Saint Master would stone them to death if they did not use their auras. After reassuring them that he wouldn't use his aura either, the master gave them the go-ahead to quickly take their places. And as they were pleading for mercy, the master threw his first stone at them. Leng Mo barely avoided his master's first stone, and he witnessed the stone's momentum rippling so quickly that it even created a massive hole in the mountain and pierced the stone into pieces. Then the master quickly picked up several stones to throw at them. He told them to just try not to get hit because that was quite slow and they couldn't die that quickly. Their second training ended with Leng Mo and Bing Yu's bodies covered in bruises from hours of dodging, and they were relieved that the onslaught of stones was finally over. The master then apologized to them, saying that he might have been a bit too severe with them today, but he was acting in their best interests. He promised to be careful the next time. The instructor then led them to the next lesson, which startled Leng Mo and Bing Yu once more, because they assumed it was noon and might have done that. The master showed them where 2 ropes hung over the river and instructed them to sleep on them to become more aware while they slept. However, they were still not permitted to use auras. Leng Mo reasoned that since they only needed to maintain their balance, that wouldn't be an issue. When they woke up early in the morning, the master went to his tent and ordered them to go to sleep. Leng Mo became perplexed upon seeing the master's tent materialize. Then, after carefully maintaining their balance, Leng Mo and Bing Yu pulled themselves up and lay on the ropes. While Bing Yu informed Leng Mo that she used to sleep in thick tree branches to get rest, Lemgo observed that sleeping on the ropes was simple. However, Master came in once more and pointed out that he didn't mention that they might not want to fall into the river at night, because they would need to maintain their balance at all times due to the ghostly crocodiles in the river. Leng Mo and Bing Yu went from being at ease to being nervous and frightened as a result. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were getting better day by day as a result of their training, since they could avoid every rock the master threw at them, regardless of how close it was. The fact that they had improved and could truly avoid every rock made the master happy. Their training had paid off, as Leng Mo and Bing Yu's physical prowess had increased significantly. They should be able to handle the arbitrator exam now, the principal master informed them. For them, though, that wasn't sufficient because the test also tested their morality. They wouldn't automatically pass the test just because they complied with the requirements. Leng Mo and Bing Yu have to decide what is the best course of action in accordance with the examiner's rules, and they can only win the examiner over by achieving exceptional marks at the end. The master gave Leng Mo and Bing Yu advice that they understood, after which the master got them ready for more training. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were able to avoid stones without the master's aura, so he chose to use it now to throw rocks at them. They cried out in terror, pleading with the master to change his mind because his aura was far stronger than theirs. Leng Mo and Bing Yu were not satisfied, even after the master gave them permission to use their auras and reassured them that he would control his strength. When Len Go and Bing Yu were about to be rescued by their mistress, the master ordered them to get ready and threw a rock at them, causing a massive explosion that impacted the mountain. Thus, during the course of the following few days, Leng Mo and Bing Yu's abilities continued to improve under the watchful eye of the Sword Saint Principal. People from all over the continent began congregating in Skyway City to take the arbitrator exam. The 17th Prince of the Fragrant Empire, Sidila, also arrived to take the exam with Ling Mo. He saw everyone who appeared to be fairly strong and bloodthirsty. In order to explore the world alongside Leng Mo, Sidila aspired to become an arbitrator as well. People saw Sidila wandering around the streets and speculated that he might need to have his head screwed right. Sidila bumped into a man by mistake while strolling through the streets in his own way. Sidila apologized to him for bumping into him, but the man Sidila had bumped into was known as the Fire Dragon King. Sidila thought the man might be bloodthirsty as well, since people who knew the king knew that Sidila was screwed regardless, as the king was notorious for his bad temper and propensity to create a ruckus. He was disqualified solely for assaulting an examiner in the previous year. The Fire Dragon King lost his cool and wanted a taste of Sidila's strength. Sidila questioned stubbornness of Fire Dragon King. With no other option, Sidila chose to put Fire Dragon King to sleep by swiftly finishing him off by disengaging his arm from Dragon King. The surprise of the newbie's strength took the people by surprise. The Dragon King was then told to go have a good night's sleep by Sidila, who disliked creating a scene. Lan Tong desired to accompany Leng Mo in order to take the arbitrator exam alongside him. Leng Mo, however, wished to convince her to stay because the exam was too risky. When Lan began to tease Leng Mo about joining them, Leng Mo told her she wasn't strong enough. Lan Tong began to lose her temper. Then, realizing that Lan didn't want Leng Mo to leave her and that she preferred to stay with Leng Mo took her hand and assured her that he would accompany her. Even the master warned them that there was too much risk in the exam and that Bing Yu and Leng Mo might not pass. After that, Leng Mo gave Lan Tong a hug and vowed to follow through on Lan's pledge not to act rashly. Bing Yu felt like a dog, watching them alone while all of that was going on. Then, after tiring of them, she suggested that Leng Mo hadn't proposed to her and made the situation more romantic. Leng Mo grinned and assured Bing Yu that he would make her some grilled meat later on in the evening. However, Bing Yu objected to receiving so many dog treats. The principal then told Lan Tong to return for training, while continuing Leng Mo and Bing Yu to the exam. When Leng Mo and Bing Yu arrived at the exam station on the day of the test, there were presumably several thousand people there, all of whom were also looking good. All of them were at least sword warriors, and if these numerous experts united, they could easily destroy a small nation. When Leng Mo and Bing Yu realized that their first test would involve fighting there, they were shocked. After a while, the first test examiner arrived to welcome everyone on behalf of the Arbitrator Association. The examiner declared that those who were unable to arrive on time would be disqualified right away. Then the examiner instructed everyone to follow him and flee the area that was open from the ground, which led to official testing grounds. No matter the way they took, as long as they arrived at the destination within 15 minutes of the examiner's arrival, they would be considered successful. If not, they would be disqualified. Subsequently, the examiner entered the race and began running excessively fast. Some began running after the examiner. Leng Mo didn't even have time to react when the race abruptly began, but Bing Yu yelled at him to hurry up and catch up with the examiner, and with that they were off and running. Sidila also saw the silhouette of Leng Mo among the race as everyone else noticed the two of them. Throughout the first 3 hours of the run, nobody was able to run quietly. The staircase seemed to go on forever because of how long it was. Everyone was growing weary and was no longer able to run, but they had already gone so far that it would be a waste for them to stop now. Examinees attempted to maintain the same separation from the examiner to avoid losing contact with him. Leng Mo thought that descending the stairs was much more exhausting than climbing them. Leng Mo challenged Bing Yu to go first between them, but Bing Yu declined because they needed to save some energy. Seeing Leng Mo and Bing Yu running while continuing to talk, everyone assumed they were monsters because they didn't even appear to be using much of their aura. The examiner chose to run seriously because he saw that many of the examinees had improved this year and were keeping up with him. Examiner's sudden acceleration startled the examinees. Leng Mo and Bing Yu also accelerated to catch the examiner, but Sidila greeted Leng Mo from behind. Leng Mo appeared to have forgotten about him, but when Sidila gave him more information, Leng Mo quickly remembered. Leng Mo told him not to drag him down because he had come to become an arbitrator. He told Leng Mo that he had come to find Leng Mo. Sidila assured him that he wouldn't drag Leng Mo down. Sidila trained for 6 months with Leng Mo as his target and got ready to meet Leng Mo to demonstrate his strength and development. Leng Mo was reassured by him that he wouldn't need to take care of him because he would do his best to catch up to him. Leng Mo took him in and picked up more speed, hoping to catch Sidila in a tight spot. Then, determined to win, Sidila pushed himself to see how good he was. Lengmo was asked about the Cedilla by Bing Yu. To be honest, Lengmo wasn't expecting Cedilla to improve to such an extent that it surprised him. Then, Bing Yu told Lengmo to pick up a little more speed because the examiner had left and Little was approaching them from behind. After jogging for a few more miles, they came to two crossroads and became confused about which route to take with one examiner. Since the examiner's scent was coming from the left, Silver Wolf informed Lengmo that he had taken the left crossroad. Lengmo instructed Cedilla and Bing Yu to turn left when instructed by Silver. Cedilla was thrilled to hear about Silver because it had been a while since he had seen him. Lengmo came up with a cunning scheme to create doppelgangers and place them in front of the right door. As a result, when the people in their back arrived, they made the doppelgangers to flee through the right door, since the majority of them would have followed suit, reducing the number of test takers for the subsequent round. Lengmo called Bing Yu's plan tactical move, reminding Bing Yu of the master who had instructed them to take the best possible course of action, while Bing Yu had denounced it as so wicked. 5 minutes after Bing Yu created doppelgangers, a group of 5 people arrived and noticed 3 people heading straight. They followed them to the right, but not before they made their own cunning plan and created doppelgangers to the left of them. The brilliant plan of Lengmo was unexpectedly destroyed in less than 5 minutes of its creation, as only 5 people took the wrong path, despite the fact that they were praising each other so cleverly for such a cunning tactic, while in reality they were going the wrong way, while letting each other on the right path. Cedilla, Bing Yu, and Lengmo at last saw the exit door in front of them. Other than the examiner, they were the first people in the hall when they arrived. Since they passed the first test, the examiner advised them to take a little break before taking the next. Many of the examinees were able to enter the hall after 15 minutes because their strength was only a few hundred. When the allotted time ran out, the examiner shut the door and instructed the individuals to return the way they had come because they had been delayed by more than 15 minutes. After running, everyone was seated and panting. The examiner then went on to explain that the first test could be compared to the qualification quiz because endurance was the most essential quality for an arbitrator, who often had to pursue criminals. Subsequently, he declared that he would also be the examiner for the second test. He asked if anyone would like to forfeit before the test began, because examinees would not survive if they were even slightly negligent. Examinees were taken aback upon hearing this declaration. The examiner also informed the examinees that the formal test would focus on conviction, willpower, mental toughness, and other qualities in addition to measuring physical ability. The examiner warned those who had already reached their breaking point after the first test to give up and retake it the following year, or if they were determined to stay, to get ready to die. Only a small number of examinees were left for the following round after many forfeited. Lengmo questioned Cedilla about his safety because Bing Yu and other players might suggest that Cedilla should not act bravely in the next round. But because they were skilled, Cedilla was certain he could succeed. Cedilla would never be able to forgive himself if he gave up. After that, Lengmo once more accepted Cedilla's advice to stay put. Upon seeing the remaining examinees who wanted to continue for the next exam, the examiner began by stating that since the examiners lacked this perception, they were unfit to serve as arbitrators. When the examinees noticed the examiner fleeing, they began to chase after him. However, as soon as they got to the middle, Lengmo and the others felt their bodies grow heavy and their auras rapidly deplete. Lengmo became perplexed, since he had no idea what might have happened to his body. The examiner went on to inform everyone that the location had 10 times the gravity of a normal place, and since they were already resolved to become arbitrators, they should gladly accept their baptism in hell.
Don't forget to like and comment for the next part. Join our Discord for the name of the book and subscribe for more videos from us.